Welcome, my friends. You are to the podcast where we listen, we relax, and we get plateau as the sun. Before we begin, let's take a moment to settle in.
The fierce
Find a
heat
comfortable
of the
position.
Egyptian
Gently
day
close your
bled
eyes.
out of the
Take a deep
landscape,
breath in and a
leaving a
long,
profound
slow breath
and
out.
ancient
Tonight,
stillness.
our journey begins
Before
not in
you,
distant,
A
sun-drenched
silhouette
land,
of impossible
but right
geometry
here,
cuts
in the quiet
into
sanctuary
the
of
deep
your
indigo
room,
of the
accompanied
twilight
by the gentle
sky.
sound of falling rain.
It is not just large,
We are trading our
it is a
to-do lists,
feature of the
undigital
geology,
notifications,
a
for the
man-made
simple,
mountain that
repetitive rhythm
reorders
of
the
raindrops.
horizon.
The only
last
task on our
rays of
agenda
light catch
is
the
to
very
listen,
peak
and the
of
only
the
deadline
fleeting
is the slow,
gleam on a
inevitable
structure
arrival of sleep.
that has watched
It's a
the
demanding
sun set
schedule,
nearly
I know,
1.5
but I have faith we can handle it.
times.
From the
You
supreme
walk
comfort of our
closer,
beds,
the
rain
silence
is not
broken
just
only
weather, it
by
is
the
curtain,
whisper of the wind
and we are
across
about to
the
peek
stones.
behind it to discover the story
You reach
the water
out and
holds
place
within
a
its
hand
endless
on one
cycle.
of the
So,
foundational
before you get
blocks.
too comfortable,
It is
take a
cool,
moment to like the
solid,
video and
and
subscribe, but
unimaginably
only if you
immense.
genuinely enjoy what I
Looking
do
up,
here.
the sheer
Feel
vertical
free to
face
share your city's
seems to
time of
stretch
night
into
in
the
comments
emerging
below.
stars.
It's a quiet way of
And in
knowing
this
we are
moment,
all listening
a single,
together in our
overwhelming
separate, cozy
question
corners of
floods
the
your
world.
consciousness,
Now, dim the
drowning
lights,
out consciousness.
maybe turn on a
This
fan for that
sensation
soft
of
background
awe
hum,
mingled with
and let's ease
profound
into tonight's
intellectual
journey
vertigo.
together. You are lying here,
Is not
nestled in
unique to
softness,
you.
and the
It is
world
a
outside
feeling
has been
shared
painted
by
in watercolors
travelers,
of gray and silver.
conquerors,
The first thing you become
mathematicians,
aware of is the sound.
and astronomers.
It is not one
formal
sound,
enia.
but a whole symphony of gentle
It is the
percussion.
fundamental question
Listen closely.
of Giza.
There is the soft,
So
persistent
before
drumming
we
on the
delve
roof,
into the
a
historical
sound so
record,
steady,
the
it could be the
scientific
heartbeat
data.
of the night itself.
Take a moment to like the
It's a
video
sound that
and
says
subscribe,
everything outside
but
is
only
being
if you
washed
genuinely
clean,
appreciate
while you
this
remain
deep.
here, warm,
Dive
dry,
into the great
perfectly still.
unanswered
Then
questions.
there is the delicate
To
tick,
share
tick,
what you
tick, tick
believe
against the
is
window
the most
pane.
fascinating,
It's a lighter, more
unanswered
intimate sound.
mystery from our
It feels
collective
closer.
human story.
You can almost
Now
picture the
settle
individual
in,
droplets,
dim the
tiny,
lights,
perfect
and
spheres
let us
of crystal,
quietly
landing for a
examine
brief
the
moment,
the
clinging
great
to the
pyramid
glass
of
before
Giza,
surrendering
the
to
last
gravity,
of the seven
untracing
wonders
silvery
of the
path
ancient
downwards.
world still standing.
Each drop is a
Is
messenger,
first and
tapping
foremost
gently
an
to let you know
objective,
it's there,
staggering
sharing its
physical
quiet
reality.
story of a long fall from a
Its
distant
base
cloud,
covers an
creating
area
meandering
of over
rivers on the
13
glass,
acres,
distorting the
or
soft
about
glow
7
of the
city
world
blocks.
outside into a
It
blurry,
was originally
dreamlike
constructed
impression.
to a height
Your
of
focus drifts with those little rivers of waters,
or
and you notice another layer of sound,
making it the
deeper,
tallest
hollow gurgle
man-made
from the
structure
downspout,
on Earth,
carrying
for over
the collective offering of the roof
3,800
away.
years.
It's a
Its
peaceful,
total mass
industrious
is
sound,
at
the sound of water finding its path,
individual
moving without
The average
hurry,
weight of
without
these blocks
chores,
is 2.5
simply following the
tons,
gentle pull of
roughly
the earth.
the equivalent of two
You begin to
mid-sized
distinguish
cars.
the different textures
Some
of
of
the
the
sound,
granite blocks
the
used
soft
in the
thump as it
interior
lands on the lawn
chambers, however,
outside,
weigh
the sharper
as
tap
much
on a stone
as 80
pathway, the
tons.
whisper as it brushes against
These are
the
not
leaves of a
abstract
nearby
figures,
tree.
they represent a tangible,
Each surface plays
physical
its own
challenge
unique
that
instrument
any theory
in
of
this
construction
nocturnal
must
orchestra.
adequately
As you
address.
listen, you can
The
almost smell
materials
it,
themselves
even
tell
through
a
the
story
closed
of
window,
immense logistical
that unique,
effort.
earthy
The
scent
bulk
of rain
of the
on dry
pyramid
soil,
is
a fragrance
composed
the
of
scientists call petrichor.
I see limestone.
It's a beautiful
quarried
word,
directly on
derived
Giza
from the
plateau.
Greek for stone and the fluid that
This
flows
was the
in
most
the veins of the
convenient
gods.
source. However,
scent
the
of the
original
earth sighing in
structure
relief,
was encased
a
in
perfume
layer
released
of
by the
highly
thirsty ground as it
polished
drinks.
white Tura
It smells
limestone,
ancient,
which had
clean,
to be
and deeply
transported
calming.
from quarries
It
across
connects
the
you
Nile
right
River.
here in your bed to
This
the soil,
casing
to the
would
soil,
have made
to the very
pyramid
foundation of the
gleam
world
like
outside.
a brilliant
The rhythm of
white
the rain
beacon
begins
under
to
the
work its
Egyptian
magic
sun.
on you.
The massive
Your
blocks
breathing has
used
already
to
found its
construct
tempo,
the king's
aligning with the
chamber,
slow,
the
steady drumming on the
sarcophagus
roof.
within it,
Inhale
and
with
the
one
relieving
soft chatter,
chambers above
exhale
it
with the
were
next.
all quarried
There's
in a
no need to
swan.
try, no
More
need to
than
force it.
800 kilometers.
Your body remembers
or
this
500 miles.
It's a lullaby as
to
old
the
as time
south.
itself, Travelers and poets have long debated whether the silence of the desert is truly empty, or filled with a quiet,
by barge along the Nile, and
is it sound a noise that fills the silence, or is it a special kind of silence itself, a silence where thoughts can dissolve, where worries are washed away, leaving only a state of pure,
beyond the raw statistics
and it is in this
mass
deep,
and the
liquid quiet
of its
that you hear it.
The pyramid
It is not a
exerts
sound
unique
from the rain,
psychological
but a
presence.
sound within the rain.
Its form is one
At
of
first,
absolute
you think you are
geometric
imagining
purity.
it. It is a
It
single,
is not a temple adorned
impossibly
with
pure
intricate
note that
carvings
shimmers
for the
just
public
beneath the
to
surface
admire,
of the
nor a
percussive
palace
symphony.
designed for the
It is
comfort
not
of
loud.
living.
It is the opposite of loud.
It is a stark,
It is a
elemental
resonance,
shape,
a feeling,
a
like a
four-sided
tiny silver
polygon
bell being
rising
rung
to a
far,
single,
far away.
focused point.
Its vibration carries
Its
to you
deliberate
on the water.
minimalism gives it a
You
timeless,
focus on it,
almost
letting the other
alien
sounds of the
quality.
night
It
fade
stands
into a
in
soft,
stark
blurry
opposition to the
background.
shifting sands
The
of
note
the
comes
desert
again,
and the
clearer this
chaotic
time.
sprawl of nearby
It seems to
modern
harmonize
Cairo.
with the gurgle of the water.
It does
to
not
weave itself
invite
into the paths
casual
of the droplets
observation.
on the
It
glass.
demands contemplation.
It doesn't feel like it comes
Its
from the
silence
sky,
is its
but
most
from somewhere
powerful
else.
statement.
Somewhere
It
the water
offers
is
no
journeying
inscriptions
to.
on its
The sound of the
exterior,
rain on your
no
window
grand
begins to subtly
pronouncements of its
change in your
purpose.
mind.
It
The
simply
steady
isn't.
drumming
Its
on the roof
existence
becomes
forces
the
us to
slow,
confront
heavy
the
surge of a deep
capabilities
ocean
and
current.
motivations of
The
its
patter on the
creators.
glass becomes the
Herein
fizz of
lies
sea
the
foam
central
expiring on
paradox
wet
of the
sand.
Great Pyramid.
The murmur in the downspout
On one
becomes
hand,
the echo in
we
a
have a
seashell.
structure
The call,
of
gentle as it
breathtaking
is,
scale,
feels like a
precision,
pull,
and
a
durability.
quiet invitation.
On the other,
It
we
is a
have
whisper
the
that says the story
historical
does not end at
context
your
of its
window.
construction.
It
the
says the
Egyptian
rain is a
Old
messenger,
Kingdom,
and it is
a
inviting you to
Bronze
follow it
Age
back to its source,
civilization that
back to the
existed
vast,
more than
dreaming
4,000,
heart of the water.
500
and you feel
years
the sense
ago.
of peaceful curiosity,
According to the mainstream
a desire to know what
archaeological
lies behind the
consensus,
watery curtain
the
of
pyramid
the night.
was
The
built
pull of that
over
single,
a period
resonant
of
note is gentle
approximately
but
2020
insistent.
to 27
It's a silken
years.
thread tied around your
During the
consciousness,
reign of the
and it
fourth
begins to
dynasty
draw you
pharaoh.
forward.
The tools available
The transition
to these builders
is so seamless,
were,
so
by all
subtle,
accounts,
that you don't even
rudimentary
notice it
copper
happening at
chisels,
first.
which are relatively
The walls of your
soft
room,
stone
which felt so
Doric
solid and
counters,
protective
wooden sledges
just
and
moments
ropes
ago,
made of plant
seemed too
fiber.
thin to become porous.
The
like a
irrefutable
veil of mist.
existence of the
The
finished
feeling of the
product
soft
stands
sheets and the weight of
in
your
stark
blanket dissolve,
contrast
replaced
to
by
the
a
perceived
cool,
limitations
damp
of the
caress
proposed
against
toolkit.
your skin.
This
You are
apparent
not
discrepancy
walking, not
is the
even
seed
consciously
from which
moving.
all alternative
It is more like you are
theories
flowing,
grow.
drifting on a
The
current of
mystery
sound,
is not
following
whether the
that
ancient
single
Egyptians
beckoning
built
note
the
out of the
pyramid
safety of your
surrounding
room and
tombs,
into the heart
the
of the
workers'
rainy night.
village,
The scent of
and
petrichor,
textual evidence,
the sweet perfume
like
of
the diary
rain on
of
earth
Mir, are
deepens.
clearly linked.
It
to
mingles with
construction
something
to
older,
that era
wilder,
and
the
that
sharp,
culture.
clean tang of
The
salt
mystery
and wet stone.
is how did
The
they
air grows
quarry
heavier,
millions of blocks
thick with moisture
such
that clings
uniformity?
to you like
How
a
did
soft,
they lift a
invisible
0.5-ton
The
stones
floor beneath
to a
your
height
feet
of
gives
over
way,
400
not
feet
abruptly,
day after
but with
day?
a slow,
For 2
sinking
decades, how did
softness.
they achieve a
You
level
look down,
of precision
and you are
in its
standing on
alignment
dark,
and
glistening
construction
sand
that would
packed
challenge
firm by a recent
engineers
tide?
even today?
Your footprints appear
Was
as
it
dark
simply a
impressions
matter of
behind you,
unlimited
only to be
manpower,
smoothed away
time,
by an unseen
and
force
an
almost as soon
ingenuity
as they
that
are
we
made?
consistently
A thick,
underestimate?
pearlescent fog
Or were there
blankets
other
everything,
factors at play,
swallowing the
techniques,
world in a
tools,
soft, gray
or a
embrace?
system of knowledge
It muffles
that has
all
been
sound,
lost to the
save
sands
for
of
two.
time?
The
As
first is the
darkness now
slow,
fully
rhythmic sigh of the
envelops
ocean.
Giza Plateau.
The rain has ceased,
The great
or
pyramid
perhaps you have
loses
simply
its
moved
physical
through it,
detail and
now the
becomes a
sound
pure
is of waves
concept.
collapsing on the shore.
A dark triangle.
It is a
against
sound
a
of
sea
immense and ancient
stars.
patience.
It
A
stands as a
liquid
silent
breath that has
sentinel,
been inhaling and
guarding
exhaling
not the
for
body of
millennia.
a long dead
The second
pharaoh,
sound is the note,
but
the
a
call,
set of
a beacon in
profound
the
and
mist drawing you
persistent
forward
questions.
along the water's edge.
It is
You
a
move along the
monument
shoreline,
less to a
the
single
place where
king
two
and more
worlds
to
meet.
the enduring gap
On one side,
between
the
what we
invisible
know
land,
and what we
hidden
know,
by the fog.
what we know,
On the
and
other,
what
the
remains
vast,
to be
mysterious
known,
sea.
examining
Its surface
each
a shifting
facet
sheet of
this
polished
incredible enigma.
The water itself
academic
is calm, The waves are not crashing but
decades of
arriving,
archaeological
sliding up the sand with a
excavation
gentle
and
hush
textual
before receding with a
analysis,
soft,
provides
whispering
a
drag.
clear and cohesive
They are like a
answer
painter's
to the
final,
purpose of this
delicate
colossal
brushstroke,
monument.
adding a glaze
The
of
prevailing
liquid silver to the dark
consensus among
sand. You feel the
Egyptologists
coolness of the
is that
water
the Great
as it
Pyramid
slides over
was
your bare
constructed
feet.
as the
A
eternal
brief,
resting
refreshing
place,
touch before
the house
it
of
pulls
eternity.
away again.
For the
It's in the
fourth
wake of one
dynasty
such
pharaoh,
wave that you see it. As the
known
water
to the
draws
ancient
back,
Greeks as
it leaves
Cheops,
something behind,
Khufu
something
reigned
that
over
was there a
powerful
moment
and
before.
centralized
There
old
at the very
kingdom
edge of
state,
the lapping water,
from
a soft
approximately
light pulses in the
2589 to
It's not a harsh
2566
light, but a gentle internal
CE.
luminescence. A warm,
In the Egyptian
peachy glow like a
worldview,
captured
Pharaoh
sunrise.
was not merely a
You are
king,
drawn to
he
it.
was a living
Your steps
god.
slow and deliberate.
The earthly
The note you have been
incarnation
following
of the
seems to
falcon
emanate
god
from this very
Horus.
spot,
His
growing
death
warmer and more
was not
welcoming
an
as you
end
approach.
but a
It is a
transition,
conch shell,
a return to the
large,
cosmic
spiral,
realm to
and
join the
impossibly
gods.
perfect. Its
The
surface
construction
is
of
smooth,
his tomb
polished by
was
a
therefore
thousand
a
years
state
of
project
tumbling
of
in
the
ocean's
highest
gentle
religious
currents.
and political
The shell itself
importance,
seems to be the source of the light,
ensuring not
which
only the
pulses in
king's
time with the sigh
successful
of the
journey
waves.
into the afterlife.
It looks ancient, and
but
yet
also
it
the
also looks
continued
brand
stability
new, as
and
if it were
prosperity.
created. And this
This
exact
interpretation
spot,
is
in this
not
exact
based on
moment,
a single
just for you,
discovery, but
a
on
gift from the
vast
tide.
network of
You know with a
contextual
certainty that
evidence.
requires no logic
The Great
that
Pyramid
this is
does
the
not
source of the
exist in
calm.
isolation.
You kneel on the dance.
It is the central
It
and
is cool
most
to the touch.
magnificent
You reach
element
out, your
of a
fingers
sprawling
hesitating for a
funerary
moment just above the
complex,
shell's glowing
an
surface.
acropolis dedicated
You can feel a
to
faint
the cult of
vibration
the
in the
dead
air
king.
around it, a hum
To
that
the
matches
east
the
of the
note you heard
pyramid
in your
once
room.
stood a large
When your
mortuary
fingertips
temple,
finally make contact,
a place where
the shell is
priests
not
would have
cold and wet as you
performed
expect.
daily rituals
It radiates
and
a gentle,
presented
steady
offerings
warmth,
to the
like a
deceased
stone that has
pharaoh's
been basking
spirit.
in the sun all
Or
day.
cough,
It
or
feels
cough for
alive.
centuries
As your
after
hand
his
closes
death.
around
From
its
this
smooth,
temple,
spiraling
a long
form,
covered
the sound
causeway,
blossoms in your mind.
nearly a kilometer
It
in
is
length,
no longer just a
sloped
note
down the
you are
plateau
hearing
to
with
a
your
valley
ears.
temple,
It is a resonance you
located
feel
on
in
the
your
edge
bones,
of
in
what
the
would
very
have
marrow
been
of
the
your being.
floodplain of the Nile.
The call
This
is
valley
coming from the
temple
shell.
acted as
By
the
holding it,
ceremonial
you have
entrance
completed
to
some
the
kind of
entire
circuit.
complex.
It is a
The
vessel,
site where the
not
king's
for the roaring
mummified
sound of
body
the
would
ocean
have
that
been
everyone
received
knows,
after its
but for
final
this other,
journey down the river.
secret music, the
Surrounding
quiet,
the Great
soulful
Pyramid
song you
are other
heard
crucial
through the rain.
components
You feel that this shell
that
holds more than
reinforce
just a
its
sound, it
funerary
holds a
purpose.
story.
These include
A very,
three smaller
very
satellite
old
pyramids,
stories.
often
You get the
referred
sense
to as
that
the
you haven't
Queen's
just found an
pyramids,
object you've received
believed
an
to be the
invitation.
tombs of Khufu's
The sound is no
wives and
longer just a
mother.
call, but a
The
greeting.
plateau is also
It
gridded
welcomes
with
you.
rows of massed
It knows you.
VAS flat
And as you
rectangular
hold the
tombs
warm,
built for
glowing
high
shell in your
officials and
hands,
members of
its
the
soft
royal
light
family,
illuminates the
a
swirling mist
celestial
just
court
ahead,
arranged
revealing the
around
faint
their
outline
divine
of the path you
sovereign.
have
A
seen
series
before.
of deep
You rise from the
pits were
sand,
discovered
the glowing
around
conch
the
held
base of
gently
the
in both
pyramid.
hands.
In 1954,
Its warmth is a comforting anchor in the
one of these
disorienting
pits
fog.
was unsealed.
The light it
to
emits is
reveal a
soft,
stunningly
not
preserved,
cutting through the mist,
a
but
solar
merging with
barge
it, creating
over
a small,
43
luminous
meters
sphere
long.
of clarity around you.
This vessel was
Outside this
disassembled
personal
into
bubble
more
of
than
soft light,
1,200 pieces.
the world remains
a
a mystery
ritual
of gray
burial
and
of the
shadow.
boat intended
The path
to
revealed
provide
by the shell's
pharaoh
glow
with
is not grand,
transportation in
trodden
his
way,
journey
but a
across
subtle
the heavens
suggestion
with the
on the
sun god
landscape,
Ra.
a whisper of a trail leading away
Painstaking
from the open beach
reassembly of
towards
this
the higher
boat
dunes.
is one of
The path
modern
is marked by
archaeology's
stones,
great
not
triumph,
placed by
and
human
its
hands,
presence
but
is
arranged by the
powerful
patient
circumstantial
artistry of wind and
evidence for
water.
the site's
They are
funerary
smooth,
nature.
gray,
The identification
and almost perfectly
of
round,
Khufu
like a string
as
of
the
pearls laid
pyramid's
out upon the
owner
sand.
rests on
They seem
more
to
direct,
absorb the shell's light,
albeit limited,
glowing faintly for a moment
evidence.
after you pass.
The most
You follow them
significant
one step at a
discovery was
time.
made
The sand
in
here is softer, looser,
1837 by
and
the
your feet
British
sink slightly
explorer,
with each step.
Colonel Howard
The fine
Weiss.
grains whispering against your skin.
Using gunpowder
It feels
to
like
blast
walking
his
on
way
powdered
into
moonlight.
the
The
sealed
sound of the
chambers
ocean
above
begins
the
to
king's
change.
chamber.
The
A
open,
series of
expansive
5
sigh
small,
of the waves breaking on the
stacked
beach
compartments
is gradually
designed to
replaced
relieve
by a
the
more
immense
complex
weight
chorus.
of the masonry
You can
above.
hear the
He
water
found
interacting with rocks, A lower,
red-painted
more resonant
marks
boom as a
on the
larger swell
inscriptions,
finds a
but
hidden
simple
cove,
quarry marks
followed by a soft,
daubed onto the
effervescent hiss as the
blocks
water
by the
pours
word
back into the
gangs who
sea.
had mined them.
The air, too, is
Several
different.
of these
The clean
markings
salt
were
scent is now
contained
dinged
within a
with the smell of
cartridge,
damp
the
earth and
oval
the faintest,
frame used to
sweetest
enclose
hint
a
of
royal
unseen
name,
blossoms, a
and
fragrance that
spelled
should
out
not exist on a barren coast.
KHNUMKHUF.
It is a quiet,
The
natural
full
perfume,
name of the pharaoh,
the kind you might find in
while
a
some
secret,
critics
walled
have
garden
questioned the
after a summer
authenticity
shower.
of these
You are
markings,
moving inland, but the presence of the
paleographic
sea
analysis
is stronger than
has
ever.
confirmed that the
It's a
script
paradox
is
you
consistent
accept
with
without
other known
question.
examples from
The
the
path
fourth
begins to
dynasty.
ascend a gentle slope,
This is the
winding between
definitive
low,
smoking gun
grassy dunes
linking
held
the
together by the
monument to a
tenacious roots of
specific
Maram
king.
grass.
This conclusion
The grass is
further
tipped with silver
bolstered by the
droplets from the
architectural
fog,
history of
each one a
ancient
tiny,
Egypt.
perfect
The
lens
Great
reflecting the
Pyramid
glow of
was
your
not a
shell.
sudden
You brush
innovation.
past a cluster of them,
It was
and the
apex
water that
of a
falls
clear
onto your hand is
evolutionary
cool and
line
soft,
of royalty
swirling and
construction
slow,
that began
deliberate
with a
eddies,
simple mass,
as if it
the
were a living
BAS of the
thing,
first and
guiding
second
you,
dynasties.
concealing the way ahead and erasing
This
the path
form
behind.
evolved into the
You
first
feel
pyramid,
entirely alone,
the
but
step
not
pyramid of
It's a profound and peaceful
Djoser
solitude,
designed
a
by the
feeling of
famed
being the only
architect
person awake
Imhotep.
in a sleeping world.
The
conch in your
subsequent
hands
train of
hums with a steady,
Esneferu,
low-frequency
Khufu's
vibration.
father and the first
It feels
king
less like a call
was a
now
period
and more
of
like a gentle,
intense
reassuring
architectural
pulse, a guide confirming
experimentation.
you are on the right path.
He is credited
You lift it
with
closer to
building
your
three
ear,
major
turning the
pyramids,
spiraled
the
opening
pyramid
towards
at
you.
Mermaid,
The sound from within
which
is
may
no
have
longer a
partially
single note.
collapsed during
It has deepened,
construction. The
unfolded.
unique bent
Now,
pyramid
it
at
sounds like a
Dashur,
distant,
which changes
harmonious
angle
chant,
partway
harmonious
up its
chant,
slope and
wordless
finally,
and ancient.
the
It
first
is a sound that
successful
seems
true
to understand the rhythm of your own
smooth-sided
heart,
pyramid,
of your own
the
breathing.
red
You think about
pyramid,
how conch
the
shells
red
have been
pyramid,
used for
also
millennia
at
by coastal
Dashur.
cultures,
The
not
Great
just as
Pyramid,
instruments,
therefore,
but as sacred objects,
is seen
tools to
as the
communicate
perfected
across vast
culmination of a
distances,
century of
or to
trial
call
and
spirits
error.
from the deep.
A direct successor
This
to the
one,
project
you feel,
Khufu's
is a key.
father.
You
The
reach
Greek
the crest of a low
historian
dune and the path
Herodotus,
levels out.
writing in
Before
the 5th
you, a
century
formation of
BCE,
rocks emerges from the
more
mist,
than
dark and
2,000 years
They are
after
taller
the
than you,
pyramid's
weathered by
construction.
eons of wind and salt
Also
spray into
attributed
fantastic,
the monument
smooth
to
shapes.
Khufu war chiefs.
They look like sleeping
While
giants.
his account
They're
is
great,
filled with
rounded shoulders
folklore and
hunched against the passage of
inaccuracies
time.
about the construction
The path of glowing
methods and
stones
the
leads
lives
you
of the
directly
workers.
towards a narrow opening
His
between two of these
identification
great
of the
megaliths.
owner aligns
The
with
space
the
is just wide enough
archaeological
for you to
record.
pass through. It
The
feels like
sum
a
of this
gateway.
evidence
As
the
you step
evolution
into the
of
passage,
pyramid building,
the air instantly
the
becomes
structure
still.
of the
gentle sea
surrounding
breeze that you
funerary
felt on your
complex,
skin is
the
gone.
presence of the solar
The sound of the
barges,
waves is suddenly
quarry
muted,
marks
distant,
bearing
as
his
if
name,
you step into a
and
sound
later
room.
historical accounts
The fog
forms
thins
the
slightly
bedrock
within
of
the
the
rock
academic
passage, and you can
consensus.
see that the stone
The Great
walls are
Pyramid
slid
was
with
built to
moisture,
be a tomb,
covered in patches
a
of
resurrection
deep green,
machine
velvety
designed to
moss.
launch the soul
The moss
of
seems
the
to
god
drink the
King
light from your
Khufu
shell,
into the
glowing
eternal
with an
cosmos.
emerald fire.
It
You
was
run
the
your
physical
fingers over it,
manifestation
cool and
of the
damp,
state's
and
resources,
it smells of deep
labor,
earth and ancient
and
rain.
religious
This
devotion,
narrow corridor of stone
all
feels like a
focused on
threshold.
single,
You have a sense of
goal.
leaving one place and
And
preparing
yet,
to enter another.
despite the weight
It's a liminal
of this
space,
evidence,
a pause in your
certain
journey.
persistent
For a moment, you
anomalies
stand
continue
still,
to
held
trouble
between
this
the silent,
otherwise
mossy
tidy
stones.
narrative.
The glowing conch pulsing
Subject
gently
we
in
shall
your
turn
hands.
to in due course.
You are suspended
While
between
the
the
why
world
of the
open
Great
beach and
Pyramid
whatever
has
lies
a
ahead.
widely accepted
The path has led you
answer in
here
the
to this
form of
quiet,
a pharaonic
hidden door in the
tomb.
landscape.
The how
The
remains
shell in your
a
hands is
subject
the
of
key.
intense
Beckoning
and
glow just
persistent
beyond the
debate.
passage is the invitation
To
turn
fully
the look and step
appreciate
through.
the depth of this mystery,
The only way is
one must
forward
move
into the heart
beyond
of
the
the mist,
abstract
into the
numbers
center
and
of the
attempt
story
to
the conch is
visualize
waiting to tell.
the sheer
You take a
physical
final,
reality
slow
of the
breath in the
task.
quiet stillness of the rock
Project is
passage,
understood
and then you
by
step
mainstream
through.
chronology.
The world on the other side is not what you expect.
Transporting,
The fog does not
and
lift
precisely
entirely,
placing
but
an
it
average
thins into
of
a luminous,
1 to 0.5
swirling
ton
haze.
log every 2
You are
to
standing
3
at the edge of a
minutes.
small, working cove, 365 days a year, cradled by the dark, for the entire duration of the estimated 20-year construction. The water here is as calm as a sheet of glass, pace, protected from the open ocean, and the source of the soft light is not just your shell anymore. That is difficult. The entire surface of the cove's water glows with the same gentle, peachy luminescence. Let us first consider the quarrying process. It is as if the moon has dissolved primary into the limestone sea, imbuing it with is located just south of the pyramid itself. The path of smooth, gray stones. Geologists have identified the tool marks. The last stone is half submerged in the glowing tide, consistent with the conch in your hand pulses a little brighter, a little warmer, its humming vibration clears silent instruction. The proposed method involves workers carving out deep channels around it. You feel no fear, only a deep and trusting calm. Using the expansion of the glowing water looks impossibly inviting, like a bath of liquid light prepared just for you. You place the conch shell carefully on the sand beside the last stone, its light creating a small warm beacon on the shore. Then you take a step forward. The sand is cool and wet beneath your feet, and as you wade into the water, you brace for a shock. The physical toll, but it never comes. Wielding these the moment your toes dip into the glowing sea, a surprising warmth spreads through you. It's not hot, but a perfect, comforting temperature, like a soft blanket enveloping your skin. The water feels different from moving a 2.5. It is heavier, silky quarry, as if it has the density of liquid starlight. Even a short distance away, wading deeper is a significant undertaking. The water rises to your ankles, then your knees, then your waist, use of and with each inch, the feeling of warmth and safety intensifies. It's a profound, nurturing embrace. It feels like returning to a place you have always known but had long reduce friction. You look down, and you can see your own form perfectly, outlined in the soft glow of the water. In 2013, tiny, sparkling motes of light, like infinitesimal diamonds, drift lazily in the current around you. It documents the catching on your skin before floating away. The soft rhythmic sigh of the open ocean is a distant memory now. Here, in this hidden place, the only sound is the gentle, almost imperceptible lapping of the blowing canals and artificial harbors. It's a sound of pure tranquility. Right to the foot of you feel the gentle tug of a current, not pulling you out to sea, but gently swirling around you, as if the water itself is welcoming you. Learning the shape of you, learning the shape of you. However, you feel utterly describes the transport of cases, buoyed not just by the water's density, by nature, which seems to be one of pure, unconditional acceptance. And it does not solve the most. You remember being a child, the hesitation at the edge of a cold swimming pool. How you remember the learned fear of ranging the from depths, 2.5 but all of that is gone. Colossal here, there is no fear. Beams in the king's the water chamber doesn't feel like an alien element. To heights of up, it feels like an extension of your own being. 1 feet, the most liquid continuation of the peace you feel inside. The use of a ramp. You recall a small, yet forgotten piece of knowledge our bodies are mostly water. Is the subject. Perhaps this is why it feels so much like a homecoming. You are simply returning to your own essential element. When the water reaches your shoulders, you stop. You could stand here forever, held in this perfect, warm embrace. But the gentle current nudges you, a soft insistence of a reminder that the journey continues. Such a you know what you must do next. Over a mile you take a slow, deep breath, volume of filling your lungs nearly equal to that of the pyramid itself. You look up at the swirling, pearlescent mist that serves and then as a subsequently sky. Dismantled. You release the breath and allow yourself to sink. You let go of the sandy bottom, and the water takes you. You close your eyes and lean back, surrendering your weight completely one to the coast's gentle suggests and for a moment, you float on the surface, your face turned towards the misty sky, outside your body rocked by the lazy, warm current. This would require with a slow, graceful tilt. You allow your head to slip. Critics of this model point out that such the water closes over your face like a soft silk sheet. The faint lapping sound disappears,
for the builders
replaced
to
by a
maintain the
profound,
structure,
enveloping silence. The world goes quiet, and you sink slowly, peacefully,
championed
into the
by
warm,
the French
glowing heart of the sea. There is no struggle, no panic, just a gentle,
In this model,
weightless
an
descent
external
into the
ramp
light.
was used
As you
for
drift
the lower
downwards,
third of the
suspended in the
pyramid,
warm,
while the
luminous
upper
water, a
2/3
curious
were
thing
constructed
doesn't happen.
using a spiral
Or rather, a
ramp
curious thing
inside the
doesn't happen.
pyramid's outer
The
edge.
familiar, urgent
Howden
instinct
points
to
to
breathe,
certain anomalies
the tightening
like a
in your
knot
chest
high up
that
on
should
the
signal a
pyramid's
lack of
corner
air,
as
simply
potential
isn't there.
evidence for
The
this
panic that your
internal
land
structure.
dweller's mind has been conditioned to
Pyramid's
expect never
project's
arrives.
discovery of a large
Instead,
void,
a
which
profound
could
sense of peace settles
potentially
over you,
correspond
deeper
to the
than any
path
you
of
have felt
such a
before.
ramp,
Understand
has
something
added
your
a
conscious
new
mind
layer of
is only
intrigue
just
to
beginning
this
to grasp
hypothesis.
that this is a
Beyond
different
the
kind of
lifting,
water.
there is the
You
matter
are a
of
different
placement.
kind of visitor.
Each
You
of the
keep your eyes
2.3
closed for a few
million
moments
blocks had
longer,
to be
savoring the
maneuvered into
sensation.
its exact position.
It is the purest form of sensory
Often with
deprivation,
mortar joints
yet it
of
is not
less
empty.
than a millimeter
It is filled
in
with the
thickness.
feeling of being held,
This
of being
required
safe.
not just brute force,
The warmth is constant,
but
a
delicate
perfect,
unblocks
even
nudged
temperature that
into
makes it
place with
impossible
such
to tell where
precision.
your skin
Theories
ends and the water
involve the
begins.
use of simple
You
levers
feel
and
boundless,
rockers.
dissolved into
But
the gentle,
achieving this
glowing
on
medium
a
that
crowded and
surrounds you.
ever-rising
All
construction
tension
surface
leaves your muscles.
with thousands
Your shoulders,
of workers,
which you didn't even
adds
realize were
another
tight,
layer
finally
of
release.
complexity.
Your jaw
The sheer
unclenches.
mathematics of the
The
project
tiny, worried
are as
furrow
daunting
between your
as
brows
the
smooths
physical
away.
labor.
You are simply floating.
The layout of the
drifting.
base
Slowly,
is a near
you decide to
perfect
open your eyes.
square.
There
with
is
the
no
four
sting of
sides
salt, no
measuring
blurry
an
vision.
average of 230.3
You see with a perfect crystalline
meters.
clarity, as if you were
The
looking
difference
through the
between
pure
the
air.
longest and shortest sides
And what you see takes your
is
breath
less
away,
than
or it
20
would, if you still
centimeters.
needed it.
An
The water
accuracy
around
of
you is
over
alive with light, not the dissolved moon
99.9%.
you imagined, but from
The
within
base
the water
is
itself.
also
Billions of
astonishingly
tiny,
level,
shimmering particles
varying
of
by
light drift
only a
in the
few
gentle currents.
centimeters.
Like a
over
galaxy
its
of
entire
microscopic stars,
13
they
acre
create a soft,
expanse.
ambient
This
glow
is the
that
scale of the
illuminates everything in a
impossible.
dreamlike
It
haze.
is a web
You
of
feel a
interlocking
gentle,
problems
instinctual
where the solution to one
It's not a
often
conscious
creates
thought, but a
new
deep
problem
cellular
for
memory.
another.
You
The
part
sheer
your lips
number of
slightly
workers
and take a
required,
breath, not of
estimated
air,
by
but
some
of the water
to be
itself.
in the tens of
It
thousands.
flows into your lungs without
presents
resistance,
its own
without the
logistical
choking
nightmare of
sensation of
housing,
drowning.
feeding,
It feels
and
cool,
organizing.
clean,
The
and
relentless
impossibly
pace,
light.
the immense
There is no
weights,
weight to it,
the vertical
no struggle.
challenge,
It fills
and
you,
the final,
and you feel a
astonishing
sense of profound
precision.
vitality.
All of this
A
was
clean,
to be achieved,
clean, quiet
according
energy
to the
spreading
standard
through your
model,
entire
with the
being.
technology
It is more than
no
water,
more
it is
advanced
liquid
than
life,
copper,
liquid peace.
stone,
You
wood,
exhale,
and rope.
and a soft cloud of
It is
slightly
this
brighter,
apparent
warmer
chasm
light
between
drifts
the
from your
means and
lips,
the end
joining
result
the
that
swirling
keeps the
constellation
mystery
around
alive.
you. You take
While
another breath,
mainstream
deeper this
Egyptology
time,
maintains
more
that
confident.
ingenuity,
It is the
time,
most
and an
natural
abundance
thing
of
in the
organized
world.
labor
You
are
are
sufficient
weightless.
explanations.
A gentle,
The
experimental
scale
kick
of
of
the
your leg
undertaking
sends you gliding
continues to
forward
invite
with surprising
question.
speed and grace.
Are we missing
Movement
a piece
is
of the
effortless
puzzle?
here.
At the very
You are no
heart
longer
of the
fighting against the
construction
water,
mystery
but
lies a
cooperating
simple
with it.
material
stretch out your
science
arms,
problem,
and
the
you feel the silky
confrontation
water
between
flow
the
past
builder's
your skin.
tools and the stones
It is
of
like
the
flying
pyramid.
through a thick, warm
The
cloud.
accepted
There is a sense of
archaeological
utter
toolkit
freedom,
for the fourth
of being
dynasty
unbound by
consists
gravity and all its
primarily of
earthly
copper
demands.
implements
You
for
begin to
cutting and
explore this
shaping,
new, silent
and
world.
hardstone pounders,
The seabed of the cove
such
is
as
not
dollar
far below.
for
It's covered in the
pouring
same
rough
fine
dressing.
white sand as the beach,
When we examine
but
the
it is
properties
carpeted
of
with a
these
strange and
tools
beautiful
against the
flora,
materials they were
soft,
used to
feathery
work
plants that
limestone
look
in.
like ferns of
More
pure light sway in the
significantly,
current.
granite, a
They are not
profound
green.
technical
but shades of soft blue, gentle
This is the
lavender,
copper
and
chisel
pale,
conundrum.
glowing silver.
Let us first
They
consider
pulse with their
copper.
own
On
internal
the
light,
Mohs scale
their fronds
of
waving in a
mineral
slow,
hardness,
hypnotic dance.
copper
They are
has
not
a
rooted in
hardness
the
of
sand, but seem to
approximately
float just
For
above
comparison,
it,
a
tethered by
human
threads of
fingernail
faint
is
light.
about to point
You drift down and run your
and a
fingers
modern
through
steel
them.
file
They
is
are
about
softer than
6.5
velvet, and they leave a trail of
primary
fading
material
sparkles
of
on
the
your
pyramid.
skin. You wonder about the nature of this place. Is it a dream, a forgotten corner of the world, or have you simply crossed a threshold into a different state of being? The question arises in your mind.
With significant
But it carries no
effort and
anxiety.
constant ray
It's a
sharpening.
gentle, philosophical curiosity, the kind one might have while
the copper
gazing at the
edge
stars.
would dull quickly.
The answer you feel
requiring
is
a
not
massive
important.
logistical
The experience
operation
is everything.
dedicated solely
Scholars and mystics
to ray
have long
forging
spoken
and
of a
sharpening
universal
thousands
consciousness,
of chisels
a life force
for the
that connects all
workforce
things.
each day.
Perhaps this glowing water
While
is a physical
difficult,
manifestation
this is
of that
considered
idea of
plausible
place where the
by
boundary
most
between self and the
historians.
universe dissolves.
The Egyptians
You look up
were known to
through
be
the shimmering
skilled
water and the
metallurgists.
drifting motes of light. You can
And it
see
is
the surface
possible
far
they
above.
used to work
It looks like a
hardened
ceiling of
arsenical
hammered
copper,
silver,
which
undulating
would have been
gently,
slightly
catching
more
the faint,
durable
misty
than
light
pure
from the
copper.
world you left
However,
behind.
the problem
You feel a sense of immense distance from that world of peaceful detachment.
The granite
The worries and thoughts that occupied your mind up there seem so
The
small
king's
from down
chamber
here, so
is a prime
insignificant,
example.
like distant clouds
Its
in a
walls,
summer sky.
floor, and
Here,
ceiling
in
are
the silent,
constructed from
glowing
massive,
depths, there is only the present
precision-fitted
moment,
blocks of
only the
swamp
feeling
granite.
of the water on your
The
skin,
sarcophagus,
the sight
or
of the gently
coffer,
swaying
housed
light
within
ferns,
this chamber
and the
is
profound,
carved from a
miraculous
single,
sensation
solid
of breathing
block
peace.
of the same material.
You have taken your first
Granite
breath
is an
underwater,
igneous
and
rock,
in doing so,
significantly
you have breathed
harder
in the
than
very essence
limestone.
of tranquility.
With
Having
a Mohs
mastered the
hardness
gentle
of
art of
6
breathing
to
water,
7,
a sense
minerals
of
that
playful
are far
curiosity
harder
takes
than
over.
copper.
You leave the sandy
A simple
floor of the
copper
cove
chisel
behind,
would be
kicking
all
off with
but
a gentle
useless
push
against
soaring
a granite
upwards into the
surface
heart
that
of the
tool
glowing
would
water.
deform and blunt
You are an
almost
explorer in an
immediately,
undiscovered
having
country,
little to no
a silent
effect on the
astronaut
stone.
in an inner
This
sea.
is not a matter
You
of
twist and turn,
speculation. It
your
is
movements
a basic
fluid and
fact
graceful,
of material
delighting in the
science.
newfound
How then
weightlessness.
did the builders of
effortless
the
dance
old
with the
kingdom
current.
cut
Your
and
journey
shape
takes you
these
towards the dark
enormous
rock
granite
walls that form the
blocks
cove?
with such apparent
Underwater, they are not
mastery
sheer
the
cliffs, but
mainstream
complex,
explanation of
sculpted
techniques.
landscapes.
For quarrying,
Eons
the
of
use
gentle
of
water
dollar
movement
at
have carved
pounder's
them into
hand
smooth,
held
flowing
balls
shapes,
of a very
full
hard,
of hollows,
dark
arches,
colored
and
igneous
ledges,
rock,
and
is
they are not
proposed.
bare.
Workers
They are home
would
to a
have
garden of
relentlessly
breathtaking beauty,
pounded the
a
granite,
vertical paradise that
pulverizing the
thrives in the
surface to
soft,
create channels
perpetual
and
twilight.
eventually
This is a
free
coral
block
garden,
for
but
shaping
unlike
and
any
finishing.
you have ever seen
The
or
proposed
imagined.
method
The coral
involves
structures
the
are
use
not
of
the
copper
hard,
saws,
sharp formations of a tropical
but with the
reef.
crucial
They are soft,
addition and
pliable,
abrasive
and they glow
slurry.
with their own living light.
The theory
Great,
is
branching
that a
fans
toothless
of coral
copper
in
saw
shades of
blade,
deep amethyst and
which by
soft
itself
rose,
could
spread
not
out
cut
from the
granite,
rock face.
was used
They
as
pulse
a
with a
carrier
slow,
for a much
rhythmic
harder
light, like
abrasive
sleeping
material,
hearts. As
such
you drift
quartz
closer,
sand.
you can see intricate
The back and
patterns on
forth
their
motion of the
surfaces,
saw
like
would drag the
delicate,
sharp
luminous
quartz particles
Between
along
these
the
larger
cutting line,
structures are clusters of what
slowly
look like sea
grinding
anemones,
their way through
their
the granite.
tentacles,
This
in hues of
abrasive
sapphire
method
blue
is
and emerald
theoretically
green,
sound and
wave
has
with an
been
impossibly
demonstrated
slow
on a
grace in the
small
gentle
scale
currents.
in experimental
They are not waiting to
archaeology.
catch prey.
However,
They seem to be
applying
simply
it to the
existing,
scale and
basking
precision
in the
seen
tranquil
in the Great
energy of the
Pyramid
water.
raises further
You reach out a
questions.
hand, cautiously,
The
towards the tip
sarcophagus
of a
in the
waving
king's
blue
chamber,
tentacle.
for instance,
It
is
senses your
hollowed out
approach
from
and
a single
sways towards
block.
your fingers.
Its
When you
interior
touch it,
corners
the
are
sensation is
remarkably
one of
sharp,
cool, smooth
and its
silk. The
surfaces
tentacle
are
curls
smooth,
gently around your
creating
finger,
such a feature
soft,
with a simple
inquisitive
hand-powered
caress
saw and loose
before
abrasive
unfurling and
would
continuing
be an
its serene,
exceptionally challenging
silent
task,
dance.
requiring
There
immense
is no sting,
patience and
no
a
danger,
level of skill
only a
that
quiet,
is hard to
gentle
fathom.
interaction. You swim
Some
along the
researchers
wall,
have pointed to
mesmerized by the
evidence
sheer
of
variety
machine
of light and
marks
color.
on artifacts
There are structures
from
that
Giza,
resemble delicate
other old
bell-shaped
kingdom
flowers.
sites
Their petals
that they
made of
argue
pale,
are
golden light.
inconsistent.
Others look like soft,
abrasive
spherical
technique.
cushions of moss.
They point
glowing
to
with a
features
deep
like
verdant
marks with
luminescence.
regular, parallel
This is a
grooves,
world built matter
and the
as you know
internal
it,
profiles
but from
of drill
organized,
holes,
living light,
which they claim
a whole
suggest
ecosystem
a more
of silent,
advanced,
beautiful
powered
life, thriving
mechanical
in
process.
perfect harmony.
The most
you notice
famous
small
example
fish,
of
or what
this
you
is
assume
the
are
work of
fish,
Patrick,
darting between
who
the coral
meticulously
branches.
documented
They are not
what
solid
he believed
creatures,
to
but
be
shimmering
evidence
forms of silver and
advanced
white
tools.
light, like
He
quick,
examined
fluid
granite
brushstrokes
drill
above Mercury.
cores,
They
noting
move
that
without
the
seeming to
spiral
propel
grooves
themselves,
left by
gliding through the
tool
water as if they are
indicated a
part of it.
feed rate the
They travel in
distance
small,
the drill
harmonious
advanced
schools,
with each
their movements
rotation
perfectly
that would
synchronized,
be,
weaving
in his
intricate
estimation,
patterns in the water.
hundreds
They are not
of
afraid of
times
you.
greater
A river of
than what
cool
could
light
be
rushing
achieved
against
by
your arms
hand
and legs
pressure
before they
with a
continue on their
simple
silent,
abrasive
looping
He
journey.
concluded
As you
that
drift,
the Egyptians
you
must
contemplate
have
the
been
silence
using
of this
fixed
place.
point drills.
It is not an empty
operating
silence.
with immense
It is a full
rotational
silence,
speed and
rich with
pressure
presence.
on the order of
On land, silence is merely the absence
This
of
led
noise.
him to speculate
Here,
about the
silence is an
existence
active
of
element.
tools and techniques
It is the
far
canvas
beyond
upon which
the
this
simple
visual
copper
symphony
and
is painted.
stone model.
You think of the
Modern
sounds you left
engineers and
behind the rain,
machinists
the
have
waves
also
on the
weighed
shore.
in,
Those were the sounds of the
skepticism
world's
at the
outer
precision
workings.
and finish of some of the
This is
granite
the
work.
sound of its inner
Particularly
peace. You
the
find a
perfectly
small
flat
edge,
surfaces
a
and
little
sharp
balcony
internal
of smooth,
corners of the
dark rock
sarcophagus
overlooking a
could be
particularly
achieved
beautiful
with primitive
grove of
hand
the glowing
tools.
coral. You
They
settle
argue
there,
that
your body
creating
resting
such
gently
features
against
today
the stone,
would require
which is
diamond
surprisingly
tipped,
not cold but
high-powered
holds the
machinery.
same neutral warmth as
While
the
these
water.
are compelling
From
observations,
this vantage point,
they
you
have
simply
not
watch.
swayed the mainstream
You watch the slow,
Egyptological
rhythmic
view,
pulse
which
of the coral
maintains
fans.
that time and dedicated
You watch the graceful
craftsmanship
dance of the
are the
animals.
key missing ingredients.
You watch the
in
silent,
our modern assessment.
silvery fish we fish with
The
their
argument
ephemeral
is
pattern.
that we
Time seems to stretch and dissolve here.
underestimate
An
the
hour could
results
pass, or a
that
minute.
can be achieved
It makes
with
no
simple
difference.
tools when combined
The concept of
with
time,
generations
of schedules
of
and
accumulated
urgency
skill
is a
and
foreign language
the near
in this
limitless
place.
supply
The
of
gentle,
labor and
ambient
time.
light of the water
so
and
the
the
conundrum
slow,
remains.
hypnotic movements
On
of the
one
garden begin
side,
to lull
we
you
have the
into a state of
tangible
deep
evidence
meditation.
of beautifully worked
Your thoughts,
granite,
which had
the
already
material
quieted,
that
now
scoffs
fade
at the
into
softness
mere
of copper.
non-existence. You
On
are not
the other,
thinking, you are
we
simply
have an
perceiving.
archaeological record.
You are a
that,
pair of
for the
eyes,
fourth
a
dynasty,
consciousness floating in a
shows
sea
no
of
definitive
tranquility,
evidence of
absorbing the
iron
beauty
tools.
around you. You
Diamond
realize that this
abrasives
place
or any
requires
form of
nothing from
high-speed
you, or be anything other than what you are in this moment.
The
a
theory of
peaceful
abrasive
observer,
song
welcome with guest in
supports
the
and
secret,
serves as a
sleeping
bridge
garden
across this
beneath the
technical
waves.
chasm.
The
But
light
for
from the
some,
coral
it
seems
is
to
a
seep
bridge
into you,
that seems
filling you
too
with
fragile
its own
to bear the
calm,
weight
steady glow.
of the
After a
evidence
period
it is
of
meant to
timeless,
support.
peaceful observation
The
in the coral
silence,
garden,
smooth
you feel a
walls
subtle
of
shift in the
chamber
water.
in the stark,
It's not a
empty
strong current,
box,
but a
within it
deep,
continue
slow,
to pose
resonant
a
pulse that you
fundamental
feel more than you
question
hear.
of means on
It's a
materials.
vibration that seems to
A
emanate
silent
from the very
challenge
bedrock
to
of
our
the seafloor.
understanding
A
of
low,
Bronze Age
ancient thrumming that
technology.
travels
The
up
sheer
to the
scale of
stone
labor
ledge
required,
resting
regardless of
on
the
into your
specific
very
tools
bones.
used,
It is a feeling of
naturally
immense
leads to
sleeping
one
power,
of the most
but it is
fundamental
entirely benign.
questions
Slow
about the
heartbeat
pyramid
of something
construction,
colossal.
who were the
Curiosity
builders for
gently nudges
centuries.
you from your
The
restful
popular
state.
imagination,
You push off from the ledge,
heavily
leaving the
influenced
soft glow
by
of the coral
Hollywood
garden
epics
behind,
and early,
and allow this new,
contemporary
deep
accounts
current to
like
guide
those
you.
of Herodotus.
You drift away from the
has
rocky
been
walls of the
captivated
covert
by
out,
the image
moving
of
deeper into the
thousands of
luminous
slaves,
twilights.
toiling
The terrain
miserably
below you begins
under
to
the
change.
lash of an overseer's
The flat
whip. This
widens and gives
narrative
way to a
paints
gently
a
sloping,
picture of immense
dark
human
landscape.
suffering as
You are
the
descending
foundation
along the
for
flank of a
Pharaoh's
vast
vanity.
underwater mouth. The water here is
However,
slightly cooler,
modern
the ambient
archaeology
light
has
a little
systematically
dimmer,
dismantled
but the sense
this
of peace
myth,
remains absolute.
replacing it
The
with
particles
a
of light in the
far
water
more complex
seem to be
and
drawn
compelling
downwards,
portrait of
flowing
the
in gentle,
workforce.
spiraling rivers
The
towards
evidence
the source
now
of the deep
overwhelmingly
pulse.
suggests
You follow them, a silent pilgrim on a journey to the heart of this world. The mountain is immense, its full scale hidden in the soft
and
glow.
highly organized.
You can only perceive the part of it that is closest to you.
The most
A great
significant
sweeping
evidence
curve of
comes
dark,
from the discovery of a
rock,
lost
like the shoulder
city
of a
just
slumbering giant. As you descend, you begin to feel a distinct warmth radiating
by
from below.
archaeologist
It's a
Mark
different
Leonard
kind of
and his
warmth
team
than the
in
gentle,
our
ambient heat of
ancient
the cove.
Egypt research
This is a deep
associates.
geothermal
This sprawling
warmth,
settlement,
the kind that
known
speaks
as
of the planet's molten
High-Tel
core.
Rab,
It's a
is
comforting,
now
grounding
understood
energy.
to be the workers' village.
The rhythmic pulse grows stronger,
This was
more
no
defined.
mere temporary
It is a
camp.
slow, steady thump-thump
It
so
was a
low it's on
planned
the very
urban
edge of
center,
perception,
complete
like the
with
deepest
streets,
note of a celestial
administrative
organ.
buildings,
You drift over a
and
final
large
ridge, and
state-run
the source of the warmth and the
facilities
sound
for
is
feeding
revealed.
and housing the thousands
Below you
of
lies the
workers.
caldera of a huge,
Within this
ancient
complex,
volcano.
archaeologists
But there is no
have
fire
found
here, no
enormous
smoke,
bakeries,
no violent
capable
eruption.
of producing thousands
This
of
volcano
loaves
is
of
not
bread
dead,
a day.
but deeply,
They
profoundly
have
asleep.
uncovered galleries.
Its
for
vast,
processing
circular
and
crater is a
salting
place of
fish
immense
on an
tranquility.
industrial scale.
The floor of the caldera is a
The funnel
mosaic of
remains
smooth,
the animal
obsidian-like
bones
rock,
discarded by the
crisscrossed with
inhabitants
fissures.
tell a
And from
particularly
these
powerful
fissures,
story.
a soft, warm,
Analysis
golden light
reveals
emanating,
that the
pulsing in
workers
time with the
consume
heartbeat
vast
you
quantities
feel.
of
This is the heart of the mountain, the heart of
and
this
goat
hidden world.
was a high
The light is not
status
the fierce
food
glare of
in
magma,
ancient Egypt,
but a gentle, steady
and its
glow,
prevalence
as if
in
the earth
workers'
itself is
diet
streaming in
is a
shades of
strong
golden
indicator
amber.
that they
The
were not
warmth rising from the
disposable.
fissures creates visible currents
Instead,
in the water.
They were
Slow,
valued
shimmering
state
thermals that
employees,
rise like phantom smoke,
provided with the
carrying
high
with them
protein
sparkling mineral
diet
dust that glitters in the
necessary to
golden light.
sustain
You
them
allow
through
yourself to drift down
intense
into the
physical
caldera.
labor.
The
living
closer you get,
quarters
the more you
further
feel the
support
ancient,
this view.
peaceful energy of this place.
Archaeologists
It feels
have
like entering a
excavated
vast,
large,
natural cathedral.
long galleries that
You feel an
appear to have
instinctual sense of
served as
reverence of
barracks.
awe. You think of the
These
immense
were not
temescals at play
dungeons,
here,
but
this volcano
organized
may have shaped the very
dormitories
land you
capable
walked
of
upon
housing
eons
a
ago.
rotating force of perhaps
It has been sleeping here
1,600 to
beneath the waves
2,000 men
for
at a
countless
time.
millennia.
The
Its heart
structure
still
of
beating,
the village
still warming the
suggests
secret sea that
a
surrounds
system
it. It
not
is a
of
monument to
permanent
patience,
enslavement,
to the slow,
but of corporeal
geological
labor,
time that
a
operates on
form
a
of
scale
national
far beyond
service or
comprehension.
taxation.
You
paid
find a
with
place
work.
to settle near the
It
center
is
of the
believed
caldera
that
on a smooth,
stonemasons,
warm slab of
architect,
volcanic
and foreman
glass.
lived at Giza
The deep
year-round.
rhythmic pulse is
They
all
were
around you now, a
supplemented
gentle,
by a much
full-body
larger,
massage of
rotating
sound.
body of temporary
You close your eyes,
laborers.
and you can feel the
Likely
rhythm of
farmers
your
who
own
came
heart
to work on
begin
the
to
pyramid during the
subconsciously
months
align with
of
the
the
far
Nile's
slower, more
inundation.
profound rhythm of
When
the
their
earth's
fields
heart.
were flooded
Thump
and
thump, pay long,
agricultural
peaceful
work was
pause.
impossible.
Thump thump, it is the most
This
calming
system
sound
provided
imaginable.
the pharaoh
It
with
is
a
the sound
massive,
imaginable of a
renewable
power so
source of
immense.
manpower
It has no
while
need for
integrating
aggression.
the national
You lie back on the warm
population
stone,
into this
utterly
central
relaxed. The
state
golden light from the fissures
object,
below paints
further
shifting
humanizing
patterns on the
evidence
inside of
comes
your
from
eyelids.
workers'
The gentle
cemeteries,
warmth seeps
discovered
into your
on the
muscles,
slopes near
chasing
the
away the
village.
last lingering
The very
remnants of any
existence
physical
of
tension.
these dedicated
Philosophers have often wondered about the soul of the world. The
slaves
animal
typically
here,
would not
at
have
the
been
bottom of a
afforded
secret
the
ocean,
honor of a formal
on the chest of
burial
a
so
sleeping
close
volcano,
to the sacred
feeling its
pyramid
slow,
complex
warm
of the
breath and
king.
listening to its ancient,
The tombs
steady
themselves,
heartbeat. You
though
feel
modest
closer to
compared
that
to those
concept
of the
than
elite,
ever before.
contain
You are
pottery
not
and
just in
other
the world,
small
you are
goods
being
for
held
the
by it,
afterlife.
rocked
The
gently by
skeletal
its
remains
slow,
of these
eternal
men and
slumber.
women provided
You feel
direct
your own
testament to their
consciousness begin to
lives.
expand, to dissolve into the
Archaeologists
immense,
have studied
peaceful
these
presence
bones
of this
and found
place.
evidence
As you
of
rest
the
in the
immense
warm,
physical
rhythmic cradle of the
toll work,
sleeping volcano,
compressed
a new
vertebrae,
sound begins to filter
degenerative
into your
arthritis,
awareness.
and
It is not the
numerous
deep,
bone
resonant
fractures.
pulse of the caldera,
Yet,
but something else
crucially,
entirely.
many of these severe
It is a sound that
injuries
travels
show
through the
clear
water from a
signs
great
of having been
distance.
set in
A series of long, low, and
This
incredibly
indicates that the
soulful
workers
notes.
had access to medical
It is a song,
care.
a sound
A
so pure
slave
and
with a
mournful,
broken leg
yet
would
so full
likely
of
have
peace
been left to
that
die
it
of
resonates
skilled
with a
labor,
part of your
a
soul
valuable
you didn't know
asset to the
existed.
project.
You open your
was
eyes,
worth healing
and the golden light of
returning
the
to
caldera
workforce.
floor still
The
pulses
final piece of this puzzle,
but you feel a gentle
the anonymous builder
an invitation
sharp
your sound. It is not
is
demanding,
the diary of mere
simply
art.
present.
Discovered
You push
at
off
the
from
red
the warm obsidian floor,
seaboard
rising
Wadi
once more
Al-Jarrah.
into the deep, dark
This
water,
incredible
and turn yourself
document
in the
is a
direction of
baby's
the song.
logbook, kept
It
by
seems
a
to be coming
mid-level
from the vast,
inspector named
open water,
Mirar,
away
who
from the
lead a
mountain,
team of around
out in the
40
deepest,
elite
quietest
workmen
part of this
during the
underwater
final
world.
years
You
of
glide through the
Khufu's
water,
reign,
leaving the volcano's warmth
dating
behind,
to approximately
and enter a region of
2560
cooler,
BC.
darker sea.
It is the only
ambient
known
light from the water's own glowing
first-hand
particles
account
is
of
the
the
only
pyramid's
illumination
construction.
now.
Mere
A soft,
RS
starry
log
twilight.
meticulously details
The song
his
grows
team's
clearer,
work
louder.
over a period
It
of
is a
several
complex
months.
melody of moans, cries,
He
and
records
clicks,
their
yet it
primary
forms a
task,
coherent,
transporting massive
beautiful,
blocks of
and
fine,
deeply moving symphony.
white Tura limestone.
It speaks
from
of
the
immense
quarries
distances,
across the Nile,
of timeless
to the Giza
journeys,
construction
of a
site.
wisdom so profound
He
it can only
describes
be
loading
expressed
the
through this
stones
kind
onto
of music.
boats,
And then you see them. They
navigating
emerge
a
from
system
the
of
deep
canals
gloom like
that led
living
to the
mountains,
base of the
vast,
pyramid,
graceful
and the
shadows
number of
moving with
trips
an
made.
impossible slowness and
He
serenity.
also logs their
A
compensation,
pot of whales,
which was
but
not
they
in
are
coinage
unlike any
coinage,
whales of
had
your
not
world.
yet been invented,
Their
but in
skin is
rations
not the
of
gray
food
or
and
black you might
textiles.
expect. It is the color of the
diary
deep,
provides
midnight
a
sky,
clear,
and it is dusted with points
administrative
of light,
snapshot
like
of a
constellations.
highly organized,
As they move, these star
state-managed
patterns shift and
project.
swirl.
His men
leaving
were a
faint,
gang or a
phosphorescent
crew,
trails
part
in
of
their
a
wake,
professional
swimming through the
team,
sea as if
proud
it
of
were
their
the
work
cosmos
in service
itself.
to the
You stop
pharaoh.
moving,
Together,
floating in place,
the village,
utterly humbled by their
the
presence.
cemeteries,
They are colossal,
and mere
their
art
size
diary
difficult to
paint
comprehend.
a
A
consistent
single,
and
slow
vivid
sweep of a
picture.
great tail fluke propels
The
them
builders
forward
of
with
the Great
majestic,
Pyramid
unhurried power.
were a national
Yet
resource.
there is nothing intimidating about them.
They were Egyptian
Their immense
citizens,
ancient eyes, as they glide
fulfilling a
past,
civic and
seem to
religious
hold a
duty.
universe of gentle, knowing
They were
calm.
organized.
They are aware of you,
fed,
this tiny,
housed,
fleeting
cared
presence
for by
in
the
their vast
state.
domain. But they
Theirs
register
was
you
a
with
life
simple,
of incredibly
peaceful
hard
acknowledgement
labor,
before continuing
but it was
on their
not one
way.
of bondage.
The song is all around you now.
This
It
understanding
is not just a
shifts
sound
our
you hear with
perspective.
your ears. It is a physical
We are no
vibration
longer
that passes
looking
through
at a
your entire
monument
body.
built
The water
built on
itself
you,
seems to be
built,
the medium
built
for their music,
on the back,
carrying the resonance
a
so
testament to
perfectly
the organizational
that you feel as if you are
genius and
inside the
collective
song
will
itself.
of an entire society.
You can feel the low notes
and yet
vibrating in
knowing
your
who
chest,
the builders
the higher,
were only
clicking
deepens
notes
the
seeming
respect
to
we
dance
must have
around
for
their
their
hundreds.
accomplishments.
This is the fabled
Without
whale
fully
song.
resolving
Even thousands
the
of
technical
miles through the
questions of
ocean,
exactly
biologists on the surface have studied these songs for decades,
beyond the sheer
marveling at their
mass
complexity.
of the Great
They're
Pyramid,
repeating
the
themes
logistical
and variations
challenges of its
like classical
construction
music
lies
composed
a
by the
layer
ocean
of
itself.
mystery. That
They
is
are
perhaps
great,
even more
unsolved
profound
mysteries of the
incredible,
natural world.
seemingly
Here,
anachronistic
in this
precision.
place, the song feels
The
less
builders
like a
of the
mystery and
Fourth
more like a
Dynasty
story.
did not just
You cannot
erect a
understand the
massive
words,
stone heap,
but
they
you understand
engineered
the
a
feeling.
structure.
It is a
with the
story
level
of creation, of
accuracy
the
in
deep,
its
slow
orientation,
turning of the world.
dimensions,
It is a song of
and
memory,
craftsmanship
holding
that
the
would
history
be a
of the ocean
significant
within its
challenge
notes.
for builders.
They sing of the
Even
sun and
with
the moon,
modern
of the pull
surveying
of the tides, of the
lasers,
ancient cold of the abyssal
lasers,
depths,
and
the warmth
computer-rated
of the surface
design.
waters.
This precision
They
goes
sing
far
of their own
beyond
long,
what would be
slow
necessary
life, of
for a
births and
simple
passings, of journeys that
suggesting a
span
deep
the
and
entire
sophisticated
globe. One of the great
understanding of
creatures, perhaps the
mathematics
largest of them all,
geodesy.
alters
The
its
most
course
fundamental
slightly, gliding
example
closer
of this
to you.
precision is the pyramid's
It is a
alignment
slow,
to the
deliberate
cardinal
movement of
points
gentle
to
curiosity.
north, south,
It
east,
passes so
and
close
west.
that you could reach out
The
and
four
touch its
sides of
starry
the pyramid
flank.
are oriented.
You are
with an
floating beside an
astonishing
eye that is
degree of
larger than your
accuracy.
entire body.
The average
an eye that
error
seems to
is
look
just
not just
over
at you,
3 arc
but
minutes,
through you,
or
acknowledging your
1/20th
small,
of a
brief
single
spark
degree.
of consciousness with
The
an ancient
north-south
parental
axis
calm.
is off by a mere
You feel
2
no
arc
fear,
minutes,
only a profound
28
sense of
seconds.
connection, of being seen
This
by
is a
something
level of
truly
precision
ancient
that is
and
difficult
wise.
to
As it
achieve
passes,
even today
the wake
without
from its enormous body
satellite-based
gently tumbles
GPS.
you. A slow,
to put this
soft
in
somersault in the
perspective,
water.
if one were to
You are
draw
like a single leaf caught in the wake of a great, gentle ship.
a single
You stabilize
degree
yourself and watch them go,
distance,
their vast,
roughly
starlit
16
forms slowly
miles.
fading back into the
The
deep,
pyramid's
dark water.
alignment is
Their
so
song begins to
fine
fade
that it
as well,
borders on
the notes
limits
growing
of what is
longer and more
possible
drawn out.
with naked
It is just
eye
a single,
astronomical
resonant hum
observation.
that hangs
How
in the water
ancient
for a long time
Egyptians
before
achieved
dissolving
this feat
completely
is
into
a
the
subject
silence.
of
You float
considerable
alone
debate.
again in the quiet darkness,
The
but
most
you do not
widely
feel
accepted
alone.
theories
You feel as if you
involve
have just been given a
astronomical
profound
methods.
blessing,
One
a glimpse into
popular
a mystery,
hypothesis
a connection
is the
to a
solar
consciousness
gnomon
far
method.
older and vaster than your own.
By tracking the
memory
shadow
of the song
a vertical
echoes within you,
pole
a deep,
or gnomon
cellular
throughout
resonance
a
that
day.
soothes you and fills
The
you with a
builders
sense
could
of
mark the
immense
shadow's
peace and
path.
perspective. The resonant
A line
silence left
connecting
behind
the
by the
points of the
celestial
shortest
whales
shadow
settles deep
at
within
local
you.
noon would
A
give
profound
true
calm that seems to have
north-south
retuned your entire being.
Another, more
You drift for a
precise
while in the
method
deep, starry
is the
water,
simultaneous
simply savoring the
transit.
lingering
An
echo of your
observer
song.
would sight a single
After some
star
time, a
in the
gentle,
northern
barely
sky
perceptible
as it
current
rose
begins
in
to
the
guide
east
you
and
again,
later
drawing you
as
away
it
from
set
the
in
abyssal
west.
depths and towards a new,
By bisect
brighter
the
region
angle
of this
between
endless
these 2
ocean.
points,
The water
a
around
precise
you
north-south
gradually
line
lightens,
could be
shifting from the
determined.
deep indigo of the
A
whale's
recent
passage to
theory
a
by
brighter, more
engineer
vibrant
Glenn
shade of
Ash
turquoise.
suggests
You
that
look
the
up and see the
Egyptians may
reason
have
why.
used the autumnal equinox,
Far above, a
when
shimmering,
the sun
diffused light
rises
filters
to east
down
and
from the
sets
surface.
to west.
It is
To
not the
establish
focus,
their
direct
baseline.
light of the sun,
Any of
but
these
a softer,
methods would
more
require
magical
incredibly
illumination,
careful
as if you were
observation,
swimming
clear
beneath a sky
skies,
made
and
of
a
liquid gold.
sophisticated
The
understanding
light penetrates
of
the water
celestial
in long,
mechanics.
shifting rays, or
The
corpuscular
precision
rays as they are
extends to the
sometimes called
pyramid's
when seen from
foundations.
land. Here,
The 13
they look like the
base,
ethereal pillars of a
despite
submerged
being
temple,
built on an
constantly
even bedrock,
moving,
is
constantly
leveled to
reforming
an
in a
accuracy
slow,
of within
silent
to
dance.
0.1
As you drift into
centimeters,
this brighter realm,
or less
the
than 1
landscape
inch.
below you changes once
Achieving
more.
this over
The dark,
such a
rocky
vast
terrain
area
of the
with
deep
what are
gives way to
presumed to be
vast,
simple
rolling meadows.
A-frame levels
But this
and
is
water
not grass.
channels, is
You
a
are floating
testament to
above
the
an immense forest of
meticulousness
kelp,
the surveyors.
or something akin to it.
From
Giant
this near
ribbon-like
perfectly
fronds of
level
sea
and
plant
square
rise
base,
from the seafloor,
the pyramid
reaching up
rises
hundreds
at a
of feet
consistent
towards the
slope.
light above.
The SCK
They are not the
add
murky green
to
or
a
brown of
add
earthly kelp.
to
They
a
are
fee in
vibrant,
the air. The
translucent
4 faces
green,
of the pyramid
shot
are
through
not
with
perfectly
veins of
flat,
pure,
but are
golden
slightly
light.
concave.
You descend into this
a feature
forest,
so subtle
and
that
it is like
only
entering
visible
another world.
from the air
The
under
great fronds
specific
form a
lighting
dense canopy
conditions,
far above you,
such as
filtering the light and de-appling the forest floor with moving
The
patterns
purpose of this
brightness and
concavity
shadow.
is unknown.
The effect is mesmerizing,
Some have
like sunlight
suggested
passing
it was
through the
an
leaves of an
unintentional
ancient
result
forest
of
on
the
a perfect
construction
summer
process,
afternoon. While the
others
water here is still
believe it was a
clear,
deliberate
and the
refinement,
silence is one of
perhaps
peaceful,
to better anchor
growing
the
light.
casing
You glide
stones
between
or
the
for
giant,
aesthetic
waving
reasons.
stalks
It
of the
adds
sea
another
plants.
layer
They are as
of
tall and straight as redwood
geometrical
trees.
complexity to the structure.
Their surface is
Perhaps
smooth
the
and
most
cool to the
startling
touch.
evidence of
You run your
precision
hand
can
along
be
one
found
as you
in the
pass,
fine
feeling
joinery
its
of the
gentle,
stonework,
living texture.
particularly
The fronds
in the
are so
original
wide you could
casing.
use them as a blanket.
The Great
and they sway
Pyramid
in
was once
unison with a
covered in
slow,
over
hypnotic rhythm,
140
moved by deep,
highly
invisible
polished
currents.
limestone
It is a
casing
silent,
stones.
graceful ballet.
Most
on a
of these
colossal
were stripped
scale.
away
The
in the
forest
Middle
floor
Ages
is a
to build
soft
mosques
bed
and
of what looks
fortresses
like
in
moss,
Cairo,
glowing
but a
with
few
a
remain
gentle,
at the pyramid's
phosphorescent
base.
light of its own.
The Egyptian
It illuminates the base of the kelp
Petri,
toxin casts a
known
soft,
for his fanatically
upward-facing
precise
glow,
measurements,
creating a world
studied
of
these
complex
remaining
and beautiful light.
stones in the late night.
You feel
19th
completely
century.
safe here,
He found that the
enclosed
joints
in this
between
majestic,
the multi-ton
vertical
blocks
world.
work
It is a place
consistently
of
less
profound
than
peace and
1/50th
vibrant
of an inch
You notice
thick.
the inhabitants
The
of this
mortar
forest.
used was of an
Small,
unknown
curious
chemical
creatures peek out
composition,
from behind
but
the
it
kelp
was applied
stalks.
so finely
Some
that
look
it
like
acted
seahorses,
more as a lubricant
but their bodies are made of
placement
woven
than as a
light,
bonding
and they cling
agent.
to the kelp with prehensile
Everywhere
tails.
to place
Their
such
heads turning
stones
slowly
in
to watch you
exact
as you pass.
contact would be careful
Others
work.
are like tiny,
But to do so with
iridescent
cement
beetles,
in the joints
crawling
seems
slowly along the
almost
kelp
impossible.
fronds. Their shells catching the light and refracting it into tiny rainbows.
To the exterior.
Nothing moves quickly.
The interior
You recall learning that kelp forests are among the most productive and dynamic ecosystems
are remarkably
on Earth, providing food and shelter for thousands of species,
which runs for
they are
over
often called the
345
rainforests of the
feet
sea.
into the bedrock.
This glowing,
beneath the
magical
pyramid
version seems to possess an
deviates
even
from a perfectly
deeper, more
straight
serene
line
energy.
by less than
It
a
feels
quarter
like
of
the
an
living,
inch over
breathing
its
lungs of this
entire
ocean.
length.
Photosynthesizing not just energy from the light
walls
above,
of the king's
but tranquility
so
itself.
perfectly
You find a
squared
clearing
and
in the
fitted
forest,
together,
a circular space where the kelp stalks from a natural cathedral dome.
This is
In the
not
center of the clearing, a single,
architecture.
perfect
This
beam
is
of golden light
master-level
shines
masonry
all the way
on
from
a
the surface to
megalithic
the forest
scale.
floor.
The cumulative
Like a
effect
celestial
of these
spotlight,
facts, the cardinal
You drift into
alignment,
this pillar of light
the
and
level
simply
base,
float there,
the consistent
suspended in
slope,
its warmth and
the
brilliance.
subtle concavity,
Tiny,
and
glittering
the
particles of
microscopic
what looks like pollen
tolerances
or
of
dust
the
drift
joinery
down in the light
presents a
beam,
formidable
swirling
challenge
around
to our
you. You feel the
understanding
gentle
of the
sway
builder's
of the forest,
capabilities.
the warmth of the light on your
It
skin,
implies
the
a level
profound,
of planning,
living stillness
a system of
place.
measurement,
You ponder the quiet
and
efficiency
a quality
of this
control
ecosystem.
process that
Every
seemed to
element has
belong
its
to a
purpose,
much
every
later
creature
age
its
of
place.
engineering.
There is no conflict,
It
no
is
struggle,
one thing to
just
pile
a
up
perfect,
millions of
harmonious
stones.
cycle of growth and life.
It is another thing
It is a system
entirely
in
to
perfect
assemble them
balance.
into a single,
It makes the
cohesive
noisy,
instrument
chaotic
of such
world of the surface
breathtaking
seem so
geometric and
unnecessarily
geodetic
complicated. Here, in the
This
heart
is
of the
why
sea,
the
forest,
pyramid continues
the rules
to
are simple:
fascinate
grow
not
toward the
just
light,
historians,
be a part of the whole,
but also
and sway with the
engineers,
currents.
surveyors,
A lesson taught
and
by the silent,
mathematicians.
graceful dance of the
They
giant
see
kelp.
in its silent
You feel that
form a
lesson
level
sinking
of
into
embedded
you, becoming a part of your own
that seems
understanding.
to exceed
As
the
you float weightlessly in the
context of
golden,
its time.
life-giving light,
A
you
quiet
drift in the golden
testament to a
pillar of
knowledge
light,
that we are
feeling the
still
serene energy of the
striving to
kelp
fully
forest seeping
comprehend.
into you.
Deep within
When
the
you
stone
sense a
heart of the
presence,
great pyramid,
it's not a sound or a
at
sight
the
at
terminus
first,
of a
but a subtle
series
shift
of
in the water,
passages
a new
designed
consciousness
toward
entering the
intruders,
silent cathedral.
lies the ultimate
The small,
destination of the
light-woven
structures.
seahorses and
Internal
iridescent beetles all
architecture,
turn their
the king's
attention in
chamber.
the same direction.
Yet
silent,
it is here,
collective
in
acknowledgement.
this
You
stark
turn
and
as well,
somber room,
and from the deep,
that we encounter
verdant shadows of the
most
forest,
persistent
she emerges.
and unsettling
She moves with the
anomalies of
same
the
impossible
entire
grace as the
complex.
water itself. Her
The
form a
chamber
perfect fusion
contains
of
a
the
single
familiar and the
object,
fantastical.
a large
This is the source of
granite
the
coffer,
original call. The
commonly
being who saw Nefer
identified
through the rain.
as the sarcophagus
She is the mermaid of the
Pharaoh
secret
Khufu.
ocean.
This coffer
Her
was
hair is
found
not the silken
empty,
tresses of
devoid
storybook
a body,
illustrations,
a mummy,
but something
or
far
any of
more
the
beautiful
traditional
and wild.
funerary equipment.
It is a living mane of fine,
would
dark
expect
green
from
sea
a royal
plants,
burial
like the
of
most
old
delicate
kingdom.
strands of seaweed.
This simple
interspersed
fact,
with
the
threads of
mystery
bioluminescent
empty
algae that
sarcophagus
pulse with a soft
has fueled
blue-green
centuries
light.
of debate and
It
speculation.
floats around her
about
head
the
and
true
shoulders,
purpose
a
of the
slow
Great
motion
Pyramid.
halo of
The
the
journey
deep.
to the king's
Her eyes are the
chamber
color of
is
sea
itself
glass,
a remarkable
a soft,
architectural
luminous gray green
experience.
that holds the cold,
After
ancient
ascending
wisdom
the
of the ocean, but
magnificent
filled with a
grand
deep,
gallery,
welcoming peace.
a corbelled
Her skin
vault
has
of
the pale,
breathtaking
pearlescent
scale
sheen of the
engineering.
inside of an
One
abalone
must
shell,
pass
shifting
through a
with
low,
faint,
narrow
iridescent colors
antechamber.
as she moves.
Once protected
From
by
the
a
waist
series
down,
of
her body
massive
flows
granite
into a
pergola
long,
slabs.
powerful tail.
Beyond this lies
The scales
the
are not
chamber
the
itself.
simple, overlapping
It is a
discs of
severe,
fish,
rectangular room,
individual mosaics of
constructed
deep
entirely
sapphire,
of dark,
emerald,
swan
and
granite.
silver.
Believed
They
by
catch
some
the
to
dappled
embody
light of the kelp
mathematical
forest and shatter
principles like
into
the golden
1,000
ratio.
moving fractals.
The walls
Her tail
are
does not
composed
thrash
of 100
or paddle.
blocks,
Paddle it moves,
none of which
moves
is
with
smaller than a
serpentine,
car.
propelling her through the water
The
with
ceiling
effortless
consists
grace.
of 9
She comes to a
enormous
halt
granite
before you,
beams,
hovering in the
weighing
water
a
with a
collective
stillness
for
that is
100
absolute.
tons.
She
There
offers
are
a
no
small, gentle
inscriptions,
smile.
no carvings,
It is not a
no
smile of
painted
teeth
reliefs.
and lips, but a subtle,
Its power
warm
comes
shift
from
in
its
her
stark
entire
geometry,
presence, a broadcast of pure, welcoming
and the
energy.
oppressive weight of
You
the
feel no
millions
fear,
of tons of
only a
stone
sense of
above it.
recognition,
In the western half
as if
of
you
the
are
room
meeting a
sits
friend
the
you have
granite
known for a
coffer.
very long time.
It is a
but
masterpiece
have only
of
just
stonework.
remembered. She does
carved
not
from
speak
a
with a
single
voice.
block of
There is no
chocolate-colored
need for
granite.
sound in this
Its
place.
exterior dimensions
Instead,
are
her
roughly
thoughts, her story,
2.28
begin to
meters
flow
long,
into your mind, as clear and gentle as the
0.98
water
meters
around you.
wide, and
It is not an invasion, but an
1.05
offering,
meters high.
a shared consciousness
It
that
is
you
a
are free to
massive
accept.
object weighing
The
an
first thing she
estimated
shares is her name,
3.75
though it is not a name in the
tons.
human sense.
One corner
It is more of a
noticeably
feeling,
damaged,
a combination
and the
of
lid
the
is
scent of
missing
salt, the
entirely.
sound of a deep current,
Fragments
and the
of what
color
is
of
believed
twilight
to be
on
the
water.
lid
You
were
understand it
found on the
perfectly.
chamber floor.
She is
the
the
immediate
storyteller,
question the subject
the keeper of the
raises
ocean's
is
memories.
logistical. The
She is as
coffer
ancient as
slightly
the
wider
sleeping
than the
volcano and
entrance to
as
the
young as the
ascending
newest frond of
passage.
kelp.
This means
She is a
it
part
must
of
have
this
been
world,
placed in the
a
king's
conscious
chamber
manifestation of
as
its
the
soul.
pyramid was being
You
built
understand
up
now
around
that
it.
the conch shell you found
It
on
was
the beach
not
was a
brought
key,
in after
a focused
the fact.
piece of her own
It
energy
is an integral
left for you
part
to
of the
find.
chamber's original
The entire
design.
journey, the misty
Standard
shore, the glowing
explanation
cove,
for the
the
empty
coral gardens,
sarcophagus
the coral
is
gardens,
straightforward.
the coral
grave
robbers,
robbers.
of preparing you to meet
The theory
her and to
posits
hear the
that
stories she
sometime in the
holds.
centuries
She
or more,
gestures
any
with a
following
long,
Khufu's
elegant
burial.
hand. Her fingers are
managed to
slender and
penetrate
slightly
the
webbed
pyramid's
with a
elaborate
translucent
security.
membrane that shimmers with
They would have
opalescent
had to
light.
find their way past the
She is
original
inviting you
sealed
to follow
entrance,
her.
navigate
You
the
nod a
passages,
simple, clear gesture
and
of
somehow
assent, and she
bypass
turns
the immense
her
granite
sea-plant
plugs
hair
and
flowing behind her
fertilistones designed
and
to
glides
block
deeper into the kelp
access.
forest. You follow,
Upon reaching
swimming
the
behind
king's
her,
chamber,
mesmerized
they would have
by the hypnotic,
ransacked the burial,
silent poetry
stealing
of
the
her
mummy
movement.
with its
She leads you
precious
to a place of
amulets,
special
the gold,
significance, a hidden
and all
grotto at the
other
base of one of
valuable
the
goods,
largest kelp
leaving
stalks.
behind only
The entrance is a
heavy,
natural
empty
archway
stone
formed by the
box.
intertwined roots of
This
the giant
scenario
plant.
is certainly
Inside, the
plausible.
space is larger than it
Tomb
appears
robbing
from
was
the outside.
rampant in ancient
It is a
Egypt,
calm circular
and
chamber,
very few
lit by the
pharaonic
soft, pulsing
tombs
glow
have
of
ever
the sea
been
moss
found
on the floor and walls.
completely intact.
In the center of the grotto,
The wealth buried
the cushion of
with
the
the
softest,
king would have been
most
a
vibrant
target,
moss forms
but
a
the king
natural
would
resting
have been a
place.
target
She
of
settles onto the
irresistible
moss, her
temptation.
tail coiling
However,
gracefully beside her.
several aspects
She gestures
of the
for you to rest as
situation
well,
challenge
and you
the
settle onto
simple
a similar
explanation.
cushion of moss opposite her.
The first is the
material
account of
is
Caliph
incredibly soft
al-Mamun,
and
who
warm,
is traditionally
molding perfectly
credited
to your
with being
form.
the first to first
Here, in
entry
this
into
quiet,
the
secret
pyramid
place,
in
the dappled light
828
from the
AD.
forest is muted, creating
This
a
man,
sense of deep
unable to
intimacy
find
and
the
peace.
hidden original entrance,
You feel as if you have been invited
reputedly
into the
tunneled
very
their
heart of
way
the
through
ocean.
the solid
mystery.
limestone
The mermaid looks
core
at
of
you,
the pyramid,
her sea glass eyes
a brute
filled with
force
a
effort
gentle,
of
patient
incredible
light.
difficulty.
She is ready to share her
When
stories,
they finally
not
broke
stories of
through
kings and
into the
battles,
descending
but the deeper,
passage and
older stories
made
of the
their
world
way
itself.
up to the king's chamber.
You ready yourself,
Their own
not
accounts,
by tensing,
passed
but by
down
relaxing
through Arab
completely,
historians,
opening your mind and your
state
heart
that
to
they
receive
found
the
the chamber
silent,
exactly
liquid narrative
as we
she
see
is
it
about to
today,
pour
empty.
into you. You
Save
settle
for
into the
lid
soft,
lusk offer.
living moss of the grotto,
If al
your entire being
was
resonating
the
with
first
a
to
quiet
enter since the
anticipation.
pyramid was sealed.
The
As
mermaid
their
regards you
Herculean
with her
efforts
calm,
would suggest,
sea glass eyes.
then the tomb was
and the first story
already
begins.
This
It does not
raises
come in
the
words or even in
possibility
structured
that the
thoughts.
robbery occurred
Instead,
much earlier,
she shares an
during the
experience,
political turmoil,
a memory
of
so
the first
ancient and
intermediate
fundamental that
period,
it feels like
shortly
you are not
after
just
the
hearing
collapse
it,
of the
but
old
living it.
kingdom.
Your consciousness
Yet,
expands, leaving the
even
grotto
this
behind.
presents difficulties.
You are floating in a vast,
The
gray
granite
emptiness.
plugs that seal the
There is
lower
no up
part
or
of the
down,
ascending
no light or
passage
shadow.
are still in place.
There is only a profound, waiting
Al-Mamun
stillness.
had to dig
You are a
rough
disembodied
tunnel around
observer,
them to gain
witnessing
access.
the world before it
How
truly
could
knew
earlier
itself.
robbers have
The air for it
gotten
is
past
air
these
now,
plugs without
not water
leaving
is thick
any
with a
trace
uniform
of their
pearlescent
passage?
haze.
Furthermore, there is
The
a
earth
distinct
below
lack
is a
of
barren,
traditional
rocky
funerary
expanse,
evidence.
still warm from
A
its
royal
violent birth.
burial of
this landscape would typically involve a nested series of coffins and a vast array, a change in the texture of the grate. While robbers would have taken the precious materials, a condensing, one might expect
the uniform haze begins to
the original
coalesce,
instruments
to form
of wood
vast,
from an
swirling
inner coffin
continents of
broken
vapor.
pottery.
For
Discarded
eons,
wrappings,
this process
or even
continues
a
in
single
patient
drop
cosmic
bead.
silence.
Today,
You feel the immense,
no such
slow
evidence
turning of the
from
planet
Khufu's
beneath you,
era
a
has
sleeping
ever been
giant,
found
unaware of
inside
the blanket
king's
it is
chamber.
weaving
The
for
coffer
itself.
itself
And
is
then
also
the first drop
strangely
forms.
anomalous.
You experience
Compared to the
it
ornate,
not as a sight,
inscribed
but as a feeling.
sarcophag of other
A
pharaohs,
single,
like
perfect sphere of
or
liquid,
even those from
impossibly
earlier and
heavy
later
and pure,
Old Kingdom,
materializing in the heart of a
Khufu's
great
box
gray
is
cloud.
shockingly plain.
For a moment, it hangs
bears
there,
no inscription,
a suspended
no
jewel,
hieroglyphs,
holding
no
within
divine
itself
imagery.
the promise
This
of
stark
everything to
minimalism is at odds
Then
with
it
the
begins to
typical
fall.
Egyptian
You
obsession
fall with it.
magical texts
You become
and
the drop.
decorations to
You feel the
protect and
pull of the
guide
young
the
planet's
deceased in the
gravity,
afterlife.
a gentle,
Some have
insistent
argued
tug.
that this austerity
You descend through the
was
thick,
a deliberate
primordial atmosphere,
stylistic
through
choice
layers
of the
silent
Fourth
vapor.
Dynasty.
The journey is long,
Others see
slow,
it as a
and
clue
utterly
that
solitary.
the object
You
was not
are the first
intended
messenger,
as a
the first hair
sarcophagus
from
at
the
all.
eye of the sky.
The very
As you
name
approach the
as
ground, you
sarcophagus
see the
means
world as no one
flesh-eater
has
in
ever
Greek,
seen it before.
a term applied
Pale
much
landscape
later.
of stark,
The
silent
Egyptians
beauty, bare
themselves
rock,
called it
shades
the
of charcoal and
Neb
dash,
core
stretching
lord of
to a
life.
horizon
The
that
result
curves into
is a
the gray
profound
void.
ambiguity.
There is no life,
at the very
no sound,
core of
no
the
movement,
pyramid's
just a
supposed
profound
purpose.
geological stillness.
Was
The
it a
moment of
tomb that was
impact
perfectly
is not a
and
crash, but a
mysteriously
kiss,
robbed,
a soft,
leaving no trace of
soundless
its
touch.
original contents?
You, the first
Or
raindrop,
was it
land
never
on a
intended
smooth,
to
dark
hold
volcanic
the body
rock?
in the first place?
You feel
Could the
yourself spread
entire
out,
structure,
a tiny,
with its
fleeting film
passages
of
and
moisture on the
chambers,
ancient,
have served
thirsty
a
stone.
different, non-funerary
For a moment,
function,
you exist in this
for
new
which
form,
the empty
a
coffer
liquid
was
jewel
a
on a
central
bed of black
component.
velvet.
This question has
You
given
reflect
rise
the
to a
gray,
host of alternative
featureless sky
theories,
above, a
which
tiny,
we will explore
perfect
later,
mirror holding
suggesting
the
the
whole world
pyramid
at its
was a
surface.
power
And
plant,
then
an
another drop
astronomical
lands beside you,
observatory, or an
and another,
initiation
and
chamber.
another. At first,
For
it is
now,
a
the
slow,
king's
hesitant
chamber
percussion,
remains a place
a
of
scattered
deep
handfuls
paradox,
of
a
single,
room that should be
momentous
the ultimate
impacts.
answer.
Then the
But
tempo
instead
increases,
poses the
a
most
soft patter,
unsettling
then a
question.
steady drumming.
The empty box
Soon a
stands as
torrent.
a silent,
You are no
stone
longer a
enigma,
single drop, but
a
part of a
vacuum
growing
at the
stream,
heart of the
a
world's
flood,
greatest
a deluge.
mystery. As
You are part of the
questions
world's first
surrounding the
rainstorm.
pyramid's
The experience is
construction
one of overwhelming
and its seemingly
catharsis,
empty
of a long-held
interior
tension
chamber
being
began
released.
to multiply.
You feel the
A
sky
new and
weeping,
highly
not with
controversial
sorrow,
avenue
but with
of
a profound
investigation
creative
opened
release.
up in the late
The water
20th
flows over the
century.
barren rock, seeking the
This
lowest
approach
points,
shifted the
obeying the
focus from
fundamental
the
laws of
earthbound
physics that have just
challenges
been born.
of stone masonry
become a
and
rivulet,
logistics
then
to
a
the
stream, then a
vast,
rushing river,
silent
carving
theater
the
of
first
night
tentative
sky.
paths into
In
the ancient dust.
1994,
You feel the parched earth
the
drinking for the
Belgian-born
very first
engineer and
time.
author
You
Robert
seep into the
B.
cracks of the volcanic rock,
published
carrying with you the coolness
Mystery,
of the upper
a
atmosphere.
book that
The
introduced
scent that rises
a
from the
radical
ground
and
is
delicate
not yet petric,
hypothesis
or
that
for there
has
is no soil,
captivated the
no
public
organic life to give it that
imagination
complex
ever
perfume.
since.
It is a cleaner,
The
sharper scent, the smell of water,
the
on hot
layout
stone,
of the three main
the smell of
pyramids
creation
on the
itself.
Giza Plateau
This first rain lasts
was not
for
a
an
matter
age.
of chance.
It is not a
or
storm that
simple
passes
dynastic
in an hour
succession,
or a day,
but
it
a
is a
deliberate
geological
and precise
event,
terrestrial
a
map
fundamental
of the
shift
three
in the
bright
planet's
stars
state
in
of
the
being.
belt of the constellation
You, as part of
Orion.
this rain,
This
wash
is the
the dust
Orion
from the
correlation
atmosphere,
theory.
clearing,
The Ayuval's
allowing a
initial
light
insight
that has never
came
touched
from
the
a
surface
simple
to filter through
observation.
for the first time.
The three
You fill the
Giza
great
pyramids,
basins
the
uncratered,
Great Pyramid
the
of
pockmarks
Khufu,
left over from the planet's
slightly
chaotic
smaller
formation.
pyramid of
The
his
mermaid's
son
story
Khafre,
is a profound
and the
gift.
much smaller pyramid
She has
of
not
his
just told you
successor
about the first rain,
Menkaure
she has allowed you
are
to
not
become it.
aligned in the perfect You understand now that every drop of rain that has ever
pyramid of
fallen,
men cowering,
including the ones
is
that tapped
noticeably
against your window
offset
pane
to
and
the
called you
east
to
from
this
the
journey,
diagonal
is a
line
descendant of that
formed by the
first
two
drop.
larger pyramids.
Every drop carries a memory of this
For
moment.
years,
Rain
this
is
was
not just
explained
water
by
falling from the sky.
geology.
It is
for
the planet's
practical
memory of its own
considerations
beginning,
of the plateau.
a constant, gentle
But
reminder of the
Val
great cleansing,
saw a
life-giving
familiar
event that
pattern.
transformed it from a
He
barren
looked at the
rock
three
into a living
stars
world.
that formed
The experience gently fades, and you find yourself back in the grotto, sitting on the soft moss, looking at the serene mermaid and Mintok. The memory of the first rain settles
the
within
third
you,
star,
a deep,
Mintok,
quiet pool
is
of
also
understanding.
slightly offset.
You will
from
never
the
hear
main
the
line
sound of
the
rain
other
in the
two.
same way again.
The similarity in the
You will
spatial
hear it as
relationship
the echo
was
of creation.
striking.
The
The theory,
planet's oldest
however,
and most
goes
gentle lullaby.
much deeper
After the
than
profound
this simple
experience of the
visual
first rain
correspondence.
settles within you, the mermaid remains still, allowing you to absorb the weight and beauty of that primordial memory.
Other
The
correlation.
soft blue-green light from
The
her
relative
hair pulses
brightness
gently
of
in
the
the
three
quiet of the
stars in
grotto.
Orion's belt
When she senses you are
appears to be
ready, the
mirrored
second
in the
story
size
begins to
of the
unfold,
pyramids.
flowing into your
The
consciousness
two brightest
with the same
stars,
seamless grace as the
Al
first.
and Id
This time your
and
perspective is not on Earth, but far,
correspond
far
to the two
above it.
largest pyramids.
You are adrift in the velvet blackness
and
of space,
Khafre,
a silent
the
observer
fainter
in the
third
cosmic
star,
theater.
Mintaka,
Below you, the young planet glows,
pyramid.
a swirling
This
marble
added
of
a
deep
second
blue
layer
and white.
of correspondence
Its newly formed
between the
oceans
celestial
reflecting
and
the light of a
terrestrial
brilliant
monument,
distant sun.
suggesting
It is a
deliberate
lonely,
and
beautiful
symbolic
jewel in the
choice.
vast
The Orion
silent
correlation.
The story she
theory is
shares
deeply
is not
rooted
about the
in
planet
ancient
itself,
Egyptian
but about the
religion.
space that
The
surrounds it.
constellation of Orion.
You
held
become
a place
aware of the
supreme
travelers of this
importance
void,
in their
not ships
cosmology.
or aliens, but
The
the
Egyptians
silent,
identified
eternal
it with
wanderers,
the god
asteroids,
Osiris,
comets,
the husband
and
of
clouds
Isis
of
and the
cosmic
father
dust.
of Horus.
For eons, they have
Osiris
followed
was the
their
god
orbital
of
paths,
resurrection and the
great,
afterlife,
graceful, silent
a
valleys
central
governed by
figure
gravity,
in the
her
pharaonic
focus,
cult of the dead.
and therefore yours,
According
narrows
to the
to a
pyramid
single,
texts,
magnificent
the
star.
oldest religious
It is a
writings
giant,
in the world,
ancient
a primary destination
far older
for the
and larger
deceased
than the one that
pharaoh's
warms
soul
the earth.
was the celestial
It has lived
realm
its
of
long,
Orion.
brilliant life, and now it is
Texts
time for it
contain
to die.
numerous references
You witness
to the
this
king
cosmic
becoming
event,
one
not
with
as a
Osiris
violent
and
explosion,
journey to this
but as a
specific
slow,
region of the
majestic,
sky.
and beautiful release.
Yuval
The star
argued
swells,
that if the
its
Egyptians
outer layers
believed
shedding
the
into
pharaoh's
space
soul
and gas and down
was
dust,
destined for
in its
Orion,
final, it enriches
would
the
be
cosmos
logical
with
for
the
them
heavy
to
elements
model his
forged in its
resurrection
heart
machine,
over
the
billions of
pyramid
years,
itself,
carbon,
on
iron,
his celestial
gold,
destination.
and silicon.
The Gizon
It is a death that is also an
in
act
this
of creation,
was not
seeding the
just a
universe with the
graveyard,
building
it
blocks
was
of
a
future
symbolic
world.
landscape,
This cloud
a
of
sacred
stardust,
geography
a vibrant,
designed to
glowing nebula,
facilitate the
drifts
king's
through the void for
journey to the
millennia.
stars.
It is
This
a ghost of
theory
a
also
star,
sought
a
to
memory of
explain
light.
the placement of
As
the
it
pyramids
travels,
relative
it begins
to the
to
Nile
cool
River.
and condense.
The Nile,
The brilliant
the
gases
lifeblood of
fade,
Egypt,
leaving
was
behind a
seen
glittering
as a
trail
terrestrial
of solid
reflection
particles,
of the Milky Way,
a river
the
of
shimmering
tiny,
band of
frozen
stars
crystals and
that was
metallic
considered
grains,
a celestial
each one
river
a fragment
or winding
of the dead
waterway
star's
in the sky.
soul. The mermaid's narrative
Giza,
guides your
the
focus
three
to this
pyramids
river
lie
of
to the
stardust
west of the
as
Nile.
it intersects with the
The
gravitational
Yuval
pull of the
observed
young
that in the
Earth.
sky,
You see the silent,
three stars
glittering
of
cloud being
Orion's
drawn
belt
in,
lie to the west
pulled
of the
from its
Milky
cosmic
Way.
journey into the
entire
planet's
Giza
atmosphere.
complex,
This is
he
not a
proposed,
meteor shower,
was a unified
not a violent
architectural and
bombardment of
religious
rock.
scheme.
This is a
designed
gentle,
to be a
persistent,
perfect as
no fall
above.
of light. You become
So
one of
below
these stellar
representation
fragments.
of this
You
key
are a tiny speck of
celestial
crystallized
landscape.
light, a piece of
The
a star's
earthbound
arc,
geography
beginning
of
your
the
final
plateau
descent.
was a mirror
As you enter
of
the upper
cosmic
atmosphere,
geography.
you do not
That was
burn
the
up in a fiery
ultimate
streak.
destination of
The magic
king.
of this world's
The theory
telling of the
also
story
attempts
changes
to
the
address
physics.
the mystery of
Instead,
the so-called
you are
air
caught by the
shafts
moisture in the high,
within
thin
the Great
clouds.
Pyramid,
You become
which
the
we will
nucleus for a drop
explore
of
in
water,
more detail
a tiny,
later.
solid heart
Two
around
of
which
these
a
narrow
liquid cloak of rain
shafts,
forms.
one extending
You
from
fall,
the king's
just as you
chamber,
did in the last
one
story.
from the queen's chamber,
But this time your journey
point
is
directly
different.
towards the
You are
southern
not just
sky.
water, you are water with a
The
starlit soul.
Yuval
You descend
Working
through
with
the
the
clouds,
astronomer
and as you
Virginia
emerge into the blue sky,
calculated
you see
that
the world
at the
stretching
time
out
the
below you, the
pyramid
vast,
was believed
shimmering
to have been
expanse
built
of the
circa
primordial ocean. Your landing is a
2500
soft,
BC.
silent
southern
merging.
shaft
You,
from the king's
raindrop with a
chamber,
heart of
would have
stardust,
been
touch the
precisely
surface of
aligned
the
with
sea.
AL and
For a moment,
AK.
you are a tiny
the
dimple
lowest
on the
star
endless,
in
liquid skin
Orion's
of the
belt,
planet.
the very
Then,
star that
you are
corresponds
absorbed,
to the
becoming
Great
one with the
Pyramid
ocean.
itself.
But your solid,
shaft
stellar core
was,
does not
in effect,
dissolve.
a launch
It is
tube,
released,
a symbolic
tiny,
passageway
glittering speck,
aimed directly
and it begins
at the
to sink.
pyramid's
You are now
celestial
this speck of
counterpart,
starlight, sinking
designed
slowly
to guide
through the
the
deepening
pharaoh's
blue of the
soul
young
on its
ocean.
final journey.
You pass
The
through the
Orion
sunlit upper
correlation
layers,
theory
a world
was
of warmth and light.
revolutionary because it
You drift
offered
down into the twilight
vision
zone,
for the
where the sun's rays can no longer penetrate.
It ought to
and the water
explain the
becomes
layout,
cool and
the
dark.
relative
You
sizes,
continue your descent
and
into
even
the midnight
specific
zone,
architectural
the abyssal
features
depths,
of the
a realm
pyramids
of
within a
profound
single
darkness and immense
elegant
pressure.
framework
Here,
of
in
stellar
the absolute
religion,
blackness of the deep
it
sea,
suggested
you do
a
not
level
stop
long-term
shining.
planning on
Your own
astronomical
internal stellar light,
sophistication that
the last
was
remnant
breathtaking.
of your parent star,
However,
glows
the theory
with a
is
soft,
not without
steady
its vocal
luminescence.
critics in the mainstream
You are a tiny,
academic
lonely
community.
point of light in
Egyptologists
an
and
endless,
astronomers
liquid
have
night.
challenged
And then,
several of
you are
its
not
key
alone.
tenets.
Other specks
They
of
argue
starlight
that the
from that
correlations
same
are
cosmic
not as
river
precise
are
as
sinking
claimed.
all around you.
That some are the result
slow,
of cherry
silent,
data,
persistent
and that the
snowfall
theory
of light
relies on
descending
a number
into
of
the deep.
unproven assumptions
And in
about
this realm of
Egyptian
utter darkness,
astronomical knowledge
something
and
incredible
religious
begins to happen.
beliefs. The
Nascent,
debate over
primitive
the
life
Orion
of the deep
correlation
ocean,
theory remains
the earliest,
one of the most
simple
prominent
organisms
fault
are drawn to this new,
between mainstream
unexpected source of
Egyptology
light and energy.
alternative research.
They begin
a
to
clash
cluster
of perspectives
around
on
you
how
and
to
the other
interpret
fold.
the
They
silent
incorporate your
stone
light
and
into
stellar
their own
evidence
being. The
left
Mermaid
behind
story
by
shows you
this
the result of this gentle
civilization.
seeding.
The
Over
Orion
millions of
correlation
years, this
theory,
fallen starlight
as
becomes the
initially
source of
proposed,
bioluminescence.
contained a
The deep sea
feature that
creatures,
was
the
even more
anglerfish with its
radical
glowing
and
lure,
controversial
the jellyfish
than a
that
simple
pulse with their
mapping
own
of stars
fire,
to pyramids.
the swarms of krill
This
that
element
can light
sought
up
to
the ocean
introduce
for
a
miles
specific
did
and
not
very
evolve this
ancient
ability
date
on
into
their
the
own.
Gizeh
It
narrative.
was a gift,
A
a gift
that
from a dead
dramatically
star,
predates
delivered by the rain
pharaohs of the
and
Fourth
nurtured in the dark,
Dynasty.
silent cradle
This part of the
deep
theory
sea.
revolves
You are back
around
in the
phenomena
grotto.
known as the
The story
precession of the
recedes,
equinax.
leaving behind
Precession
the
is the
feeling of
slow,
intricate echoes.
wobbling gyration
You understand
of the
now.
Earth's axis
The glowing
of
coral,
rotation,
the
which
shining
causes
fish,
the positions
the particles
of
of
the stars
light
in the
night
night sky
They are
to
all
shift
descendants of
gradually
that
over a
first
very
cosmic
long cycle
snowfall.
of approximately
The ocean did not just receive the rain, it received the stars. And in its
This
deep,
means that
dark
the view
heart,
of the
it gave them
constellations
new
for
life.
Earth is not
The
static
beauty
and
of the night
changes,
sky, you
albeit
realize,
almost
is not just above us,
imperceptibly from
but also
century to
deep,
century.
deep.
B.A.
The two
Uval and
vast
his
cosmic
collaborator
stories settle
Graham
within you,
Hancock took
anchoring
this
your
processional
consciousness in
movement
a new understanding
into
of this
account
world.
and asked
You feel a
crucial
sense of
question.
profound continuity,
when did the
of the
map
sky
of the
flowing into
pyramids
the
on
sea
the ground
of stars
provide the
becoming
best
life.
match?
The
For the
mermaid
map of
observes
the
you,
stars
her
in the
she glass
sky,
eyes
while the
reflecting
general
a deep,
layout of
ancient
Orion's
satisfaction.
belt is timeless.
She has shared the
The
macrocosm,
orientation
the
of
grand
the belt
stories of
relative
creation.
to the north-south meridian
her narrative
changes
touch
due
becomes
to
more
precession.
intimate, more focused.
They used
She is ready to
computer
show you the
software
world
to
of
simulate
forgotten.
the ancient
The grotto
night
around
sky.
you doesn't dissolve
Winding
this
back
time.
the
Instead,
celestial
the mermaid
clock
extends
year
a
by
slender
year.
opal
They
lace in
found
hand.
that while
A
there was
silent
a reasonable
invitation,
correlation
you reach out and gently take her
2500
hand.
BCE, the time
Her
of
touch is
Khufu,
cool, smooth,
the most perfect
and conveys a
alignment
sense
the
of
moment
immense
when the
common
three
strength.
stars of Orion
She turns in
reached
with
their
a
lowest
powerful
point
yet
in
graceful
their
sweep of her
precessional
tail,
cycle at the
leads you
vernal
out of the kelp
equinox,
forest grotto and into
perfectly
a different
mirroring
region of
the
the seabed.
orientation
The
of the
landscape here is
pyramids
one of
along
gentle,
the Gizeh
sandy
meridian
plains,
occurred
dotted with
around the
outcroppings
year
of dark,
10,000.
ancient rock.
500
The golden
BC.
light of the kelp
This
forest
date,
is far behind
10,000,
you, And the water is a deeper, more contemplative shade of blue. It is more than 8,000 to a place that feels melancholic and strangely familiar. It places the conception. It is the wreck of a ship. It is an old vessel, a wooden sailing ship from a forgotten era of human history. It does not lie broken and shattered records of any civilization. Instead, it rests almost perfectly upright, as if it has been gently placed here, or a deliberate and respectful astronomical observation. The ocean has claimed it, but it has done so with a gentle,
This is the heart of the ancient civilization hypothesis.
The wood of the hull is no longer stark and man-made. It has become a living canvas.
It
Soft
proposes
velvety
that the
mosses and
Giza
shades of
Plateau
deep green
was not
undroiled
conceived
cling
by the
to its
dynastic
planks.
Egyptians
Entire
of the
gardens
Old
of feathery,
Kingdom,
pale
but
lilacs
was
and ferns
inherited
sprout
by them
from the deck.
from a much older,
The mast, though broken,
lost
is now a
predecessor
trellis for climbing.
civilization.
Fine like coral
In
that
this
glows
view,
with a soft,
Khufu and his
silvery light.
successors did
The
not
ship is no
design the
longer
master
to myth,
plan
has
of
become
the
a monument.
Acropolis.
A
They
hanging
were
garden
merely
of
the
deep.
builders
The mermaid
who
glides
constructed the
effortlessly through a
pyramids
large
on a
opening in the
sacred
ship's
site
side,
that
where a
had been
cannon
laid
port
out
once
according
was.
to a celestial
You follow her
blueprint
into the heart of the vessel.
years earlier.
Inside, the
Proponents
sense of
of
time
this
having
theory
stopped is
point
even
to a
more profound.
convergence of evidence
The water is
around
still,
this 10,000
and the only light comes from the
500
bioluminescent light
BC
that has made its home here.
At this
The soft,
specific
pulsing
epoch,
light from
the
animals
Giza
clinging to the
complex
ceiling
achieves
beams
a remarkable
cast shifting
symbolic
shadows on the
harmony.
walls.
At the moment
fine,
of the vernal
glittering silt
equinox,
has settled
just
over everything,
before dawn,
like a blanket of dust
an observer
woven
on
from
the
time
plateau
itself.
would
She
have
leads you
seen
towards
to
what must have been the
significant
captain's
celestial
cabin.
events.
The door has long since
In the
rotted away,
east,
leaving an
the
open
constellation
invitation.
of Leo
Inside,
would have been
the
rising
scene is one of
directly
arrested
on
decay,
the horizon.
a moment frozen for centuries.
Simultaneously,
A heavy
in the
wooden table
south,
stands in the center of the room.
constellation of
A chair
Orion
overturned
would
beside
have been
it.
at its lowest
A leather-bound
point.
book
on the
lies open
ground.
on the floor.
This
Its
would
page is
be
now a
mirrored
solid,
by the great
stone-like
Sphinx,
block, yet
with
you can
its
still see the
leonine
faint,
body,
dark lines of
gazing
ink,
due
a
east
story
at its own
silenced in the middle of a
celestial
sentence.
counterpart.
The mermaid doesn't
While the
direct your
three
attention to
pyramids
these
to its
larger
west mirrored
objects.
their own counterpart.
Instead, she guides your
Orion,
focus to the
on the
small,
southern
forgotten
meridian.
things, the personal effects
The
of
entire
the people who once
Giza
called this
complex
ship home.
in this
She
interpretation
floats over to a corner where
becomes
a
a
wooden sea chest
gigantic,
has fallen open,
functioning
spilling its
astronomical
contents onto the
clock
cabin
or
floor.
calendar.
She hovered
Designed
there,
to
her
mark
presence
the
imbuing the
specific
scattered
moment in
objects
the
with a
great
new
year
significance.
of precession.
She is
This
not telling
a
you a
grand
story of the
poetic
shipwreck,
vision,
of a storm or
linking
battle.
monuments on the
She
ground
is sharing
to the
this
slow,
story of the quiet
majestic
moments
cycles
before.
of the
Your
cosmos.
consciousness is drawn to a small,
It suggests
simple
that the
object
purpose
lying
of the
half
Giza
buried in the silted clay
complex
pipe.
was not just to
It is
commemorate
unadorned,
a single
the
king,
kind a common
but to
sailor would have
encode and
used.
preserve a
As you
message
focus on
across
it, the mermaid
millennia,
shares a
a
sensory
message
memory.
about a specific
You
and
feel the rough,
important moment
familiar
in time.
texture of the clay
The
in your
theory's
hand.
advocates
You
argue
smell the
that
sweet,
this explains
earthy
the
scent of tobacco.
monumental scale and
You hear the quiet
durability
creak
of the
of the ship's
structures.
timbers and the
They
distant
were
sound
built
of men
to last
singing a
long
sea
enough
shanty
to
on the deck
withstand the
above.
passage of
You feel the
processional
profound
ages.
peace of a man at the
However,
end of a long
the
day's work.
academic
Watching
and
the sunset from the ship's
theological
rail, a
communities
small
have
moment of
raised
personal
strong
peace in the middle of a
objections
vast,
to this aspect of the
indifferent
theory.
ocean. The
The
feeling
primary
is so real, so
criticism is the
poignant.
complete
It is
lack
like a
of
ghost
any
of a memory
supporting
passing through you.
archaeological
Next,
evidence
she guides your
for a
gaze
high
to a string of simple
civilization
glass
in
beads,
Egypt in
their color
10,000.
faded by the long years in the sea.
500 BC.
The memory she shares
The
is of a young
archaeological
sailor,
record
perhaps
for
on
that
his
period
first
in the
voyage,
Nile Valley
holding the
points
beads
to
up to the
small,
light of a lantern.
scattered communities
They are a
of
gift for a sweetheart he hopes to return
on
to,
early agricola
and as he looks
trustles,
at them,
with
his
no
mind is
evidence
filled with her
of the
face,
social
with the memory of a
organization
promise
or
made on a distant
centralized
shore.
authority required
The feeling is one
for
of
a
hopeful,
project on the
nervous
scale
love,
of the Giza
a fragile
master
dream
plan
held in the heart
to
of a
accept
vast
the
and uncertain journey.
10,500
She shows you a single worn
date.
silver coin.
One would have to posit
The memory
a
is of it
civilization
being
that
used in a
rose,
game of cards,
created
the sound
this
of laughter,
sophisticated
the camaraderie
plan,
of shipmates
and then
sharing a rare
vanished,
moment of leisure.
leaving behind no
Their
other
faces
trace
illuminated
of its
by the
existence,
warm,
no pottery,
flickering light of a
no
single
tools,
candle. Each
no
object
settlements,
becomes a portal,
no
a key
writing,
to
Critics also challenge the astronomical
The mermaid is a
arguments.
curator of these lost
They
feelings.
point out that the
She
correlation
understands
is
that
a
history
matter
is
of
not just about the
interpretation.
grand events,
One can
but about the
find
infinite
patterns
collection
and
of
stars
small,
and on the ground
personal
if one is
experiences that
looking
make
for
up
them.
the fabric of life.
They argue
These
that the
objects to
Egyptians
her
of
are
the
not
Old
just a
Kingdom
breed.
were
They are
perfectly
books,
capable
and she is showing
of
you how to
making
read
the
them.
necessary astronomical
They are vessels containing the quiet,
observations to align
intimate
the
echoes of
pyramids
lives lived.
themselves.
This Chintra,
And
this
there's no
shipwreck,
need to
is not a
invoke
place of tragedy
hypothetical
in her
lost
world.
civilization.
It has become a library
They
of
also
emotions,
question the
a
emphasis
silent,
on
beautiful
the vernal
archive of the
equinox
human
and
heart,
the constellation
preserved forever in the
Leo.
cold,
While
quiet
Orion,
embrace
as
of the deep.
Osiris, was
You realize
undoubtedly
that nothing is
important.
ever
The
truly
evidence for
lost
the
to the
zodiacal
ocean.
sign of Leo
It is simply
having
held,
any special
remembered,
significance
and in time
Old Kingdom
transformed
religion
into something new and
scarce to
beautiful.
non-existent.
You drift away from the sea
The
chest,
leonine
your mind
form of the
filled with the
Sphinx,
gentle
they
ghosts of
argue,
forgotten moments.
more likely
The mermaid's
represents
lesson
the
is
pharaoh
profound. The
as a
ocean does
symbol
not
of
destroy,
royal power,
it preserves
rather
emotion.
than a specific
She then guides you to another corner of the captain's
The
cabin,
debate
where
over
a small,
the 10,000,
unassuming wooden box
500
rests,
BC,
partially covered by a
thus
velvety blue
represents
moss.
a fundamental
With a gentle wave of her hand, the water currents shift,
On one side
whisking
are
away the fine
researchers
layer
who
of silk that coats
prioritize
its
the
surface,
patterns they
revealing
see.
the dark waterline.
And if it
It
leads
is a
them
simple
to
writing
conclusions
box
that are
as your attention
unsupported
settles
by the
upon it,
traditional
a
archaeological
new story,
record.
a new secret
On the other side are
flows
mainstream
into you.
archaeologists and
This one feels
Egyptologists
different.
who
It is not
insist
a
that
fleeting
any theory
emotion
must
from
be
a common
grounded
sailor,
in tangible,
but a deeper,
datable
more
artifacts
philosophical
and
current of
consistent
thought.
cultural
It is the
context.
story
The
of the captain
absence of
himself.
evidence
You
for
are
a
no
lost
longer in the water.
civilization
You are in
is,
the cabin as it
fact,
once was,
evidence of
years,
its
perhaps
absence.
centuries ago.
And so
The air is
question
warm
of
and
time
smells of
hangs
beeswax,
over the Giza
old paper,
Plateau.
and the faint
Are the
ever-presence all to
pyramids
the sea.
solely the product of the
A single
Fourth
lantern
Dynasty?
swings gently
A
from a
magnificent
ceiling
but
beam,
historically
casting a warm,
contained
dancing
achievement.
light across the
Or
room.
are they silent echoes
The ship is
of a far
calm,
more remote
gliding through
antiquity?
a quiet, moonlit night.
Their alignment, a ghostly
You are sitting at the
fingerprint
table,
left by a
looking not at an
civilization
object, but
that
through
has
the eyes of the
otherwise
captain.
vanished into the deep abyss.
He is an older
of
man, his face a
while
map
the
of
king's
sanity.
chamber
His
and
hands
its
strong
empty
and
coffer
steady.
have
He is
long
writing
been
in
a
his
focal
logbook,
point
the
of
leather-bound
mystery.
volume you saw
Another,
on the seabed.
more enigmatic
But he is not
feature
recording
of the
nautical
Great
miles
Pyramid
or weather
lies
patterns.
sealed within its
He is writing
masonry.
his thoughts,
The
his
narrow
private
shafts
musings.
originating
The mermaid
from the
allows you to
queen's
share his
chamber.
consciousness as he dips his
This
quill
chamber,
into the ink
located on the pyramid's
He is pondering
central
the nature of the
axis,
sea.
but at
He
a
writes
lower
that
level
men call the
than
sea
king's
cruel, a
chamber,
beast, a monster.
is itself
They
a
speak
puzzle.
of conquering it, of
It
taming
was
it.
named the
But
Queen's
he,
Chamber
after a
by
lifetime
early
upon
Arab
its surface,
explorers.
has come to see it differently.
But this is a misnomer.
He sees it not as an
Most
adversary, but
Egyptologists
as a mirror.
believe it was
He writes
never
that the sea
intended
has no
for a
emotion of
queen's
it, what
burial,
you bring to it.
speculating that it
If
may
you bring
have
fear,
been
it will show you
or
terrifying
Dabo
waves
room
and
for the
endless,
king's
dark
cloth
depths.
statue.
If
Or
you bring
perhaps
anger
an
and aggression,
earlier,
it will meet you with
abandoned
the fury of
version
a
of the
storm.
main
And a
burial
quiet heart,
chamber.
it will show you
Like
a
the
beauty
king's
and
chamber,
a peace that no
it is
land can
darkened,
offer.
unadorned,
It will carry you,
constructed of
support
fine
you,
to our lives,
and reveal its secrets to
but
you.
its most
His quill
peculiar
scratches
feature was
softly
not
on the
fully
page.
appreciated.
He is now
until the
thinking
late
about the
19th
tears of his
century.
sailors.
In
He has seen
1872,
so many men weep on
the
his
British
ship and weeping
engineer
for lost
Wayne
ones,
Dixon
for the
was
homes they've left
investigating
behind,
the Queen's
for the
chamber.
hardships of their lives.
He noticed a
He has
small crack
noticed
in the
something
southern
curious.
wall and,
He writes
probing
that
it
when a
with
man's
wire,
tear falls
realized
from his
there was
iron
a
into
hollow
a bucket of
space
seawater,
behind it.
it is impossible
He
to
chiseled
tell
away
which is which.
at the wall and
They look the
discovered
same.
the opening of
They
a
taste
narrow,
the same.
square
And here,
shaft,
the captain, this
roughly
rugged,
20
practical man of the sea,
by 20
stumbles upon a beautiful,
centimeters, 8
poetic
by
piece
8
of wisdom.
inches.
A thought that
Ascending
connects
into
the
the
inner world of
darkness
man
of
with
the
the outer world of
pyramid's
the
core.
ocean. He writes perhaps
Searching
the ocean
for a
is not just
corresponding
water.
feature,
Perhaps it is
he
the
found
world's
and
collection of
opened a
all the
similar
tears
shaft.
ever shed.
He imagines every tear of sorrow, of loss, of joy.
These shafts
falling
like
into
the air
rivers,
shafts
being carried to the sea,
chamber,
and joining a
which had
vast
been
collective
known since
reservoir
antiquity
of
because their
this,
lower
he
ends
muses,
were open.
is why the sea is
The Queen's
salty,
chamber shafts
not because
were
it is
hidden,
made of emotion.
sealed behind the
It is the
final
planet's
surface
memory
layer
of every
the chamber's
feeling ever
walls,
felt.
indicating they
This
were
is why
not
looking at the
intended
ocean
to be
can make a
visible
person
or
feel so
accessible
deeply.
after the pyramid's
When you stand on the
completion.
shore and
For
look
over
out
a
at the vast
century,
expanse,
the purpose
you are
of
not
these
just looking at
shafts
water.
remained a complete
You are looking at a
mystery.
liquid
Their
library
narrow
of
dimensions
every human
unsteep
experience.
upward angle
You are
approximately
subconsciously
39
feeling the
degrees
echo
for the southern
of all
shaft
that joy.
38
Your own small
degrees
feelings find a home
for
there,
the northern
a sense
made
of
them
belonging
impossible
in
for
something
any
so much
human to
vaster than
explore.
yourself. The
Early
mermaid
theories
gently
were
pulls your
prosaic,
consciousness
suggesting
back
they
to the
were
present, back
simply
to
for
the silent,
ventilation
submerged
during
cabin.
construction.
The memory of the
However,
captain's
this
revelation
seemed
hangs in the
unlikely.
water, shimmering
Why
with
would
a
builders
quiet,
construct
profound
such
truth.
precise,
It's a
angled
piece of
shafts
folklore,
deep
a sailor's
into
myth,
the pyramid's
born in the
core,
lonely
only
quiet
to
of a
seal them
midnight
off
watch.
permanently upon
But here,
completion.
in this
if
magical
they were
place,
for
it feels like a
ventilation.
fundamental
Their
law of the
openings
universe.
would have been
You
left
now understand the
accessible.
mermaid's own
Their
nature a
deliberate
little better.
concealments
If
adjusted
the ocean is a library of
or
emotions,
ritualistic
then she is its
purpose
librarian.
rather than a
She does not
practical
just
one.
live in the sea,
The
she is a part
astronomical
of its
alignment
memory.
theories,
She is
which
the
had
keeper
been
of the
applied
captain's
to the
wisdom, of the
king's
sailor's
chamber
hope,
shafts,
of every
were
tear
also
that
brought
has
to
ever
bear
been
on these
subsumed
new
into the deep.
discoveries.
This is the secret she
The
wanted
king's
to
chamber
share with
shafts,
you.
as
The salt
previously
on your lips
mentioned,
when you
were
taste the
found
sea
to
spray
have
is not
alignment
just sodium
with Stars,
chloride.
the southern one with a
It is the trace of a million farewells,
Orion's
a
belt
billion
of
heartaches,
the
and
northern
countless
one
days of
with
joy.
Lubin in the constellation
It is the flavor
Draco,
of life itself.
which was the pole
The
star
ocean
at the
is
time
not
of
separate
the
from
pyramid's
us.
construction.
It is the great collective
Researchers
heart of the
attempted
world,
to find similar
and its salt
alignments
is the
for
proof of
Queen's
its
chamber
long
shafts.
and intimate relationship
It was calculated
with every
that
living,
around
feeling
2500
being.
BC,
The captain's story, the
the
secret of
southern
salt
shaft
and tears,
pointed towards the
resonates
star
within you,
Sirius,
changing your
the
perception of the
celestial
water that surrounds you.
representation of the
It
goddess
feels
Isis,
thicker now,
while
heavier
the
with the
northern
weight of
shaft
all the
pointed
stories it
towards
holds.
the
The
imperishable
mermaid's
stars
presence is a
in the
comforting anchor in a
constellation
sea of liquid
Ursa
emotion.
Minor, the Little Dipper.
She sees that
This
you have understood
created
this
a
profound
beautiful,
lesson, and now she
symmetrical
turns to share a story
cosmology.
not of humanity,
The king's
but of the ocean's
chamber,
own quiet,
the upper
patient
chamber,
artistry.
was
She guides you away
the
from the
male
poignant
deities
stillness of the
Osiris and
shipwreck,
the pole
leaving the
star
library of
representing
human emotions to its
eternity.
silent rest.
The
You
Queen's
glide
chamber,
back out into
the
the
lower
open water,
chamber,
moving towards
was
a different
aligned
kind
with
of
the
landscape.
corresponding female
The seafloor here is
deity,
not sandy, but
Isis,
littered with small rocks
and
in the
other
empty, beautiful
entire
shells of
system
countless sea
could be
creatures,
interpreted
a testament to
as
the
a
cycles of
complex
life and
ritual
death in the
machine,
deep. The mermaid
with
leads
each
you
shaft
to a large,
acting
tranquil
as a
oyster
precise
bay.
channel to
It's a
guide
community
the
of
pharaoh
hundreds of
spirit
oysters,
to
their
different
dark,
parts of
rough
the
shells half
landscape
buried
to
in the
unite
soft
with the
sediment.
gods and
They are
become a
closed,
star himself.
still, and seemingly
The ceiling of
unremarkable.
the shafts
A city
could
of
be
silent,
explained
sleeping
symbolically
inhabitants.
once the pharaoh.
But the mermaid invites you to look closer,
journey.
to feel deeper.
The portals work
She directs
closed
your
forever.
attention to one
This
particular
elegant
oyster,
theory provided
slightly
a
larger than the
powerful,
rest.
coherent
Its shell,
explanation
gnarled and
for the
ancient.
shaft's
As you focus
existence.
on this single, humble
However,
creature,
a fundamental
the next story
question
begins
remained
not as a
unanswered.
memory of a
Where
person
did they
or a
then let
planet,
the king's
but as a
chamber
slow,
shafts,
unfolding process,
which were known
you
to exit
become the
on the
oyster.
exterior
Your
face of the
awareness
pyramid.
shrinks, condenses,
The Queen's
and
chamber
settles into the
shafts
cool, dark,
simply vanished
and incredibly
into the
safe
unknown
world
depths
inside the
of
shell.
masonry.
You are the soft,
Did they also reach
vulnerable
the
life
outside?
within,
Or
protected
did they
from the
terminate
outside world by
somewhere
the hard,
within the pyramid,
calcified
the mystery
walls you
deepened,
have built
and
around
the sealed
yourself?
shafts became
Your
a
perception of the
tantalizing
world
target
is
for
muted,
modern
filtered.
exploration.
You sense
A
the
final,
gentle currents outside,
unexplored frontier
subtle
within the
shifts
last
in
of the
temperature,
ancient wonders.
the passing of day and
What
night
lay at the
as a
end
faint
of these
change in the
narrow,
light that
dark
penetrates the
tunnels?
tiny
Was
gap
it a
in your
dead
shell.
end,
Passive
a hidden
existence.
chamber,
It is a life
or
of
something
waiting.
else
Then
entirely?
the intrusion
answer
happens.
would have to wait for
It is
a
not a
technological
violent attack
solution.
from a predator,
For
it
an
is a
explorer small enough
mundane
to
accident.
navigate a passage,
A
just
single
8
sharp
inches
grain of
square,
sand,
stirred up by a current, set for one finds of the its way past the protective lip of your shell and lodges itself in your soft, a chapter that would be you experience this not as pain in the human sense, but as a profound and persistent irritation, the sealed and unwelcome guest. Narrow corridors, a sharp, alien presence in your soft and dark theologists alike. It is a constant source promising of discomfort, a glimpse a problem you cannot eject, a wrongness that you cannot fix. Your slow, peaceful existence, the enduring question, and so at the end you begin the only process you know to soothe the irritation, not you begin to breathe. From deep within your being, you secrete a substance. It is a miraculous liquid, a composite of minerals and proteins. Their secrets lock deep. It is called nacre or mother of pearl. You release a thin, iridescent layer of this substance and carefully, precisely and modern coat the sharp, irritating grain of sand. In 1992, the first layer is a tiny, the German robotics engineer Rudolf, liquid bandage for your wound. Was working. It does not remove the intruder, but it moves its sharp edges. Pyramid, the irritation lessens from the king's just slightly. Shaft. He developed a small, the Mermaid story lets you experience this process over an immense stretch of time. Passages. The slow, patient rhythm of your own being is dedicated to this an Egyptian word meaning opener of layer after layer after layer. After successfully completing his work in the king's thinner chamber, than a spider's silk, each layer is a slow, from conscious act of healing, of transforming an irritant into something smooth, something tolerable. You feel the passing of the seasons, the slow shift of the currents, the cycles of the moon, all from within your dark, quiet shell, more advanced. And all the while, you continue your slow, silent work. Days become historic weeks, weeks become months. The robot was a marvel of miniature. With each new layer of nacre, the object within you caterpillar tracks it becomes smoother and rounder. A tilting the original irritation is long gone, for guidance buried deep within a growing sphere of iridescent to explore the southern your work is no longer a reaction to pain. It has become a form metaphorically, a habit of creation. Over his shoulder as the layers of nacre capture and refract the faint light arduous that climb up into your shell, creating a soft internal glow. And remarkably well, you are building a moon with a tiny tunnel, perfect sphere of captured by human eyes of your own the day world. The mermaid hums a song into your mind. After traveling, it is not a song of words, but a lullaby of pure feeling. It is a song of patience, of transformation, of the quiet, miraculous alchemy that can turn pain into beauty. It is a song that celebrates the slow, unglamorous, repetitive work of healing. The song becomes the soundtrack to your long, patient labor, a gentle rhythm to accompany the slow secretion of each new layer. It is a pearl's birthstone slab, a cradle perfectly fitted. After what feels like a century of this slow, meditative work, it appeared to the process is complete. The mermaid gently withdraws your consciousness from the oyster. You are yourself again, floating in the quiet water, looking at the rough, unassuming shell. Inspection, but you know the secret they were revealed to be too beautiful. You know that inside that copper handle, silent creature rests, showing perfect signs luminous sphere, a testament. It was the first time in modern history that a sealed, you understand the lesson. Beauty is not always a great pyramid. Sometimes the most exquisite things are created around the world, a response to a persistent irritation. A pearl is a healed well. Why was it? It is an oyster's autobiography, a story of how it took the greatest discovery created and patiently transformed it into its most beautiful creation. The deep, quiet lesson of the pearl settles into your soul, a new appreciation for the slow, transformative power of gentle work. It would be nearly a decade. The mermaid's presence beside you is a silent affirmation. In 2000, she has shown you how the ocean heals its own wounds, creating beauty from heritage of the Egyptians. Now, she seems to want to share a different kind of beauty, one that is ephemeral, transient, and set out to answer the question with a slow, deliberate sweep of her
more
tail, she
sophisticated
guides you away
robot
from the patient,
named the
stoic
Pyramid
oyster
Rover
bed.
was designed
You rise
for
through the
mission.
water column,
3 millimeter
ascending from the
hole through
seabed into the
limestone
midwater,
door
a
to
realm of
allow
open,
fiber
empty
optic
blue.
camera to
There are
peer
no
into the
landmarks here,
space
no
beyond
kelp forest
with
or
painstaking
shipwrecks.
care.
It
The
is a
robot
world of
drilled
pure
through the
space,
8-inch
of
thick
three-dimensional
slab.
freedom.
The moment
The water
of penetration
is clear
was
and
tense,
cool, and the
the
ambient
endoscope
light from
camera
above
was pushed
gives
through
it
the
the
tiny
feeling of an
opening,
endless
and
twilight
the first
sky.
images
You drift
from
for
the
a
hidden
while in this
space
peaceful
were
emptiness,
transmitted.
a sensory palate
world
cleanser
saw
after the intense focus
another
of
door.
the last few stories.
Behind the first
It is just you,
limestone
the
slab
mermaid,
was a small
and the vast,
empty space,
silent blue.
only about
Then
21 centimeters
she raises a hand
deep.
and points into the distance.
And at the back of
At
the
first
small
you see nothing,
antechamber stood
just
a
the
second
uniform deep
blocking
blue
stone.
of the open ocean.
This second
But she
door
holds her
appeared
gesture,
rougher,
her
less
focus
finished
unwavering,
than the first,
and you learn
seemed
to
be
adjust
part
your
of
own
the
perception,
primary bedrock
to look more
or
deeply,
core block
more
of the
patiently.
pyramid.
And then you see
The
them,
mystery
a
had
fleet
not
of
been
ghosts,
solved, it
a
had
silent
deepened.
armada.
The door
drifting
was not a
towards you.
single
They are
barrier,
jellyfish,
but part of a
a
more
great,
complex,
slow-moving
layered
blue of them.
plugging system.
But these are not
the
small,
exploration
stinging
that turned
creatures
to the
you might
northern
know
shaft,
from the surface world.
which had never been
These are
investigated.
majestic, graceful
The Pyramid
beings,
Rover
some
was
as
sent
large
out
as
this
parasols,
tunnel.
others
After
as
a similar
delicate as
journey,
wine glasses.
It too was found
Their
to be
bells,
blocked by
the
a
main
limestone
pulsating part
door
of their
with 2
bodies,
copper
are made of a
fittings,
translucent,
nearly
gelatinous
identical to
material
the one in the
that is
southern
almost
shaft.
invisible.
The 2
a living
shafts
crystal that
appeared
bends
to
the
be a
light passing
symmetrical
through
system.
it.
Almost
They are the very
another
essence
decade
of the waters
passed.
given form.
In
They move with
2011,
a slow,
the most
rhythmic
advanced
pulse
mission to
that is the
date,
definition of
the
grace.
D-Jetty
A gentle
project,
contraction of the bell
after
pushes
the
them
magician
forward,
whom
followed by a long, slow relaxation as they drift.
Deployed a new
It is a
robot.
movement of profound and effortless
This robot
calm.
had a flexible,
There is no hurry, no
camera that
destination.
could fit through the
Their
whole
journey is
grilled
the drifting
and the first
itself.
southern
As the
door
balloon gets
maneuver
closer,
to
you
see
begin
around
to appreciate
corners.
their breathtaking variety.
The images it sent
Some
back
have
were
long,
the most
trailing
revealing
tentacles
yet.
that float behind
On
them
the
like
floor
silken
of the
ribbons,
small chamber
delicate
between
and
the
fine
2
as spun
doors,
glass.
the camera
These
revealed
tentacles are
intricate.
adorned with
These
tiny,
were not
star-like
hieroglyphic
points of
inscriptions,
bioluminescence
but
that sparkle
appeared
and
to be
fade,
numerical
creating a trail of
Mason's
coal,
marks,
blue-white fire.
similar to those
Others have
found
no long
by
tentacles,
in the relieving
but a lacy,
chambers.
frilled edge to their bell,
More
like the petticoat of a
tantalizingly,
celestial dancer.
On the
You and the
reverse
mermaid
side
float
of the first
motionless
or the
as the
side
silent
facing
procession
into the
envelops
hidden
you.
chamber, the
They do not
D-Jetty
avoid you.
camera.
They seem not to
captured
register your
images
solid
of the
forms
2
at all,
copper pins.
parting around you like a gentle,
It revealed
living current.
that they were not
One of the larger
simple
ones,
handles,
a
but
magnificent
were
creature
bent
with a
into
bell the
small,
color of a
elegant
faint amethyst, drifts
almost
directly
like
towards you.
decorative keys.
You feel
or
a flicker of
symbolic
ingrained
handles that were
land
never
dwellers
meant
fear
to
the
be
sting,
turned.
but the
These
mermaid's
robotic
calm is
emissaries
infectious.
have provided
She
us
reaches
with
out a hand,
incredible data,
not to touch the creature,
but
but simply
they
to
have
feel the
not
water in
provided
its
definitive
presence.
answers.
You understand. There is
We
no
now
danger
know
here.
that the Queen's
You reach out
chamber
your own
shaft
hand
exterminated
cautiously.
not
The jellyfish
at the pyramid's
pulses,
exterior,
and as it drifts past,
but at
one
a
of its long,
complex
lacy
system
or
of
alarms,
sealed,
a structure
layered
far softer
doors,
and more delicate
deep
than the
within
stinging
the
tentacles,
structure.
brushes against your
We
outstretched
know
fingers.
these doors were
The
fitted
sensation
with
is
ornate
astonishing.
copper hardware.
It is a touch without
the hidden
substance,
spaces
a feeling of
worm-carved
cool, smooth
with
silk,
wheat paint
so
by
light
the
it is
original
barely
builders.
perceptible. It is like
But the
being touched by a
fundamental
living
lie
shadow, a
remains
whisper of a creature.
elusive.
It leaves no
doors
sting,
for the
no
pharaoh's
residue,
caw to
only the
pass
memory
through
of its
on
ethereal
celestial
grace. You are
journey.
now in the
Do
heart of
copper
the blue,
fittings have a
surrounded on
ritualistic
all sides by
or
these
even a
silent,
functional
pulsing
purpose?
beings.
Perhaps
It is like
related
being
to
inside
a
a
lost
living
ceremony,
kaleidoscope.
or do
A
they
slow
seal
motion
something
blizzard
else?
of lightened form,
Entirely
the
a
faint,
hidden chamber,
pulsing lights
a
of their
cache of
bodies
documents,
create a mesmerizing,
or simply the
ever-changing
end
star
of the
field.
line.
It is
A
profoundly
feature whose
hypnotic.
meaning was known only
Your
to
breathing,
the architect,
which you no
silent.
longer need but still feel
Sealed
the
doors
rhythm
of
of,
the Queen's chamber
slows to match their
represent
gentle
the very
cosmic
edge
pulse.
of our knowledge.
You reflect
physical
on the
and
utter
intellectual
simplicity of these
boundary that
creatures.
continues to
They are over
challenge
95%
our
water,
ingenuity and
with
our
no brain,
understanding
no heart,
of the
no
pyramid's
bones.
ultimate purpose.
They are among the oldest
Parallel to the
multicellular
grand
organisms
mysteries
on
of
the planet,
celestial
having drifted
alignment
through
and
the oceans.
chambers.
Much like this,
more
for
granular,
over 500 million
technical
years,
debate has
they are
persisted
living
among
fossils,
small
perfect
but dedicated
examples of a
group
design that has
researchers,
needed no improvement.
engineers,
Their secret,
craftsmen.
you sense, is their
This debate
surrender.
focuses on
They do not fight the currents, they ride
physical
them.
evidence.
They do not
found
hunt
on
with
various
aggression, they drift,
artifacts
and
from
the ocean
Giza
brings them
Plateau
what they
and other
need.
old kingdom
They are
sites
masters of the
evidence.
art of
That,
non-resistance.
in their view,
A philosopher once
points
pondered
towards
whether
the
a
use
life
of a
without
technology
striving could
far
have
more
meaning.
advanced
Watching the
than
silent, beautiful
accepted
ballet,
toolkit of copper,
you feel you have the
stone,
answer.
and wood.
Their
And
existence
it
is not about
suggests
doing, it is
that
about
the
being.
ancient
Their beauty
Egyptian
is their
masons
purpose.
possessed a knowledge
Their
of high
gentle,
speed,
aimless drift is
precision
their contribution
machining
to
that
the
has been
cosmic dance.
overlooked or
They are a living
misinterpreted
meditation,
by
a
mainstream
reminder that there is a
Egyptology.
profound peace
The most
to be found
compelling
in letting
arguments
go,
for
in
this
yielding to
theory
the flow,
come from a
in
close
existing without a
examination of
destination.
tool marks
You float there
left
for a
on
timeless
stone,
interval, a silent,
particularly
solid
hard
observer
stones
in a
like
flowing
granite
river
and
of
diorite.
ghosts. The mermaid
Sir
story
Flinders
this time
Petrie,
is not a
the
narrative,
meticulous
but a
English
state of
Egyptologist
being. She has invited you into the heart
father
of pure,
modern
purposeless
Egyptology,
beauty, to touch
was
the
one
silent,
of the first
silk
to
soft soul
systematically
of the water
study this
itself,
evidence.
leaving the warm,
In his
vibrant
book,
oasis
The
of the
Pyramids and
hydrothermal
Temples
vault
of
behind.
Giza,
You ascend
he
once more
dedicated
with the
an
mermaid,
entire chapter
rising
to
from the
mechanical
profound, creative
methods
darkness of the
builders.
abyssal plane.
Petrie, a
You return to the more
surveyor with
familiar,
the practical
gentle twilight of the upper
understanding of
ocean,
tools,
the
was
lessons of
baffled by what he
chemosynthesis and
found.
life's tenacity
He
settling
examined
deep within
numerous
you.
examples
The mermaid's
of
journey for
granite
you is like a
artifacts,
great, slow
including
breath, a deep
sarcophagi,
inhalation into the wonders
architectural
of her world.
elements,
And now,
most
a slow,
notably,
gentle exhalation back
quarters
towards the
left
beginning.
behind
She leads you back towards
by
the
the
area of
builders.
the old
Petrie's
shipwreck, but she doesn't
analysis
stop
of
there.
these drill cores
She
was
guides you past it,
particularly
over the
striking.
silent,
The
moss-covered wooden
Egyptians
sleeping
used a form
emotions
of
held
tubular
within,
drill
to a
cut
sandy
holes in
clearing
granite.
nearby.
For
The
purposes
seafloor here
such
is
as
littered
hollowing
with the
out
detritus of the
coffers
wreck,
or creating
objects that were
sockets.
scattered more widely
The
during the
conventional
ship's final
theory
descent.
is that this was
Most
a
are
simple
unrecognizable
copper
lumps
tube,
of coral
rotated
encrusted
by
metal
hand
wood.
with a bow,
But the
using
mermaid's
a
attention
quartz
is drawn
and
to
a
one specific
bracelet
object,
to do the actual
half buried
cutting.
in the white sand.
However,
it is a small brass
Petrie
disc,
observed that the
green
spiral
with the patina
grooves,
of age
or
and sea.
rifling,
It's a
left
locket
on
or
the
perhaps
sides
a
of the
small
core and the
container,
whole
but
were
as she hovers over
remarkably
it,
uniform.
you recognize
He
its true
calculated
form.
that for a
The
drill
mermaid
of about
communicates
4
its
inches
identity
in
to
diameter.
A
The
golden
tool
hued
advanced into
mariner's
the granite at a
compass.
rate
She doesn't open it. She doesn't need
each
to.
of an
The story
inch
it
per
holds is not
revolution.
inside, but
He
all
argued
around
that
it
to
an invisible
achieve
field
such
of
a
memory
feat right by
that she
hand
gently allows you
with
to
a loose
perceive.
abrasive
The perspective
would require
shifts.
applying a
You are
pressure
on the deck
at
of the
least
ship
1
again,
to 2
but this time
tons.
the sky is
This
not
led
common
him to
moonlight.
conclude
It is a
that
churning,
the
bruised
Egyptians
sky
must
of
have
gray
been
and purple
using
clouds.
drills that
The
were
sea
not
is a
only
chaos of
mechanically
enormous,
rotated,
slate
but
gray
also
waves,
guided,
rain,
unweighted
golden
with
hard as
immense
pellets of
force,
ice,
far
slashes
beyond
across
what
the deck.
human power
The
could
ship
provide.
rise, its
Furthermore,
timbers screaming
Petrie
under
and
the
later
strain.
researchers
This
like
is the ship's
Christopher
final
Dunn,
hour.
an
You are not
engineer
watching
who
from
has
a
spent
safe
decades
distance.
studying these
You are
artifacts,
standing on the heaving deck,
noted
feeling
another
the
anomaly.
terrifying, raw
In
power
some
of the ocean.
instances,
You feel the
spiral
gut-wrenching
groove on the
lurch
drill
as the
core
ship
was
slides
deeper in
down the
quartz
face of a
component
monstrous
of the
wave,
granite,
and the
and
sickening
in the
crash
softer
as it
felt
slams
spark
into the
component.
trough. The
This
sound
is
is
the
a
exact
deafening roar, the howl of the
what
wind,
one
the
would
crash of
expect
water
from a
the
simple
splintering of
abrasive
wood.
process.
But you are not
A
experiencing the
loose
fear of a
abrasive
sailor.
would
The
wear
mermaid
away
is
the
shielding you
softer
from that.
material faster.
Instead, she
Dunn
is focusing your
argues that
attention
this
on
suggests
one man, the helmsman.
ultra-hard cutting
He
tool,
is lashed to the
perhaps
ship's
even
wheel,
something
his body
akin to
straining against
modern
the ropes
diamond
with
or
every buck and
carbide
shudder of
tip.
the vessel. drills.
His
that
face
cut
is a mask
through
of
the
concentration,
soft spars
his
so
eyes fixed on the
quickly
small,
didn't have
glowing
time
object
to
in the
wear it
pinnacle
away.
before him, the
Only
compass.
biting
In this
deeply
world of
into the
absolute
harder
chaos,
core.
where up and down are
This,
constantly
he
confused,
contends,
where the horizon is a
definitive
violent,
signature
shifting
of
nightmare,
high-speed
the compass is the
machining.
only point
Similar
of stability.
evidence is cited in
Its
relation
needle,
to
trembling
sonic
but resolute,
techniques.
stubbornly points north.
The sarcophagus
It is
in
an
the
anchor of
King's
certainty
chamber and
in a
others
universe of
from the
madness.
era exhibit
It is a small,
surfaces that
quiet
are
miracle
remarkably
of physics
flat
and human
smooth.
ingenuity, a testament to the
Researchers
power
have
of a single,
identified faint
unwavering
saw
truth.
marks on
The
some
helmsman
granite
clings to this
objects
certainty.
that are
His
straightened
own fear,
evenly
his own
spaced.
exhaustion, the screams of the
Dunn
wind, they all
argues that
fade
the
into the
flatness and
background.
precision of these
His
cuts,
entire world narrows to
particularly
that single,
in the
glowing
corners of
needle.
boxes,
It is his
are
faith,
inconsistent
his guide,
with the
his only
wobbling
connection to a world of
unevenness
order and reason.
that would be inherent
He
in
is not just steering a
large,
ship,
hand-powered
he is holding
saw,
on to a
mechanically
fundamental
powered
principle of the
saws,
universe. The mermaid then
perhaps
shifts
circular
the memory.
saws or large
The storm has
hand
passed its
saws.
peak.
To
The ship is
achieve
broken,
such
sinking.
results,
The sailors
another
are
piece
gone,
of
lost to the
anomalous
waves.
evidence
The
is
compass,
so-called
freed from its
face
binnacle,
of
now sinks
YUT.
slowly and over
Other
end
similar stone
into the
vessels
quiet,
from the
dark water below.
and early dynastic
It tumbles through the
periods.
depths,
These are
leaving the
vessels
chaos
carved from
of the
hard
surface
stone
world
like
behind.
schist or
As it
diorite.
sinks, something magical happens.
Some of them have narrow,
The needle, which
long
on the
necks and
surface was a
gracefully
slave to the
expanding
Earth's
interiors.
magnetic field, is
The
released
challenge
from
is to
its duty.
explain how the
Here,
ancient
in the
craftsmen
deep,
hollowed
quiet
out
world
the
of the
interior
mermaid.
of the vessel
The
through
laws
its
are
narrow
different.
neck,
The needle
creating a
swings
perfectly
free,
smooth
spinning
and
for a moment
symmetrical
as if dizzy
internal
with
shape.
its new
The conventional
liberty.
explanation
Then,
involves
slowly,
using
it comes to rest,
specialized
but it is
stone
not
borers
pointing
and
north.
immense
With a
spaces.
final, gentle
However,
quiver, the needle
proponents
swings
of the
around
lost
and points in a
technology
new
theory
direction.
argue
It
that
is
the
pointing
perfection
towards a
and
faint,
symmetry
distant glow,
of these
a
vessels
warmth,
suggests
a
a
feeling.
wave-like technology.
It is pointing
where
towards the
stone
memory
was
of a
spun at
sun-drenched
high
cottage,
speed and
the
carved
smell of
with a
baking
fixed
bread,
tool. The
sound
mainstream
of a child's
Egyptological
laughter.
community
It is pointing
remains
towards the
largely
helmsman's home.
unconvinced by
The
these
compass,
arguments.
having lost its
They
connection to the
contend
physical
that
world, true
researchers
north
like
has
Petrie and Dunn,
recalibrated.
while
It
skilled
now
in
points
their
to the
own
heart's
fields
true
of
north.
surveying and
It has
engineering,
become a compass
are
of
viewing the
longing, a
artifacts
device
through a
that
modern
navigates
lens.
not by
The
magnetism,
academic
but by
position
memory.
is that
You
they
are back in the present,
underestimating
floating
the
above the
incredible
small,
results
green
that can
tinged
be
brass
achieved
disc
with
in the
simple
sand.
tools
You
when
understand its
combined
secret.
with an almost unimaginable
It is a lost
amount of
object,
time,
but it is not without
patience,
purpose.
and
For centuries
generations
it has
of
rested here on the
accumulated
seabed,
craft skill.
its
They
needle
argue
faithfully,
that there is
eternally
no
pointing towards a
archaeological
home that
evidence
no longer exists,
whatsoever for the
keeping a
existence
silent,
of such
lonely vigil.
advanced machinery.
It is a symbol of
No
the idea
remains of
that
lathes,
even when all is lost,
high-speed reels,
the things we love
or
still
their
exert
power
a pull on us,
sources have
a
ever been
direction,
found.
a quieten.
The
The mermaid
anomalous
has
tool
shown you a
arms
piece of
they
forgotten
suggest
magic,
can be
a
explained
small
by yet
scientific
unreplicated,
instrument,
but
through its
nonetheless
journey
simple
into
techniques,
her world,
or are
has been
simply
transformed
misinterpreted.
into
This
an
leaves
object
us
of
with
pure
a fascinating impasse.
It is a lesson
On one
that the
side,
deepest truths are
we
not
have
always found
tangible
on a map,
artifacts, granite
but are
boxes,
sometimes charted
drill
only by the
cores,
compass
and
of the
stone
heart. The
vases
poignant
that
image
seem
of the
to bear
compass,
the telltale
eternally
signs
pointing
of
towards a
modern
lost
machining
home,
methods,
lingers in your mind.
On the other,
It's
we
a symbol
have
of loyalty and love
absence
that
of those
transcends even
machines
time
in
and
the
place.
archaeological record.
The mermaid senses the
lost
deep,
technology
quiet
hints that the
story has
requires
created
us to
within you.
accept that an entire
Her journey is
category
beginning to turn,
of sophisticated
guiding you now from
tools
the stories
existed
of
in,
objects and the
was
past
used to
towards the
create
vibrant,
some of ancient
living present of her
Egypt's
world.
most enduring
The lessons are
masterpieces,
becoming simpler,
and
more
then
direct,
vanished without
focused,
a trace.
pure,
The conventional
unadulterated
explanation
joy.
requires
She gives a
us
flick
to
of her
accept
powerful
that
tail,
Bronze Age
and you rise
craftsmen,
from the seafloor.
with the simplest
leaving
of
the
hand
sandy
tools,
plains of the
were
shipwreck
able to
and its
produce
ghosts
objects
behind.
with a level of precision
You ascend
that
towards
would
the
be
brighter,
envy of a modern
sun-dappled waters of
machine
the
shop.
upper ocean.
The
The
stones
water warming
themselves
around
are the
you,
primary
the light
witnesses,
becoming more
but
brilliant.
their testimony remains
You are moving towards a
ambiguous.
place of energy and life.
Speaking in a
You
language
soon
of
hear it.
grooves and complains
even before you
that
see
we are
them.
still struggling.
A series of high-pitched
approximately
clicks,
1
whistles,
kilometer
and
to the
joyful
northwest
chirps.
of the step
It's a
pyramid
sound that is
Djoser
impossible to
and
misunderstand, regardless of species.
that presents
It is the sound of pure,
logistical
exuberant play.
Perhaps
then
even
they
more
appear,
profound than that
a flash
of the great
of silver
pyramid
and
itself.
streamlined grace.
This
a plot
is
of
the serene
dolphins.
hum of
They are nothing
Sakarva,
like the slow,
a series of
celestial
underground
whales
galleries that house
These
25
creatures are
colossal
pure
granite
energy,
coffers.
pure kindness.
These objects,
Their sleek,
in which they were
powerful
found,
bodies
provide
cut
some
through the
of
water
most
with
compelling,
incredible
tangible
speed and
evidence
agility.
for those who argue
They move
for a
like
lost
living
high
torpedoes of joy,
in
their skin the
ancient
color
Egypt.
of polished pewter,
While not
reflecting the
directly
sunlight
part of the
from the
Giza
surface
Plateau,
in dazzling flashes.
Serene palm
You and the mermaid
is so
hang back,
chronologically,
becoming quiet observers at the edge of their playground.
technologically
The
linked
dolphins are
to the old
engaged in a
kingdom's
complex,
master
acrobatic
masons
dance.
that
They
it
chase
cannot
each
be
other in
ignored
tight,
in this
spiraling formations,
investigation.
then break
The
apart,
Serene palm was
leaping from the water
rediscovered
in
in
high,
1851
graceful arcs
by the
before
French
splashing back down into the sea.
Mermaid,
They are not
who was
hunting,
led
they
to
are
the
not
site
migrating,
by following
they are simply
descriptions
playing.
from the
One of the
ancient
dolphins
Greek
finds a strand of
historian
loose
Strabo.
seaweed and begins a game
What
of
he
catch.
unearthed was a vast
Carries
and
the
eerie
seaweed on its snout,
tomb.
then lets it
A
go,
long,
allowing a
descending
companion to
gallery
snatch it from the
branches
water.
into a series
They pass
of
it back
side
and forth,
chambers,
their movements quick
and
and
within
precise,
each chamber
their chirps and
rests
whistles
a
a constant,
single,
happy
monolithic
chatter.
coffer.
It is a scene
They
of
are
such
gargantuan.
uncomplicated bliss that it is
The average
infectious.
coffer is
You feel a smile spreading across your face,
7.5
lightness
feet
bubbling
wide
up in
and
your chest.
3.3
The mermaid shares a
meters,
simple,
11
clear
feet
thought. They
high,
are the laughter of
including
the ocean.
lid.
It's a perfect
They are
description.
each carved
If
from
the whales
a single
are the ocean's
solid
ancient,
block of a
soulful
swan
song,
granite,
and the jellyfish are
with
its
the main
silent,
body weighing
meditative
estimated
poetry,
70
then the dolphins
tons,
are its laughter.
the lid weighing
They are the
an
embodiment
additional
of the
30
sea's playful,
tons.
joyful
The
spirit.
total weight of
Their
each
intelligence
unit
is not the
around
heavy,
100
philosophical
tons.
wisdom of the
According
deep, but
to
a quick,
mainstream
clever,
Egyptology,
and curious intelligence
the Serene
that is
palm
entirely
was
focused
the burial
on the present
place
moment.
of the sacred
Scientists
apis
on the
bulls.
surface have long been
The
fascinated
apis
by
bull
dolphin
was
intelligence,
considered a living
their complex social
manifestation of the god
structures.
Ta.
They have
and
names
later
for each
of
other. They
Osiris.
form lifelong
When an
friendships.
apis bull
They teach
died,
their young,
it was
and they have been
mummified
observed
with
showing
great
empathy and
ceremony and
altruism.
interred in one
Here,
of these massive
in the mermaid's world,
sarcophagi.
you see the
cult
source
of
of
the
that
apis
intelligence
bull is
not
well
as a tool for
documented,
survival, but as a
particularly
catalyst for joy.
in the late period
They are
of
smart
Egyptian
so that they can
history,
play better.
and
A
inscriptions
young dolphin,
found in
smaller
the
and
Serene
more daring than the
link
rest,
many of the burials
breaks from the
to
puddles,
specific
dips directly
pharaohs
towards
from
you
this
and the
later
mermaid.
era. The
It
mystery
buzzes with
deepens
curiosity
when one
its head
examines
cocked.
the coffers
It's dark,
themselves.
intelligent
Of the
eyes,
25
sparkling
coffers,
with mischief.
24 were found
It sparkles
empty.
you once,
The
twice,
one that was
emitting a
sealed was
series of
found to
inquisitive
contain a
clicks.
jumbled mass of
This is its
bones,
sonar, its way of
covered in
seeing you not
bitumen,
just with
but
light,
not a
but
formal,
with sound, building a
intact,
complex,
mummified bull.
three-dimensional
Furthermore,
picture of you,
several
and
of
its
the
clicks
coffers
washing
bear
over
no
you.
inscriptions
A friendly,
at all.
non-invasive
The true
scam.
enigma
The
of
mermaid
Serene
remains
lies
perfectly
in the
still,
precision
radiating
of
a
their
familiar,
manufacture.
welcoming calm.
The sheer
young
scale
dolphin
is
seems to
daunting
recognize
enough.
her as a native of
Quarrying
this
a
world,
100-ton block
a friendly
of
and
granite at a
non-threatening
swan,
presence. It then turns
transporting
its
it
attention
over
to you.
500 miles
It swims
to
right up to your
Sakarva,
face,
and
hovering
then
just a few
maneuvering
feet
it
away,
down a
its
sloping,
perpetually smiling
narrow
mouth,
subterranean
giving it an
passage
expression of
into
immense
a
and friendly
tight-side
amusement.
chamber is a feat
It looks
of
you directly
logistics
in the
and
eye,
engineering
and
that
in that
almost
moment you
defies
feel a connection.
comprehension.
It is
The
not the deep,
passages themselves
soulful full connection
are just
of the
barely
whale, not a
wide
bright,
enough to
sparky
accommodate
connection,
the boxes,
a moment
leaving
of shared,
scant room
thence
for the
proceeds
hundreds of
curiosity.
men that
What
would
are you?
have
Its
been
gaze
required
seems to say,
pull and deliver
you are
them
strange and
into
new.
place.
Come
But
and
it
play.
is the
It
quality
gives a
of
happy
the
little
stonework
chirp,
that
then darts
truly
away,
challenges
zipping back
belief.
to its family,
Researchers
as if to report on
like
the strange,
Christopher Dunn
quiet
have
visitors it
conducted
has
detailed
found.
measurements of the
The pod
coffers,
continues its game,
using modern
their energy a
precision
whirlwind of silver and
instruments
blue.
like gauge blocks
Watching
in
them,
right angles.
you realize the profound
What they
importance
found
of play.
was a level of
In the human
craftsmanship
world,
that seems
play is
utterly
often seen as a
impossible with
childish
primitive
thing,
tools.
something to be outgrown.
The
luxury
interior
for
and
the serious work
exterior
is done.
surfaces
But
of the
here,
boxes
the
are
mermaid
often
shows you that
perfectly
play,
flat,
it is a
with
fundamental
a
expression
tolerance
of life
measured in
itself.
the
It is the joy of
10,000ths
having a
of an
body,
inch, are
of being able
executed
to
with
move,
razor sharp,
of interacting
perfect
with the world
right
and with
angles.
others.
The
It is a
lids
celebration
are fitted to the
of the
boxes
present moment.
with such
The dolphins
precision
are a
that
living
when one is
lesson in
place,
shedding worry. They
the
are not
seal is
concerned
nearly
about
airtight,
yesterday or tomorrow.
with no
Their entire
discernible
world
gap.
is this patch of sunlit
Dunn
water, this game
claims
of catch,
that to
this
achieve
joyful
this
dance
level
with
of
their
accuracy
friends.
on a
They are a
granite
powerful,
surface today
beautiful
would require
reminder to
enormous
embrace this simple,
computer-controlled
uncomplicated
milling
happiness
machines
that is
and
always
diamond-tipped
available
tools.
if only
He
you
points
choose
to
to see
one
it.
box
The
in
joyous
particular as a
high-frequency
smoking
energy of the
gun.
dolphins fades
The
into
lid
the
does
blue as
not
their
sit
games
flat
carry
on
them
top
to
of
other
the
parts of
box,
the
but
ocean.
is designed to
A
fit
feeling of
into
lightheartedness,
recessed
a
lip.
smile in your soul.
The corners of
remains.
this recess
The mermaid's
on the
curriculum
inside
is
of the
nearing
box
its
are
end.
perfectly square.
She has guided you through the cosmic,
Dunn
the
argues
historic,
that
the
creating a
emotional,
perfectly
and the
square
joyful.
interior corner in
Now,
a block of granite
she begins the
is
final
one
part
of
of
the
your
most
journey, the
difficult
gentle
tasks
process
in
of
all
return.
of stone
She turns to
masonry.
you, and for the
With
first
hand
time,
tools,
you see a new
one would
expression in her
expect a
sea
rounded
glass
corner
eyes.
due to the nature of
It
the
is not a
abrasive
story or a
process.
lesson,
To achieve a perfectly
feeling of
sharp
farewell,
internal corner
but a warm,
suggests a tool
peaceful,
that could
and
cut straight
grateful one.
down and then straight
A
across
silent
at a perfect
acknowledgement
90-degree
of the journey
angle.
you have shared.
A characteristic
She offers her,
of
and
advanced
one
milling
last time,
machinery. The
take
mainstream
it,
explanation
and her
for
cool,
this incredible
smooth touch is
precision
filled with a sense
is, once
of
again,
quiet blessing.
and
She does not lead you anywhere new.
unparalleled skill
Instead,
and patience
she leads you
of
back to the
ancient
place where you
craftsmen.
first met,
The
hidden
theory
grotto
is
at the
that
base of
teams
the
of
giant kelp,
workers,
the
using
place she
simple
calls home.
stone pounders,
You glide
and
back
abrasive
through the majestic,
slurries,
sun-dappled
spent
kelp
months or
forest,
even years
the great
on each
green
box,
gold fronds waving a
slowly
slow,
grinding
silent
and polishing the surface
The small,
to achieve
light-woven
the desired
seahorses
level
and
of
iridescent
flatness
beetles
and
watch you
finish.
pass. Their presence
The
now
process,
familiar and
while
comforting. You
mind-bogglingly
arrive at the
laborious,
arched entrance
is
to
not
her grotto
considered
and swim
physically
inside.
impossible.
The space is just as you
Egyptologists
remember it
point to
calm,
the inscriptions
safe,
on
and lit
some
by
of
the
the
soft,
boxes,
pulsing
which
glow
clearly
of the
date
moss
them to
on
the
the
late
walls and
period circa 660
It feels like returning to a familiar room after a long and wondrous trip.
A
You
time
both
when
settle
Egypt's
onto the soft
technical
moss
skills
cushions,
were thought
facing
to be
each
in
other.
decline.
There are no more stories
Not
to be
at a
told,
mysterious
no more
peak.
great
This
revelations
creates
to be shared.
a paradox.
This is
Some
a
of
time
the
for
oldest
quiet
coffers
absorption.
in the complex,
The mermaid
which
simply
are
holds your
uninscribed
gaze,
and made of the hardest
and
stone,
in that shared stillness,
appear to
the
exhibit
entire
the
journey
highest
replays
level
itself
of
in your mind,
craftsmanship.
not
The
as a
later,
series of distinct events,
inscribed
but as a
coffers
single,
are often
flowing
made of
tapestry
softer
of
stone
feeling.
and
You
show
feel the
comparatively
cool,
lower
wet end of the
quality
misty
work.
beach and the warmth of the
This has
glowing
led
conch
some
shell.
researchers to
You feel the
propose
silky,
that the
accepting
original
water of the
serene
cove
was
as you
a
took your
creation
first
of the
underwater
Old
breath.
Kingdom,
You
or
see
an
the
even
gentle,
earlier period,
pulsing colors
and
of
that
the
the
soft
coffers
coral
were
garden.
found and reused
You feel
by
the
the
deep,
late period
resonant
pharaohs
heartbeat
for
of the
their
sleeping
burials.
volcano and
In
hear the
this
soulful,
view,
cosmic
the
song
late
of the
period
starlit whales.
Egyptians did not
You remember the
create
silent,
100
golden light of the kelp
granite
forest,
boxes.
the poignant
simply
echoes wisdom
discovered this
unsalting
ancient,
tears, and the patient healing work of the oyster.
library of
You recall the
master-crafted
ethereal,
objects
purposeless
and
beauty of the
repurpose them
jellyfish,
for their own
the defiant
religious
life of the
needs.
hydrothermal
The Serapum thus
the eternal
stands
loyalty
as a
of the
silent,
lost
powerful
compass,
counterpoint
and the pure,
to the Gizon
unadulterated
narrative.
joy of the dolphin.
It presents
all of
the
these
same
experiences,
suite of problems,
these lessons
impossible
have
logistics,
woven themselves into the fabric of
anachronistic
your being.
precision,
They are no
and a
longer
purpose
just
that
memories, they
remains
are a part of you.
ambiguous, but on a
The mermaid
scale
has
and in
given
a
you a
context
profound
that is
gift. She
somehow
has shown you
even
the
more
ocean
stark
not as a
and
place,
challenging.
but as a state
The
of
25
being,
silent,
a state of
empty
deep
giants
connection,
resting in
of
the
patient
darkness beneath the
transformation,
carvers
of
seem to
quiet
mock our
wisdom, and
understanding
of effortless
past.
grace. As
Their
you sit in
perfectly
this silent
polished
communion,
surfaces
you notice her
reflecting
form
back
begin to
every
change.
question we ask.
It is not a
The
sudden
modern
transformation,
story of Gizon,
but
the
a
Valley
slow,
of the Kings,
gentle
is
dissolution.
inextricably
The edges
woven
of
with
her
the
being begin
potent
to
and
soften,
enduring
to
legend,
lose
the
their
curse of the
definition.
pharaohs.
The sea plant hair
This
seems
narrative,
to merge with the
a
glowing
fixture of
moss
popular
behind
culture,
her. The
suggests
sapphire
that
and
the
emerald
ancient
scales of
tombs
her
Egypt
tail
are
begin to
protected
blend
by a
into the
malevolent
shadows of the
supernatural
grotto.
force.
Her form
form is becoming more translucent, misfortune,
as if she is being slowly
and death
reabsorbed
to any
by the
who
water,
dare disturb
by the very
eternal
world she
slumber of
embodies.
kings.
She is not
While
dying
this
or
idea has been
disappearing.
sensationalized,
She is simply
in films
returning to
and
her
fiction,
elemental
its
state.
origins are tied
She is showing you
directly
that her
to
form
one
was
of the
temporary,
20th
a
century's
manifestation
most
created for you
spectacular
to guide
archaeological
you. Her
discoveries.
true essence is this entire
The
world you
unsealing
have
of the
explored.
tomb of
She is the
Tutankhamun
water,
by Howard
the
Carter
light,
in
the
1000.
Her sea glass eyes are the last thing to fade.
The
They hold your
subsequent
gaze
series
full
of deaths,
of a profound and
among
eternal
those
peacefulness.
associated with
And then the final
expedition
thought she shares
created a
with you
media
flows into
frenzy
your
and
mind.
cemented
It is
the
a simple,
idea
beautiful,
of a pharaoh
and powerful
curse
blessing. The
in
ocean is
public
within you now.
consciousness. The
Carry its
story
peace.
begins
Then
in November
she is gone.
1922
You are alone in the grotto,
in the
but you
Valley
do
of
not
the
feel
Kings,
abandoned.
near Luxor.
You feel full.
After years
Her
of
presence is no
fruitless
longer in
searching,
front of you.
the
It is
British
all around you.
archaeologist
And within
Howard
you.
Carter,
The grotto
funded
itself
by
seems
his
to pulse with
patron
her
Lord
energy, a
Carnarvon,
final warm embrace.
discovered a flight
You
of
know,
steps
with a certainty
cut
that
into
needs
the
no
valley
proof,
floor.
that your journey in her
These
world is
steps
complete.
led to a sealed
It is time to
doorway
go.
bearing the
The
necropolis
path back to
seals
your
of the
own
boy
world has
came
been
to
prepared.
Titanic.
You rest for a
The
final
tomb was
moment
almost
in the now empty grotto.
miraculously intact,
The mermaid's parting
having
blessing
been
echoing
largely
in the quiet
missed
chambers
by
of
the
your soul.
ancient tomb
A
robbers.
profound sense of peace and
On
completion
November
settles over you.
26th,
There is no
Carter
sadness,
made
only a deep,
small
quiet
breach
gratitude.
in this second
You know
sealed
instinctively
doorway.
that it is time to begin
Peering
your journey
in with
back
a
to the
candle,
surface.
he was
And you
struck
know you will
dumb
not be
by
making the
sight
journey
of
alone.
golden
The ocean
treasure
itself will
glinting
now be your
in the
guide.
flickering
You push off
light.
from the soft moss
When
cushion for the last
Carnarvon
time and
impatiently
glide out of the
asked
grotto's
if he
archway.
could see anything,
As you emerge into
Carter
the kelp forest,
uttered the
you
famous
notice a change.
words, "Yes,
A gentle,
wonderful
steady
things."
current, which was
The
not there
discovery
before,
was a
begins to
global
tug at you.
sensation.
It is not a forceful
The tomb
pull,
was a
but
time
warm,
capsule
insistent
from the 14th
invitation,
century
a liquid
BCE,
hand taking yours.
filled with
This
an
is the beginning of
unimaginable
your ascent.
wealth of
You
artifacts,
surrender to it
golden
completely.
chariots,
You cease
inlaid
all effort,
furniture,
all swimming.
statues.
You simply
and
allow
the
your body to
iconic,
become weightless,
solid
your
gold
limbs to
death
float
mask
freely,
of the
and
pharaoh.
you let the current take you.
However, the
It
initial
feels like being
euphoria
held in a vast,
soon gave
gentle
way
river,
to a darker
flowing
narrative.
upwards towards the light.
The first and
It
most
is the
prominent
ocean's
victim
exhale,
of the supposed
and you
curse
are
was
being
the
carried on its
expedition
breath.
sponsor.
The current is your
Lord
silent,
Carnarvon.
invisible chariot.
Just
It
over 4
expertly
months
navigates
after
you
the
through the
tomb
majestic
was
stalks
opened,
of the kelp
in
forest.
A23,
Their great fronds
Carnarvon
seeming to
died
bow in a
his
slow,
hotel room in
graceful
Cairo.
farewell as you
The
pass.
cause of death was
It
blood
lifts you
poisoning,
higher, out
which
of the
developed
forest's
from
dappled
an
canopy
infected
into
mosquito
the open,
bite on
blue
his
water.
cheek that he
You look
had
down
nicked
one
while
last time and
shaving.
see the forest
media
shrinking
seized
below you.
upon the story.
A beautiful,
It
secret
was
garden
reported that
fading
at the
into
precise
depths.
moment
The
of
ascent is slow and
Carnarvon's
peaceful.
death,
You feel
all
no
the
pressure
lights
changes,
in Cairo
no discomfort.
inexplicably went
The
out.
journey is perfectly
Game
calibrated
or
for your
fanciful
comfort and peace.
tale.
You are like a
Claims that
single,
back in England,
buoyant seed pod being
Carnarvon's
returned to the
dog,
surface world from which you
Susie,
came.
let out a
The
howl
water
and
around
died
you
at the
lightens
same
in stages
instant.
from turquoise to
These
aquamarine, from
details,
aquamarine to a
though
bright,
likely
sunlit
embellished
cerulean.
or
The gentle current
coincidental,
carries you
added
through realms
fuel
you
to
have
the
visited
fire.
before.
The
But you see
novelist
them now
Marie
with new
Corelli,
eyes.
a popular
You drift
writer
past
of
the playground of the
mystical fiction,
dolphins,
fanned
now
the
empty.
flames by
But you
quoting
can still
from a
feel the lingering
supposedly
echoes of their
ancient
joyful
text
energy
that
in the
warned
water.
of dire
You float over the
consequences
sandy plains where
for
the
those
shipwreck
who
rests,
entered a
and you
sealed
send a silent
tomb.
thought of peace to the souls whose
Journalists
stories are held
began
there,
to actively
and to the
search
faithful
for
compass
any
still pointing
connection
towards its
between
long-lost
the tomb
home.
and
The current,
subsequent
this
deaths.
warm and
The
living
list of
stream
victims
feels
grew.
like the mermaid's final guiding
George
touch.
J. Gould,
It is her essence,
a wealthy
fulfilling her
American
promise to see you
financier and
safely
friend
home.
of Carnarvon.
You recall how you felt
visited
when you
the
first
tomb in
entered this world,
1923
hesitant
and died a few
uncertain.
months later from
Now,
pneumonia.
you feel as if you belong
Aubrey
here.
Herbert,
The
Lord
water is no longer an
Carnarvon's
alien element,
half-brother,
it is a familiar,
who was
comforting
present
medium.
at the tomb's
The
opening,
peace of the deep has
died
become
of
your
blood
home.
poisoning
As you
later
rise
that
higher,
same year.
you begin to see
Sir
the surface.
Archibald Douglas Reed,
It is no longer
the
a remote,
radiologist
silver
who
ceiling.
X-rayed Titanic's
It is a
mummy,
shimmering, dazzling
died in
sheet of diamonds,
1924
a liquid
from
sky
a
just
mysterious
above you.
illness.
The light is brilliant,
C.
but
Mace
soft.
The key
filtered
member
through
of
the water into a gentle, welcoming
opened the
glow.
burial chamber.
The patterns of the small waves on the surface cast dancing, web-like patterns of light that wash over you. A final, beautiful light show.
Carter's
This slow, effortless ascent is a time for integration.
In his bed,
The experiences are no longer separate stories.
929.
They have coalesced into a
His
single,
father, Lord
unified
Westbury,
feeling, a sense of profound peace
distraught
and
by
intricate
his
decadence.
son's death,
The salt in the water
reportedly
is the
jumped
memory
from
of all
his
tears.
seventh floor
The light in
apartment.
the deep is the memory
The
of
press
fallen
kept a
stars.
running tally.
The pearl is the
linking
memory
more
of a
than
healed
dozen
wound.
deaths
The life
over
is a
the next
testament to
decade
resilience.
to the curse.
The joy is a
legend
celebration
was
of the
bolstered
present
by
moment,
the alleged
and all of
discovery
it, all of this wisdom, is
warning
held
of
within the gentle,
curse.
liquid embrace of
One
the ocean.
popular
The
version
current slows as you
claims that a
approach
clay
the surface,
tablet
your
found
ascent
in
becoming
the
almost
antechamber
imperceptible.
death
It is
shall
holding you
come
just
on
beneath the
swift
boundary,
wings to him
giving you
who
a moment to
disturbs the
prepare
peace
for
of
the
the
transition
king.
back to your own element.
However,
you float
there
there,
is no
suspended between two
archaeological
worlds.
record of such
Below
a
you
tablet
lies the vast,
ever
silent,
being found
magical
by
world
Carter's
of the
team.
Mermaid. Above you
The
lies the
only
world of air,
inscription that
sound,
comes close
of your
is a
own quiet
protective
room.
text
You feel a
found
sense of profound
on a magical
gratitude for the
figure
journey.
in the
It was a
treasury,
gift,
which
a
states
secret
that
shared.
it will drive away
You take
the
one final,
who would
deep,
desecrate
liquid
the
breath
royal
of the
tomb.
water that has
A
sustained you.
standard type of
Savoring the
protective
feeling of its
spell
life-giving
common in
peace,
Egyptian
filling your
funerary
lungs.
practice,
You know that even
not a
when you return to
specific
breathing air, a part of you
targeted
will forever
curse.
remember how to breathe
Despite
water.
the lack of
You will
direct
remember how to
evidence
breathe
for a
peace.
written curse,
The gentle current
the
gives you one
narrative
last,
was
soft
overwhelmingly
nudge.
powerful.
It is time.
It tapped
With that
into
last
a primal
gentle nudge
fear
from the
of
current,
desecrating
you
the
rise
dead
through
in
the final
romantic
few inches of water.
fascination.
The
With
transition
the
is
mystical power
seamless,
of
a
ancient
soft
Egypt.
breaking of surface tension.
The idea
Your
of
head
a
emerges
pharaoh's
from the
magic
water,
reaching
and the
across
world of air
millennia
greets you like a
to
long-lost
exact
friend.
revenge was
You
far
take your first
more
breath of
compelling
air. It
than
is
the
cool,
mundane
sweet,
reality
and
of
fills your lungs
disease
with
or
a familiar,
coincidence.
comforting ease.
The story
The sound of
provided
the world
a thrilling,
returns, but it is a gentle
supernatural
sound,
explanation
the soft
for a
lapping
series
of water
of otherwise
against sand.
It transformed
You are floating
the
on your
meticulous
back in the
work
hidden
of
cove,
archaeology
the same cove
into a
where your
high-stakes
underwater journey
drama
began.
of life and death.
The water is still
Bidding
glowing
modern
with that same
science
soft,
against ancient
peachy
sorcery.
luminescence.
In
But it seems
objectively
calmer now,
recounting these
more
events,
subdued, as if its
it is
work
crucial
done.
to separate
The sky above is no
documented
longer the
facts,
thick,
individuals,
gray fog of your
their
arrival,
association
but a deep
with the
preyed on
discovery,
indigo,
and
velvety
their
and
eventual
soft, with the
deaths
first
from the
few
sensational
faint stars
eyes
beginning to
narrative
fade
that was
as
woven
morning
around
approaches.
them.
The warm,
The core
glowing
of the
water
legend
supports
is
you
the
completely.
sequence of events.
You float
The tomb
effortlessly,
was open,
your body feeling
and
light
then
and
a
incredibly
number of
relaxed.
people connected
The
to
mermaid's
that opening
parting
died.
gift, the current
Some
that
in
carried you to the
unusual or
surface,
sudden
now rocks you
ways.
with a gentle, rhythmic
The
motion.
interpretation of this
It is a cradle,
sequence
a
as
liquid
causal
hammock, lulling you
relationship
into a state of
as
perfect
the
repose.
result of a
You close your
supernatural
eyes
curse
and just
became a
feel the sensation of being
self-perpetuating
held,
myth.
of floating
In the
between
next
warm,
chapter,
glowing sea and
we
the
will
cool,
calmly
dark sky.
unrationally
The memories of the
examine
deep
the
are still
scientific
vivid,
and
but they are no
statistical
longer sharp
arguments
experiences
that have been put
They have
forward
softened,
to explain
blended,
the
and
string
settled
of
into a deep,
fatalities
foundational
in
layer of
attempt
your
to
being.
perform a
They are no
statistical
longer a story
autopsy
you
on
were
the
told,
curse
but a
itself.
truth you now
In
know.
the face of
The peace of the abyss,
sensationalized
the joy of the
and
sunlit
pervasive
shallows,
legend
it
of
all
the
resides
pharaoh's
within you
curse.
now.
A more rational and scientific
As you float,
line of
you become
inquiry
aware
seems to
of a new
explain the
change in the
series
water.
of deaths.
The gentle, rocking
Following
motion
the
is
opening
becoming
of
more directional.
through
The water
natural,
is carrying you,
rather
not
than
upwards,
supernatural
but
means.
sideways, towards
This
the
approach
shore.
does not
It
dismiss
is a slow,
the deaths,
deliberate
but
movement,
re-examines
the last
them
act
through the lenses
of the ocean's gentle
microbiology,
hospitality.
toxicology,
It is a time
and
created just
statistical
for
probability.
you. A final,
By performing
way
a
to
dispassionate
deliver you safely
autopsy
back
on
to
the
land.
curse, we
You
can
feel the
evaluate
sand brush
whether
against
the
your
pattern
heels,
of
then your legs.
fatalities is genuinely
The water gently
anomalous
deposits
or
you on the
simply
shore
a tragic
as carefully
but
as it would a precious,
understandable
fragile
series
shell.
of events amplified
You are left
by
on a
media
bed of the most
hysteria.
exquisitely
The
fine,
most
soft
prominent
white sand,
scientific
which
theory
seems to have been
proposed
warmed
to
by the
explain
glowing
the
water.
curse involves
You
the
don't feel
potential
cold or
presence
wet.
of dormant
You simply feel refreshed,
microorganisms,
as if you have just emerged from the most restorative sleep of your life. You lie there for a while in the soft, over 3,000 glowing water lapping gently at your feet. The sand feels more comfortable than the most luxurious bed. It conforms perfectly to your body, supporting every curve, releasing any last vestiges of physical tension.
The tomb,
it is like being held in the soft,
coating the
warm palm of the earth.
Could have
looking up at the fading stars. You contemplate the nature
Howard
of
Carter
a bed.
first breached
A bed is a safe place,
He
an island of comfort where you retreat from the world to rest in dream. This entire secret world, the Mermaid's Ocean, has been a kind of bed for your soul. It was a place of absolute safety, of profound rest, where your consciousness could roam and explore without fear or worry.
Organic materials,
lying here on this magical beach, on this magical
floral
beach, on this bed of sand, feels like the final, perfect expression of that safety. Above you, the sky continues to light.
That can be inhaled.
The deep indigo is softening to a pale lavender at the eastern horizons. The world is holding its breath, waiting for the dawn.
Given a high enough
in the quiet stillness, you notice small, beautiful details.
Allergic reaction.
A single, perfect feather lies on the sand near your head. A line of tiny, iridescent shells marks the high tide line.
Lord Carnarvon's death.
By the
officially,
you feel your body growing heavier,
by that
led to burdensome weight, but with the pleasant,
pneumonia,
deep gravity
seen
of
by
impending
proponents
sleep.
of this theory.
Your limbs feel wonderfully light,
of a
your eyelids soft and heavy. The energy you have expended on your journey is being replaced by a
that his initial
cellular level restfulness.
May have been exacerbated.
You have no desire to move, to get up, or to continue your journey
making
on foot.
Him unable.
You feel that you have arrived at your final destination.
Infection.
This patch
Another
of world,
related
scientific and is the most perfect place. You are safe.
The ancient
you are
Egyptians,
you are
masters of chemical
and the gentle,
preservation,
lapping sound of the glowing water is the most perfect lullaby you have ever heard.
And
you lie on the warm, soft sand, feeling the gentle pull of a deep
arsenic,
profound sleep.
And
your body is perfectly still, perfectly relaxed.
Preservatives,
the boundary between your physical form and the sand beneath you seems to be dissolving, as if you are slowly merging with the peaceful earth.
The air and dust.
The last of the stars fade from the lavender sky, and the world enters a state of quiet, reverent hush. And in that hush, the sound returns. It begins subtly, a faint whisper on the edge of your hearing.
Although it's difficult
at first,
to prove a direct
you think it is the sound of the wind, but the air in the cove
is also possible
still.
That the tomb contains
then you think it might be the sighing of the
radioactive elements,
but the glowing water at your
such
feet
as radon
is
gas,
lapping with a quiet,
which can
regular rhythm.
In sealed
this is a new
spaces.
sound, or rather,
prolonged
a very old one,
radon
returning
to
you.
you cause
the sound of rain, a soft,
though it is less
gentle patter, as if the sky is breathing a sigh of relief. It is not the primordial world
while these scientific explanations are plausible,
nor the violent,
the most powerful
argument
against
the
the
storm.
existence of a
This
curse
is a soft, cleansing,
from the
peaceful rain, the kind that nurtures
the curse narrative is a
whispers
classic
on window
example
panes.
of
You don't open your eyes.
bias.
You simply listen.
The media and
you
the
experience the sound with a new understanding the mermaid is giving you.
Connected to the
Each
tomb,
droplet that falls
while
is a tiny
ignoring the
messenger,
survival of
a descendant
many
of
others.
that very first drop.
When a person
Each one
associated
carries a
with the
memory of the
expedition
sky and
died,
the promise of the sea.
it was seen
you
as
feel a
proof of
single
the
cold
curse.
drop land
when
on
they
your
lived
forehead.
to a ripe old
It is a
age.
soft,
It was
gentle
simply
touch,
ignored.
a tiny, liquid
2000
blessing.
to study published
Then another lands on
British
your cheek,
medical journal
and another
by
on your
Dry.
hand.
Mark Nelson
is real.
of Monash University.
It is here, but
in
it doesn't feel
Australia
cold or
conducted
unpleasant.
a formal
It feels like a final,
analysis of
cleansing
the
rinse,
The
washing away
study
the salt of your
identified
journey,
40 for
leaving you
Westerners
feeling
who
fresh
were
and
present
new.
in
The sound
Egypt
of the rain
when
on the
the
sand
tomb
is
was
soft,
opened.
diffusing sound.
Of those,
a million
25
tiny
were
whispers.
considered to be
The sound
at
of it on the
highest
surface of the
risk,
glowing
as they were
is a
present
gentle
at
drumming,
the opening
peaceful,
of the tomb,
rhythmic
the
percussion.
sarcophagus,
The two
or
sounds
the
blend
mummy's
together,
coffins.
creating a
The study
beautiful,
then
natural
tracked
symphony,
the survival
a lullaby
of these
composed by the
25
elements.
individuals.
Your consciousness begins to drift, to float on the waves of this
The
sound.
results were clear.
You feel
There
yourself
was no
at a strange and
statistically
wonderful intersection of
significant difference in
experiences.
survival rates.
You are lying on
between
a
the
warm
exposed
beach,
group and the
yet you
control
are
group.
also feeling the cool
The average
touch of rain.
age at death
You are
for
at the edge of a
25
glowing,
cursed
magical sea.
individuals was
Yet you are
70
also
years.
hearing the most familiar,
Howard Carter,
comforting
the
sound
man
of your
who
own
led
world.
the entire
The two
excavation
realities
was
are
most
beginning to
intimately
overlap, to merge.
exposed to the tomb's
The boundary between the mermaid's
lived
world and
for
your own
another
is
17
becoming
years,
porous,
dying in
indistinct.
1939.
You remember the feeling of your own
age
bed,
of 60,
the softness
from
of your
Hodgkin's
pillow, the weight of your
lymphoma.
blanket.
A death
The warmth of the
entirely
sand
consistent
beneath you
with
begins to feel
natural
like
causes.
the warmth of your
This
mattress, which has
statistical
absorbed your
analysis
body heat.
suggests that
The fine,
curse is a
soft
phantom,
grains of
a
sand
pattern
feel like the
perceived
texture of your
in
own
what
bed
is
sheets.
essentially random
The gentle,
chance.
persistent rhythm of the rain
The
begins
death that
to
did
sound
occur can be
exactly like the
explained
drumming
by
of
the
raindrops
context
on the
of the
roof
time.
above your bedroom.
In
Is
the
this real? Are you
1920
truly
seconds,
on a
medical
beach?
science was
Or
still
are you in
its
your
infancy
bed dreaming of a
compared to
beach?
today.
The question arises.
Antibiotics
But it has no weight.
had not yet been
It
discovered.
doesn't matter.
Travel
The
to
feeling of
remote
peace is
tropical
absolute,
locations
whichever
like
reality
Egypt
is
carry
true.
inherent health
The mermaid's
risks.
final gift is
Many
the
of the
seamless
individuals
transition,
involved
this gentle blurring of the
were
lines
of an
between the
advanced
world of
age.
magical
Lord
journeys and the world of
Carnarvon
restful
was
sleep.
56 and known to be in
She is
poor
not just
health
returning
from a
you to your
previous
room, she is
car
bringing the
accident.
piece of her ocean back
The
with
idea
you,
that a
weaving it
dozen
into the
or
very
so
fabric
deaths
of your
among a
reality.
large group
The
of
scent of the
people over
rain,
a period
that
of a
clean,
decade,
earthy
is
smell of
somehow
paprika
supernatural,
fills the
ignores
air.
the normal
It is the scent
rates
of the earth
mortality.
drinking, the scent
In
of
essence,
renewal.
the curse
It
of the
smells like
pharaohs
safety.
appears to be a myth.
It is the scent that
constructed
began
from a
your journey,
handful of tragic
and now it is the scent that is ending it.
amplified by a
The circle
sensational
is
press,
complete. The sound
and
of the
fed
rain
by
is
a
the only thing
deep-seated
you are aware
human
of
desire
now.
for
It is a
mystical
curtain of sound,
explanations.
soft and gray,
The
drawing
scientific
closed upon the stage
evidence
of your adventure.
suggests
The
that if there
glowing
was
cove,
a curse,
the pre-dawn
it was
sky,
likely the
the feeling of
mundane,
the sand, all of these things
threat
are fading,
of
dissolving
ancient
into the gentle,
pathogens or
persistent
toxins.
rhythm of the falling
But
water.
the statistical
Your mind
evidence
lets go of the
suggests
images,
that even
lets go
these
of the
factors
stories.
had no
It holds on
discernible
only to the
effect
feeling
on
that
the
is now
overall
anchored to this
lifespan
simple,
of those who
beautiful
entered
sound.
the tomb. The most
The rain
potent
is
force
washing the
unleashed
world
from
away,
two
leaving only the
cannons
quiet,
too
dark,
was not a
and comfortable
supernatural
space of your
entity,
own deepened,
but a
impending
powerful
slumber.
story
The sound
that
of the
has
rain
long
is your
outlived
entire
the
world
individuals
now.
it claimed
It is a
as
soft
its
gray,
victims and
an
continues
infinitely
to
comforting
cast a
blanket
long,
of sound.
mysterious
It
shadow
envelops you
over
completely.
the sands of Egypt,
The last
standing
vestiges
as
of
a
the magical
silent,
cove,
eternal
the
guardian
glowing water,
before the pyramids
and the
of
warms
Giza,
and have
is
faded,
another of the
not with a
world's
sense
most
of
profound
loss,
and
but with a
recognizable
peaceful
ancient
sense of
monuments.
completion.
The great
They have
Sphinx,
dissolved into this gentle,
while
rhythmic
often
pattern,
overshadowed
leaving
by
their
the sheer
essence of
scale of the
tranquility
pyramids behind.
You feel a subtle
the
shift
Sphinx
in your state
is
of
an
being.
enigma in its
You are
own
no
right,
longer an active participant
presenting
in a journey.
unique set of mysteries
You are no longer an
that are
observer.
deeply intertwined.
You are simply a listener.
Yet distinct
Your consciousness,
from those
which
of
has
the
expanded
pyramid
to
complex,
encompass oceans on
its
stars,
origin,
now
its
contracts
age,
to a single,
and its
simple
original
point of
purpose
awareness,
are all
floating in the
subjects
center of this
intense
auditory
debate.
landscape.
And any complete
Your body is deeply,
investigation
profoundly
of the
at
Giza
rest.
plateau must
You feel the
consider
familiar
the
comfort of your
riddles
bed,
posed by this
the gentle
colossal
support of your pillow under your
chimeric
head,
statue.
the soft
The
weight
great
of your blanket
Sphinx
over you.
is a monolith.
These are the anchors of your physical
Carved
reality,
not from assembled
the safe
blocks,
harbor to which you have
but from a
returned.
single.
Your journey has brought
massive
you back to this
outcrop of
quiet
the
natural
natural
sanctuary.
bedrock of the
You are
plateau.
floating in the space between
It is an
wake-ups
immense
and sleep.
sculpture,
It is a calm,
measuring
dark,
73
and peaceful
meters,
sea,
240
the state of HYP
feet
Nago
long
GIA,
from paw to tail,
where thoughts lose their
and
structure
20
and
meters,
images drift by
66
without
feet
context.
high from its
It is
base
the
to
border,
the top of
the
its
liminal
head.
space where the conscious mind
It
finally
depicts a
relinquishes
reclining
its
lion
control
with
and
the head of a
allows the
human,
deeper, more ancient rhythms of the brain to take over. The mermaid's final blessing, the ocean is within you.
The head
now
is
comes
adorned
back
with
to
the
you,
neme's head
not
cloth,
in words, but
a
as a
traditional
resonant
symbol
feeling.
of
You understand its true meaning
though
now.
heavily damaged.
The journey
by
was
time
not
and
just a story
deliberate
to be
vandalism,
heard, it was a
still
state
projects
of being
a
to be
sense of
absorbed.
serene,
And you have
timeless
absorbed it.
authority.
The peace
He
of the deep
gazes
ocean,
east,
its vastness,
directly
its
along the
violence,
30th
its
parallel,
patient, creative
watching the
power
sunrise
has
on the
become a
vernal
part of
equinox.
your own inner
The
landscape.
mainstream
You feel this inner ocean
Egyptological
within you now.
consensus
It is a
attributes
place
the
of absolute
construction
calm,
of the Sphinx
a
to the
reservoir of
pharaoh
peace you can
Khafre.
return to.
The builder
The worries
of the
and
second
anxieties of the
pyramid
day,
at Giza,
the endless lists
placing
and
its
obligations
creation in
are
the
like
same
small,
time
forgotten
frame as the
objects on a
pyramids.
distant shore.
Around
They have no power here.
2500 BC,
The tide of your inner ocean has
this
washed the beach
attribution
of
is
your mind
based
clean.
on several
Your breathing
lines
is slow,
of
deep,
circumstantial
and regular,
evidence.
perfectly
The
synchronized
most
with the gentle
significant
rhythm of the rain
is the
outside.
proximity of the Sphinx
Each inhale
to
is a
Khafre's
slow,
pyramid
incoming
complex.
tide, bringing with it
The
fresh,
Sphinx
clean
sits directly
oxygen.
adjacent
Each
to the
exhale is a
causeway
receding
that
tide,
connects Khafre's
carrying away
valley
any
temple
lingering
and
tension,
his mortuary
any
and his
remaining
mortuary.
thoughts.
The valley
And
temple
undoubt
itself
is
is
slow,
constructed
steady,
from limestone
and effortless
blocks
rhythm.
quarried from
Your
the
body is
ditch
doing what it knows how to do
Sphinx's
best,
body,
lulling itself into
indicating
a state of
that the
deep,
temple and
restorative
the
rest.
carving of
The boundary
Sphinx
between
were
the sound of the
part
rain
same,
outside and the
unified
feeling of the ocean
construction
inside
project.
begins to blur.
Furthermore,
The soft
a black
patter on the roof
diorite
becomes the
statue
sound of your
Khafre
own
was
calm,
discovered
steady
buried
heartbeat.
upside down.
The gentle
on the
gurgle
floor
of the
his valley
downspout
temple,
becomes the sound
providing
of your own
a
slow,
direct
deep
link
breathing.
between the pharaoh and
The
that
outer world and the
specific
inner world
structure.
have harmonized.
The face of the Sphinx,
They are singing the
though
same
damaged,
gentle, sleepy song.
is argued
You feel
by
yourself
many art
drifting further from the
historians
shore
and
of
Egyptologists to bear
The
a
anchor
strong
is being
resemblance
lifted.
to the known.
Your boat is beginning to
Confirmed
float
portraits
freely
of
on the dark,
Khafre found
calm
on
waters
this
of sleep.
other statues.
There is no resistance,
While
no
facial
hesitation.
recognition
It is a
a
gentle,
subjective
welcome
science,
release.
the
You are surrendering
similarity
to a
of the
force
broad
as
facial
natural and as
structure,
powerful
the
as
high
the tide.
cheekbone,
The concept
and the
of
regal
you, your
bearing
name, your
is
history,
cited as
your
strong
plans for
evidence
tomorrow
that the
begins to
Sphinx
seem
was
distant
carved
and
as a
unimportant.
monumental
These
portrait of
constructs
the
are
king,
shedding away,
representing
like a heavy
him
coat
as
you
a
no longer
powerful,
need. All that
godlike
remains is
guardian
a
of his
simple,
own
peaceful
necropolis.
awareness,
However,
a spark of consciousness
this conventional
floating in a
dating
dark,
and
and
are
infinitely
not without
safe
their
space.
challengers.
The journey has led you here to the
A
very edge
significant
of the
puzzle
vast,
is the
silent
complete lack
continent of
of
sleep.
any
The
contemporary
path ahead
old kingdom
is dark and
inscriptions
inviting.
that massive
promises
pyramids
rest,
are linked to their
restoration,
pharaohs
and dreams.
by quarry marks and later
You are ready to
texts.
take that final
But
step,
no text
to
from
let
the
go
time of
completely
Khafre has ever
and to
been
drift
found that
into the
names
deep,
him
healing
as the
waters
builder
of
of
the
the
night.
Sphinx, or
The rain
even
is your
mentions
ferryman.
the monument's
Its gentle song
existence.
guiding
This
you
is a
across the
startling
final
silence.
threshold.
The
The rain
construction
continues
of
its
such
gentle,
a unique
steady
and
rhythm,
colossal
a
statue
constant,
would
soothing
surely
presence.
have been a
It is the
noteworthy
last
event,
thread connecting
worthy
you
of
to the conscious
commemoration.
world. And now,
The first
even this
definitive,
thread begins to feel
datable
soft,
inscription to
frayed,
refer
and
to
ready
the
to
Sphinx
dissolve.
is
Your
the
awareness
dream
is a
cell,
single warm
erected
ember,
between
glowing
the
faintly
statues
in the
paused
vast,
by the much
comfortable
later new
darkness of your
kingdom
mind.
pharaoh.
The journey is
Thutmose
complete.
IV,
The stories have been
around
told.
1400
The lessons have been learned.
BCE.
All that remains
Around
is the final,
1400
gentle act of letting
BCE,
go.
more than
You
1,000
feel the last
years
of your
after
thoughts
the
dissolving
Sphinx was
like sugar in
supposedly
warm
carved.
water. They lose their
This
shape,
tale
their
recounts
meaning, their
the story
urgency.
of how the prince
They are just
Thutmose,
faint,
falling
colorless
asleep in the
clouds
shadow
drifting
of the
by,
Sphinx,
and
which
you
was
watch
by
them
then
go with a
buried
sense
up
of
to its
peaceful
neck in
detachment.
sand, was promised
You
the
have
throne
no
in a
need for them
dream
now.
if he would
The mermaid's
clear away
world
the
has
sand
folded
that
itself
entombed the
away,
great statue.
but its gifts remain.
The stele calls
The feeling of
Sphinx
weightlessness in the water is still with you.
Horus
A lightness in your
horizon.
limbs, a sense
But
of
it
being
makes no
buoyed and
mention of
supported.
Khafre or
The
its
silence
original
of the deep
builder.
is still with
Another
you.
anomaly
A
is
profound
the
quiet in the
disproportionate
center of your rise of the head relative
The slow,
to the leonine
patient
body.
rhythm of the sleeping volcano.
The head is noticeably
now the rhythm of your
smaller
own
than
slow,
what anatomical
steady heart.
accuracy would
The gentle
require
pulsing
for a
light of
lion
the coral
that
garden
size.
has become the soft,
Proponents of
warm glow
alternative
of your
theories
own life
suggest
force
this
safe in
is
you.
because
You
the
are
head
on the
was
very
not the
cusp
original.
of sleep now.
They hypothesize
It is a beautiful,
that the statue was
peaceful place to
initially
be.
a full lion.
It is the moment when the last
Or
conscious
perhaps
decision
had the head
is
of a
made, the
different
decision
being,
to
such as
surrender,
the jackal god,
and you make it willingly,
Anubis,
gratefully,
and that the current
you give your body
pharaonic
permission
head
to take
was
over
recovered from the
to begin its
original.
ancient,
Larger
nightly
head by a
work of
later
healing and
dynasty,
restoration.
possibly that
You give
of
your mind
Khafre.
permission to be
This
free,
would explain
to wander in the
disproportion,
strange,
as the
beautiful
carvers
landscapes
would have
of
been
your
limited
own
by
making.
the size
The
and
final
shape of the
image that comes
existing
to you
stone
is
head.
that of the last
Mainstream
time, the one that
Egyptologists
carried you from the
countered
glowing
that the
cove
smaller
and
head
deposited
was
you
a
so
deliberate
gently on the warm
artistic
sand.
choice,
You
perhaps
feel that
to
tide now
emphasize
in your
the
own
human,
consciousness.
intellectual
It is a
aspect
slow, powerful,
over the
and
animalistic,
irresistible wave of
powerful
sleep
body.
rising
The
up to
Sphinx
claim
is
you.
not just
It
a
begins at your
statue,
toes,
it is
a
the
warm,
center
heavy
of its
feeling
own
of
temple
deep
complex.
relaxation, as if
In
you are
front of it
sinking
lies the
into
Sphinx
soft,
temple,
warm sand.
a structure
The
that
wave flows
mirrors
up
the
into your
core
feet,
encasing
your ankles,
construction
soothing
style
muscles,
of Khafre's
releasing all
Valley
tension.
Temple.
It washes over your
Both
calves
temples
and
are
your knees.
built with
A
megalithic
heavy,
limestone
pleasant warmth that
core
makes your
blocks,
legs feel
some
wonderfully
weighing
limp
over
and still.
100
The wave of
tons,
sleep continues
and
its
were
journey up
originally
your body,
cased in a
flowing
small
into your
granite.
thighs, your
The
hips,
precision of the
rounding
stonework
you,
in these
anchoring
temples
you,
is
anchoring
remarkable,
you to the deep
rivaling
comfort
that
of your
of the
bed.
pyramids themselves.
It pools in your
but
stomach
it is
and
the
your
source
chest,
of the
slowing
stone
your heart,
and the effects
deepening
of
your
weathering
breath,
on the Sphinx.
bringing a sense of profound,
Its enclosure
settled
that has
calm
sparked
to
the
your
most
very
heated
core.
and profound
It
debate
flows down
upon
your
its
arms,
true age
relaxing your
debate that
shoulders,
threatens to
your
radically
elbows, your
rewrite the
wrists,
established
until your hands
timeline of
rest, open
civilization
and
in
peaceful
the Nile
at your
Valley.
side. Finally, the gentle
silent,
wave washes up
eastward
over your
gaze
neck
of the
into your
Sphinx,
jaw,
it
allowing it
turns
to
out
go slack.
we have been watching the
It soothes the
sunrise
tiny
for far
muscles
longer
around your
than
eyes and
historians
across your
have
forehead,
ever imagined.
smoothing away
The debate
last
over
remnants
the
of the
age
day.
of the great
Your head
Sphinx
feels
took
heavy
a
and
dramatic
perfectly
and
supported by your
controversial
pillow.
turn
You are
in the
completely
early
submerged now,
1990s,
held in the warm, dark,
shifting
and
from
utterly
the realms
safe
of
embrace
art
of this
history and
final
textual
tide.
analysis
It is the last
to the
wave,
hard science
the
of
last gentle
geology.
push that sends your
The
small
central
boat out from
figure
the shore
in
and
this
into the
new
vast,
line of
calm
inquiry
ocean of
was
sleep.
Dive.
It is a silent,
Robert
loving
Schock,
good night from
a
the
geologist
universe.
and
The rain
professor
outside
at
might
Boston
continue to
University.
fall, but you are no
Schock,
longer aware of it.
At the
The story has
invitation of
ended.
researchers,
Your journey is over.
on his attention,
There is nothing
not
left to do,
the Sphinx's
nothing left to
face,
think, nothing
or
left
its
to
temple,
feel, except
but
a
to the
profound
limestone
and boundless
bedrock
peace. You are asleep,
from which
and
the
so
Sphinx crucial
your journey
to the
comes
walls
to
of
its
the
gentle
hollow or
close,
ditch that
like the last
surrounds
soft
the
wave
monument's
sighing
body.
upon the shore.
What he
The
observed
stories
there
are
lead
distant
him to
now,
a radical conclusion.
fading echoes
the
in the
erosion
vast,
patterns
quiet
visible
space
on
of
the
your
Sphinx
mind.
and its
They have done their
enclosure
work,
were
washing
not
the
the
world
result
clean,
of wind and sand,
leaving behind
as had
only a
long
profound
been
and simple
assumed,
peace,
but were the
stillness that
unmistakable
settles deep
signature
within
of
you,
long-term precipitation
like silt at the
and
bottom of a
water
calm,
runoff. This
deep
is
sea.
the water
There is nothing
erosion
left to do now,
hypothesis,
but to
and
breathe,
its implications
feel
are
the slow,
profound.
easy
The
rhythm of
Giza
your breath,
Plateau is
a
part
gentle
of the
tide,
Sahara Desert,
rising and
one of the
falling.
most arid
And,
regions on
undoubted,
Earth. While it
each
does
breath is a
occasionally
soft
rain in
current,
modern Egypt,
drawing
the
you further
climate
away
has
from the
been
shores of thought
predominantly
and deeper
hyper-arid
into
for
the
at
warm,
least the last
dark,
5,000
welcoming waters of
years.
sleep.
For
Your eyelids are so very heavy,
precipitation
as
based
heavy as
weathering
pearls.
to occur
Let
on
them
the
rest.
scale seen
Let
at
them
the
be
Sphinx
closed.
site.
The
One
path
would have
before
to go
you now
back
is
to a
soft
much earlier
and leads
time
only to
period
rest.
when the
There are
climate
no
of
more
North
sights to see,
Africa was
no
radically
more voices to
different,
hear,
a time of
only the
sustained
profound and comforting
heavy
silence.
rainfall.
The
Schock's
mermaid's world has
argument is
dissolved
based
back into your
on
own,
a classic
leaving its
geological
gift of
distinction.
tranquility nestled safely in your heart.
The erosion visible
You are
on other
floating
Old
now,
Kingdom monuments
weightless
on the
and
Giza
free,
Plateau,
held by the
such as
darkness,
the pyramids and
cradled by the
Mastavier
darkness,
tombs,
cradled by the
is
quiet.
characteristic of
Let
wind
go
and
of this
sand
last
erosion.
thread of awareness, sleepness.
This typically
Sleep
results
now,
in
the
sharp
end of the
angular article, good
and
night.
layered